In the pitch-black cave, a murmur suddenly rang out. Why is it so dark? Where did those bastards leave me? In the darkness, a figure rubbed his forehead and groped his way forward. Soon, he saw a light ahead and was overjoyed. He quickly walked towards the light, and as he got closer, his eyes gradually recovered under the stimulation of the light, and he realized that he was in a cave. The light was coming from the sunlight outside. He raised his hand to shield his eyes as he slowly walked out of the cave, and was stunned by the scene before him. Where am I? I was just feeling down and had a few drinks with some friends. How did I end up in this deep mountain forest? The figure said, quickly reaching for his sides. Could I have been picked up by someone, gutted, and dumped in this deep mountain forest? The figure thought in panic. Fortunately, after checking, he found himself completely unharmed and in no pain anywhere. This made Chang Yu even more puzzled. How did I get here? Chang Yu remembered that he was in a bad mood last night. So he called a few buddies to drink together, but as they drank, his buddies all left because their wives were urging them to come home. In the end, only Chang Yu was left. Losing interest in drinking, he staggered towards home. But why did he end up deep in the mountains, emerging from a cave? Before Chang Yu lay a dense forest, and not far away, a stream flowed quietly. Chang Yu was puzzled. He had woken up from a bustling city to a deep mountain forest. Chang Yu walked to the stream, looked at his reflection, and saw that he hadn't changed much. He was still as handsome as ever. Suddenly, a guess popped into Chang Yu's mind. Could it be that I've time traveled? Or perhaps I'm in another world? As a typical 21st century young man, how could Chang Yu not have read novels? There were all sorts of time travel stories in them, and for a moment, Chang Yu was actually a little excited. Anyway, he was just a miserable wage earner before. Now, although he's in a strange world and feels a little uneasy, the sense of novelty is even stronger. If only he had a system or a cheat code, that would be even better. Chang Yu began to carefully examine herself, but found nothing after a long time. Then, she started calling out in her mind, System, System, Deep Blue, Grandpa, Miss. Chang Yu was already exhausted from calling out, but there was no response. Chang Yu had to accept that he was not one of the lucky ones who had a system. Since that's the case, let's figure out where we are now first. Chang Yu thought to himself, and then followed the stream downstream. Strangely enough, the stream looked very clear, but it seemed to have a faint red tinge to it. This feeling was like the fear he felt when he looked back at the cave he had emerged from. It was somewhat absurd. Without thinking further, Chang Yu continued walking forward, and before long, he saw smoke rising from a chimney ahead. For a moment, he couldn't help but feel excited. There was smoke from the chimney, which meant that someone was there. But he still had to be careful. Chang Yu cautiously approached the source of the smoke. What appeared before them was a somewhat dilapidated village, with houses that looked like they were made of adobe and tiled roofs. Chang Yu grew up in the countryside, and there were similar houses in the village when she was a child, but they have become rare since then. Chang Yu found a secluded spot and began observing the village ahead. He saw people moving around in the village, dressed in a retro style, just like the people dressed during the War of Resistance against Japan that Chang Yu had seen on TV before. Chang Yu frowned slightly. Where was he? He should observe further. Suddenly, Chang Yu's eyes narrowed. What did he see? A little boy came running out of the village, followed by a girl of about 18 or 19, who was calling out, Fusion, Fusion, slow down. Be careful not to fall. Resurrection, Chang Yu murmured softly. Seeing those two familiar faces, how could Chang Yu, a huge fan of the My Date with a Vampire TV series, not understand that he had most likely arrived in the world of My Date with a Vampire, and this place must be Hongxi Village? The timeline at this point should be around 1938, because the current resurrected creature has clearly not yet become a zombie. Suddenly, Chang Yu was startled, looked back in the direction he came from, and remembered the cave where he woke up and the fear that had filled him. Could that be the cave where Zhang Chen was? Then, was his fear due to an instinctive dread of facing a powerful being, or was it a blood-related fear stemming from the fact that he had been turned into Zhang Chen's descendant? Chang Yu was startled. If that really was Zhang Chen's cave, and he had such a strange reaction, he might truly have become Zhang Chen's descendant. Especially when I thought about it, the cave wasn't exactly close to where I was, yet I hadn't felt tired at all after walking all this way. Thinking of this, Chang Yu silently retreated into the mountains and forests, choosing a direction far away from the cave, and started running at full speed. As soon as he started running, Chang Yu understood that no matter whether he was a descendant of Zhang Chen or not, he was definitely not a normal person anymore, because this speed, which was as fast as lightning, was simply not something a normal human could run. He picked a wild fruit from a tree that had just been visited by a flock of birds, found a stream, cleaned it quickly, and tried eating it. If he really was as he imagined, a descendant of Zhang Chen, then he shouldn't be able to eat normal food, otherwise he would get diarrhea. Sure enough, not long after eating the wild fruit, Chang Yu felt a sharp pain in his abdomen. After taking care of his personal hygiene, Chang Yu sat on a boulder and began to think. The fruit tree had been pecked at by small birds, so it was obviously not poisonous, yet he had developed diarrhea. The facts are already laid bare. The possibility of him becoming a descendant of Zhang Chen is probably 8 or 9 out of 10. Chang Yu doesn't feel there's anything wrong with that. After all, he doesn't have such high principles as the protagonist of My Date with a Vampire. Moreover, if the timeline is correct, at this point in time, the land of Daxia is in a state of great suffering. Being able to fill one's stomach while also serving the country would be a pleasant thing for Chang Yu. The most important thing right now isn't food, but rather confirming one's own abilities. If I remember correctly, zombies of the Zhongchen lineage, from the 3rd generation onwards, all possess special abilities. If nothing unexpected happens, I was bitten by Zhongchen, which means I'm a 2nd generation green-eyed monster. It's unlikely that my ability is also speed, although most 2nd generation green-eyed monsters have speed abilities. After all, Zhongchen's ability is probably space, so it's normal for me, as his 2nd generation descendant, to inherit the lower level space ability of speed. However, if possible, Chang Yu doesn't want the speed ability. After all, with the physique of the 2nd generation green-eyed man, his speed is already quite fast. Chang Yu still wants some other special abilities. Domoto Shizuka's dream ability and the resurrected telekinetic ability are both very good. Especially telekinesis, it's so versatile. For example, you could shout sword, come, and thousands of swords would fly at once, or you could be like Magneto. Just thinking about it is so cool, right? Chang Yu couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement. With wildly imaginative ideas racing through his mind, Chang Yu couldn't wait to start experimenting. First, he concentrated his mind, trying to control a leaf on the ground. After a while, the leaf moved slightly and was carried away by a breeze. Chang Yu opened his eyes with some disappointment. It seemed that he was not destined to have telekinesis. Then he sat cross-legged and began to meditate, trying to touch that mysterious spiritual power and see if he had the potential to enter a dream. A breeze blew by, and the air was filled with the sound of soft snoring. Whether or not one can enter another's dream is unknown, but Chang Yu himself had a dream in which he had red eyes and blonde hair, punching Kuang Tianyu and kicking Zhongchen. With a thud, Chang Yu collapsed to the ground, tidying her hair as she muttered to herself, somewhat exasperated, I actually fell asleep. What on earth is my superpower anyway? Chang Yu scratched his head in frustration and slammed his fist into the ground. Flames erupted where his fist touched the ground. Chang Yu raised his fist in astonishment and stared at the flames on it. He murmured to himself, fire abilities. He then quickly stomped on the ground, trying to extinguish the withered branches and leaves that had begun to burn due to Chang Yu's accidental activation of his abilities. He knew the principle that arson would land him in jail for life. However, after stomping on it for a long time, the flames showed no signs of going out. Fearing that the entire forest might be set ablaze, Chang Yu quickly thought of other solutions. Suddenly, a method from an online article came to mind. Regardless of whether it would work or not, he decided to give it a try first. Chang Yu stared at the flames on the ground, concentrated his mind, and silently chanted retract, and actually succeeded in bringing the flames back. This made Chang Yu exclaim, I didn't read those novels for nothing. I really am a genius. It turned out that Chang Yu had thought of the mind control techniques in various novels and tried to use them, and he actually succeeded. Remembering there was a stream on the way here, Chang Yu determined the direction and headed towards it. Since it was a fire ability, experimenting by the water would prevent him from losing control and burning the mountain down. Chang Yu wasn't worried about anyone arresting him or putting him in jail. In this chaotic era, who would care about such things? He was simply afraid that he might accidentally provoke Zhongchen and be unable to handle the consequences. Reaching the stream, Chang Yu began trying to find a way to activate his ability. He had accidentally triggered it earlier because he was in a bad mood and unconsciously wanted to lose his temper. However, through the feeling of retracting the flames, Chang Yu also realized something. He didn't need to have emotional outbursts every time he needed to use his ability. By simply concentrating his mind on his heart, Chang Yu was able to unleash the flames, because he discovered that the flames he had just retracted had entered his heart through an invisible connection. Chang Yu stood by the stream, took a deep breath, and focused his mind on his heart. In an instant, his fists burst into flames, bright and intense, reflecting on his excited face. He tried to control the size.
Hey everyone, welcome to our channel, and thank you for your support. If there's a favorite novel on the channel and you want the next part, you're just one step away. Become a Patreon member and I can make it depending on your tier. Thank you for your attention.
Of the flames, with his will, the flames sometimes grew larger, like a giant burning ball, sometimes they shrank, only flickering at the tips of his fists. Next, he tried extending the flames from his fists to his arms. The flames spread up his arms, as if encasing them in fire armor. Chang Yu had an idea and wanted to see if the flames could leave his body. He pushed his hands forward, and a fireball shot out, landing precisely in the stream with a boom, splashing up a huge spray that instantly boiled the water. Chang Yu became increasingly engrossed in playing with the flames, constantly experimenting with different ways to manipulate them. Suddenly, he heard a strange sound coming from afar, like the roar of a wild beast. Startled, Chang Yu quickly put away the flames and looked in the direction of the roar. He secretly prayed, please, please don't let it be Zhongchen. He didn't want to face Zhongchen so soon, especially since Zhongchen's mind was a complete mess right now. Chang Yu couldn't guess how Zhongchen would react when facing him. At first glance, he finally breathed a sigh of relief, but he also made a new discovery. His eyes, which were originally slightly nearsighted, could now clearly see a black bear roaring angrily in a cave a kilometer away. Judging from his appearance, he had clearly been disturbed from his sleep by the noise Chang Yu had made, and was now venting his dissatisfaction. Chang Yu couldn't help but chuckle. There were quite a few advantages to becoming a zombie. While running through the mountains and forests, I noticed that my stamina, speed, and strength had all increased. Now I also discovered that my eyesight had improved. With my nose twitching slightly and the sound of a bear roaring in my ear, it was clear that my sense of smell and hearing had also been enhanced. It seems that the zombie blood has a fairly comprehensive effect on people. Seeing the black bear charging towards him, Chang Yu couldn't help but feel a little eager to try. He had now become inhuman, so it was a good time to practice his skills. However, Chang Yu had no intention of fighting the black bear head-on. At this moment, he was unaware of his own strength and did not particularly like direct confrontation. So he simply focused his mind, and a fireball flew from his hand, colliding with the charging black bear and exploding, instantly igniting the bear's fur. However, the black bear was not stupid. It roared and ran towards the stream. After struggling for a while, the flames showed no signs of going out. The bear had become completely bald. Chang Yu just stood by the water, watching calmly, without taking the opportunity to attack again. Unable to extinguish the flames on its body, the black bear roared in fury, leaping from the water onto the shore and pouncing on Chang Yu again. Chang Yu nimbly dodged, simultaneously conjuring flames in both hands. Taking advantage of the bear's missed attack, he circled behind it and slammed his hand on its back, providing more energy to the flames. The raging fire instantly engulfed the black bear, which howled in agony and rolled on the ground. Chang Yu was momentarily smug when the howling black bear scratched him with its claws, leaving a bloody gash on his leg. Before he could react, the gash had already healed. Chang Yu was slightly taken aback, but this was not the time to think about such things. Chang Yu stepped forward and punched the howling black bear several times in the neck, while simultaneously withdrawing the flames to avoid burning the bear. He wanted to taste its blood. After a few punches, the black bear's neck was clearly bent, obviously broken by Chang Yu. It gradually lost the strength to struggle. Feeling his own superhuman physique, Chang Yu couldn't help but smile with satisfaction. What's wrong with being a zombie, especially one with a conscious mind like Zhang Chen's zombie form, which is no different from a normal person as long as it doesn't transform. He easily obtained immortality, which countless people dream of, and also possessed immense power, something many people envy. Chang Yu, unlike the protagonist in the original story, wouldn't impose such heavy shackles on himself. Although I am also a descendant of the dragon, born under the red flag and raised in the spring breeze, as long as I adhere to my principles and do not kill innocent people indiscriminately, then I will have lived up to the 9 years of compulsory education. As for the diarrhea that occurs after eating, that's a minor drawback. We can easily solve it by finding those 2 beautiful snakes later. Pulling herself back to reality, Chang Yu looked down at her calf with a puzzled expression. Apart from a tear in her pants, which proved that the leg had been cut open, Chang Yu couldn't see any other wounds, not even any traces of blood. Is it because zombies have such strong regenerative abilities, or am I a special case? Could I have dual superpowers? Chang Yu wondered to himself. But this wasn't the time for experiments, they should verify something else first. Chang Yu stepped forward and squatted down on the black bear's neck. The fur had been burned away by the supernatural fire, leaving it completely bald. Chang Yu hesitated for a moment, then reached out and tore open the skin on the black bear's neck. The black bear was not completely dead yet, and its body was still trembling slightly. So, the moment the skin was torn open, blood spurted out. Chang Yu was caught off guard and was sprayed directly. A bloodthirsty desire rose from the bottom of his heart. Chang Yu didn't try to restrain himself. Although he had desires, he was still quite clear-headed and didn't mind the dirt. He simply lay down on the black bear's neck and started sucking. A sweet sensation spread from the taste buds throughout the body. Sure enough, even the zombie's sense of taste had been altered. Chang Yu thought as he sipped, although it tastes delicious, I haven't lost myself in the pleasure of blood-sucking. Chang Yu thought to himself, perhaps this is one of the perks of being a transmigrator. After a long while, until no more blood was drawn from the black bear's neck, Chang Yu finally released his grip. He went to the stream to wash himself casually. Looking at the bear's now somewhat shriveled carcass, Chang Yu couldn't help but marvel. This black bear wasn't small at all, yet he had drained it dry without any sign of satiety. Had it been directly converted into energy? Looking at the black bear's corpse, Chang Yu suddenly remembered that in novels, demonic cultivators used flesh and blood to refine blood beads to enhance their strength. Since he had fire-based abilities, if he found the right timing, could he also do that? Then he wouldn't have to be so bloodthirsty and look like a villain. The more Chang Yu thought about it, the brighter his eyes became. He immediately stepped forward and used brute force to break off the black bear's claws. He then used his claws to dismember the bear's carcass into 17 or 18 pieces. After all, he only had this idea at the moment, and he would definitely need to experiment many times to finally determine if it would work. Chang Yu neatly arranged the black bear carcass pieces, took a deep breath, and activated his fire-based supernatural abilities. A blazing flame rose from his palm, slowly approaching a piece of flesh. The flame licked the flesh, sizzling and releasing a pungent, bloody stench. Chang Yu focused intently on controlling the temperature and intensity of the flame, his eyes fixed on the changes in the flesh. However, the first attempt was unsuccessful, the flesh was burned to charcoal, and there was no sign of blood. Chang Yu was not discouraged. He learned from his experience and tried again. This time, he adjusted the flames more carefully. Time passed second by second, and just when he thought he was about to fail again, a drop of bright red blood slowly seeped out from the flesh. Chang Yu's eyes lit up, and he quickly focused his attention on controlling the flames. As the blood bead grew larger, he was filled with excitement. Finally, a full blood bead took shape, and Chang Yu excitedly put it away. He knew that although he had only succeeded once, it meant that his idea was feasible. He casually tossed a drop of blood into his mouth and carefully savored it. Chang Yu wasn't sure if it was just his imagination, but he felt as if there were traces of energy in the blood droplet, merging into his body. The effect was almost 1/10 of what he had just experienced from sucking blood. Next, Chang Yu conducted several more experiments until the black bear carcass was used up, and only then did she obtain another drop of blood. Apart from the first stroke of luck, the subsequent drop was the result of many experiments, summarizing some patterns, before finally succeeding. If further refinement is attempted, the chances of success will increase significantly. Swallowing this drop of blood didn't make me feel full, but it seemed like I absorbed a lot of energy. Chang Yu silently noted down the refining process, then picked up the bear paw he had deliberately kept, gritted his teeth, and slashed it across his arm. A sound like leather being torn came from the paw, clearly indicating that Chang Yu's skin was very tough at this moment. But with Chang Yu increasing his strength and the sharpness of the bear's claws, the skin was eventually broken. Ignoring the pain, Chang Yu stared intently at the wound. He saw the blood flow out and then be absorbed back in. Immediately afterward, the granulation tissue at the wound began to wriggle, and in no time, it healed completely. Chang Yu was dumbfounded. Was this the zombie's innate regenerative ability, or had this body undergone some other mutation? Without a comparison, Chang Yu couldn't draw a conclusion and could only put this question aside for the time being. After completing the experiment, Chang Yu was still clueless and decided to put it aside. Now that he had successfully demonstrated his special ability, he needed to think carefully about the path ahead. Should one intervene in the plot of My Date with a Vampire and witness Kuang Tianyu and others turning into zombies, or seek another path and venture into this chaotic world? In the original story, a simple village girl saves a wounded guerrilla captain. During his recovery, the two develop feelings for each other, and it should have been a happy ending where they, a handsome man and a beautiful woman, get married. Then the villain appears, and the protagonist fights him one-on-one. On the verge of death, he provokes the ultimate demon king, who happens to be naive and innocent. She saved the male protagonist and the villain in her own way, and also caught in the crossfire of a neighbor's little boy who was out looking for his cat and got seriously injured. Oh, and there was also a female exorcist who came to subdue the ultimate demon king, but she was knocked unconscious with a single blow and was completely useless. When the male protagonist wakes up, he discovers that he and the neighbor's child have both turned into zombies. Unable to accept a life lived on blood, he is in unbearable pain. He took the neighbor's child with him, abandoned the girl who loved him, left the village, hid, and survived for 60 years by drinking the blood of the dead, becoming so decadent that he had to rely on the neighbor's child for support. After moving, he became neighbors with the descendant of the female celestial master, the new female celestial master. The over 90-year-old man even started a romantic relationship with the female celestial master's best friend. He then fell for a female Taoist priest, beginning his tumultuous and erratic life as a scoundrel, until his best friend's death made him realize that he was truly in love with the female Taoist priest, and he was transported back 60 years to change the course of events. Chang Yu shook her head, dispelling the chaotic thoughts in her mind, and decided that she should not get involved in the early plot for the time being. Although the destiny bloodline was indeed tempting, a long-legged female Taoist priest who was seriously injured and unconscious and had no power to resist was even more tempting. But Chang Yu really couldn't figure out what Zhang Chen was thinking in his muddled mind. What if he went there and Zhang Chen suddenly came to his senses and started to restrain himself? Wouldn't that be the end of the world? Besides, there's a hidden mastermind behind the Vampire Diaries, Fate. Maybe this whole drama is orchestrated by Fate, considering that the Kuang and Ma families have been entangled for 1,000 years. If Chang Yu were to appear there and be targeted by Fate, he might inadvertently become a pawn of destiny. The bloodline of the second-generation green-eyed man could not provide Chang Yu with much sense of security. Having made up his mind, Chang Yu headed straight away from Hengzi village. The land of Daxia was suffering from bullying, and Chang Yu had only ever read about that bloody history in books before, but now he was truly experiencing it in this era. Having also possessed formidable strength, Chang Yu wanted to use his abilities to do something for this suffering nation. Chang Yu continued on his journey and soon arrived at a town ravaged by war. This was the closest town to Hengzi village. In the original story, the protagonist's guerrilla team fought against the Japanese pirates and was wounded when they took refuge in Hengzi village, which meant that there must have been Japanese pirate groups near Hengzi village. Chang Yu hadn't expected that upon his arrival, he would witness the rampage of Japanese pirates, their wanton slaughter of civilians, and the incessant cries of agony filling the air. Enraged, Chang Yu's eyes glowed green, and he nearly succumbed to his bloodlust, transforming into a zombie. He struggled to calm himself, and perhaps due to his time travel, his mental strength was considerable, allowing him to suppress this urge. However, Chang Yu did not intend to stand idly by. Although it was inconvenient for him to turn into a zombie in front of others, his own strength and speed were also very powerful, and it would be no problem for him to deal with this small group of Japanese pirates. Chang Yu appeared instantly in the midst of the Japanese pirates' ranks, unleashing a powerful burst of strength. A blur of motion swept past, and the pirate soldiers fell to the ground one after another. Before they could even react to what had happened, they were stunned and disoriented by Chang Yu's attack, their guns becoming mere decorations. With the ease of cutting melons and vegetables, Chang Yu quickly wiped out this small group of Japanese pirates. The people cheered when they saw Chang Yu's bravery. With Chang Yu's help, the town was temporarily freed from the threat of the Japanese pirates. Chang Yu asked the people to help clean up the battlefield and left all the valuables, weapons, and ammunition left behind by the pirates to the local people. The people spontaneously selected able-bodied men to form a guard team. Chang Yu knew that this small team was just a mopping-up operation, and there must be a large Japanese pirate force stationed nearby. If they weren't dealt with, the town's residents would likely die a violent death as soon as he left. But now was not the time to think about such things. Chang Yu asked the people to help gather the bodies of the Japanese pirates together and arranged for them to clean up their homes. Taking advantage of the fact that no one was paying attention, a flash of light appeared in his hand, and a flame was emitted. He burned all the Japanese pirates' corpses to ashes, leaving only a ball of refined blood in Chang Yu's hand. Chang Yu realized that his flame was not an ordinary flame, but rather somewhat similar to the flames in myths and legends. After several experiments, Chang Yu discovered that his flames were not ordinary flames like those in nature. They seemed to contain his own essence and spirit, which he could control freely. Chang Yu wanted to refine essence blood. Except for the initial time when he was really unskilled and burned it several times, now he could refine it as easily as a fish in water. Moreover, Chang Yu also discovered that the essence blood refined by his own flames was just like the essence blood refined by demonic cultivators described in those online novels. Before, when the black bear was dismembered by him, he didn't feel it very deeply, but now that the corpses of 20 or 30 Japanese pirates were piled up together, Chang Yu felt the changes in the essence blood, and the energy within it was exceptionally pure. A Japanese pirate soldier could only extract a single drop of essence blood. This drop of essence blood seemed to have all impurities completely removed, like a ruby. Chang Yu could sense that there were no impurities left, only pure energy. At least Chang Yu himself didn't sense any impurities. This flame was like the legendary samadhi fire, directly burning away one's essence, energy, and spirit. If Chang Yu hadn't controlled it and preserved the purest essence and blood, it would probably have been completely burned to nothingness. After silently experiencing the wonder of his own flame, Chang Yu simply named it Samadhi True Fire, hoping that it could truly help him reach the pinnacle, just like the Samadhi True Fire in mythology. Swallowing the blood ball in his hand, Chang Yu felt a sense of fullness for the first time. Even his strength seemed to have increased. A sudden realization dawned on Chang Yu. Although his body had been modified by Zhang Chen's essence blood, it also consumed a large amount of the essence blood's power. Although he successfully transformed his bloodline into a second-generation green-eyed being, it was only a superficial transformation. While the essence had been achieved, he still needed to slowly replenish his power himself. Only by fully replenishing its energy can it be considered a truly complete second-generation form. As for the later monster forms, in the original work, they can only be activated by a certain level of understanding or by being in an extreme emotional state. However, Chang Yu believed that as long as he continued to grow stronger, his monster form would naturally awaken. As for how to become stronger, there were currently a large number of Japanese pirates on the divine continent waiting for him to harvest them. With the Samadhi True Fire present, there was no need to worry about the resentment in the blood affecting him. Chang Yu had a strange feeling that absorbing human blood like Yamamoto Kazuo and his group was merely replenishing their original power, while drinking expired blood like the protagonist could only keep himself from going insane. Chang Yu felt that he was different from them. His essence blood, refined by the Samadhi True Fire, seemed to be able to directly enhance his strength, raise his upper limit, and ultimately help him break through the class barriers and reach the level of a general. Even if it was just his own illusion, there were other ways to advance his career. Having been reborn, Chang Yu didn't want to live such a pathetic life again, with Zhang Chen still above him. However, all of that was too early. Zhang Chen was still a dementia patient, and he had plenty of time to improve. Shaking his head, Chang Yu began to help the residents tidy up their houses. After finishing, he found several craftsmen in the town and asked them to help him make several water containers to store his essence blood, in order to conduct more experiments. Using the money obtained from the Japanese pirates, Chang Yu had several Zhongshan suits custom-made in the town. Chang Yu's current attire was too avant-garde, and it had been damaged quite a bit while traveling through the mountains and forests, so it was decided to have several new suits made. The shopkeeper naturally refused to accept Chang Yu's money, but Chang Yu, mindful of these people's unfortunate fate, was unwilling to take advantage of them. After repeated insistence, the shopkeeper reluctantly accepted the money and worked through the night to make clothes for Chang Yu. One has to admire the craftsmanship of the artisans of this era. In just one night, they finished all the requested kettle and clothing, and the quality was excellent, which Chang Yu praised highly. Over the course of the night, Chang Yu learned about the surrounding area from some of the town's residents. The town was called Hengzi Town, named after the fact that it shared a water source with Hengzi village. 50 kilometers away from the town, there was a county town called Ping'an County, where a group of Japanese pirates was stationed, and they frequently sent people to plunder the surrounding villages and towns. After learning about the situation, Chang Yu memorized the name Ping'an County and decided on the next stop. These Japanese pirates had to be eliminated, otherwise Hengzi Town would definitely be implicated. At the same time, Chang Yu also wanted to see if Yamamoto Kazuo was in this Japanese army. As for how to deal with him, Chang Yu had no idea yet. After all, it was unknown whether Yamamoto Kazuo was part of fate's plan. Chang Yu's strength was not strong enough at the moment, and he did not want to enter the eyes of fate. After declining the offer of a grand banquet from the residents of Hengxi town, Chang Yu waved goodbye to everyone and headed straight for Ping'an County. After speeding along, Chang Yu soon approached Ping'an County. He did not encounter any accidents along the way. Japanese pirates often raided this area, and even refugees who could not survive dared not approach it. Chang Yu did not enter Ping'an County directly. Outside the county, avoiding the sight of the crowd, he quickly climbed a large tree and, relying on his superb eyesight, began to observe the situation in Ping'an County. A troop of puppet troops was stationed at the city gate. While guarding the gate, they also collected entry taxes from passers-by. However, perhaps due to the presence of Japanese pirates, there weren't many pedestrians, and the puppet troops at the city gate seemed quite lazy. As for the city, Chang Yu couldn't make a judgment due to the city walls. He decided to wait until night to go in and check the situation. He himself could become a zombie, so it was hard to guarantee that there weren't extraordinary people among the Japanese pirates. As a newcomer, it's best to be cautious in everything you do. After all, Chang Yu had read quite a few novels before his transmigration, and he couldn't yet determine whether this was a single world of my date with a vampire or a mixture of other supernatural worlds. If it were just a single world of my date with a vampire, it would be fine. Before Yamamoto Kazuo became a zombie, there shouldn't be anyone among the Japanese pirates who could rival him. After all, in the world of my date with a vampire, the power of zombies is the strongest. If it turns out to be some kind of chaotic world, then Chang Yu needs to plan carefully and understand the situation before taking any action. Chang Yu simply lay down on a tree branch, waiting for night to fall while silently circulating his abilities and experiencing the power of the Samadhi fire. Just as Chang Yu was immersed in circulating his abilities, he suddenly heard a commotion approaching. He opened his eyes warily and saw a group of puppet soldiers escorting several civilians toward the city gate. The civilians looked terrified, and one young woman was in tears. Chang Yu's heart tightened. He guessed that these people were probably not from nearby villages, and that their fate after being captured by these puppet troops would likely not be good. Chang Yu, who grew up under the red flag, naturally wouldn't tolerate such a thing happening before his eyes. He decided to follow secretly and see what was going on. While everyone was distracted, Chang Yu jumped down from the tree and silently blended into the group of people being escorted. Following the crowd into the city, he found it desolate, the people's eyes filled with fear and despair. The puppet troops had brought the people before a Japanese officer, who spoke a string of gibberish in Japanese. The puppet troops then began to translate, revealing that these people had been arrested because they did not possess any so-called good citizen certificates. Their valuables were confiscated, and they were to be forced to work for the Japanese. The fate of the women was even worse. Chang Yu was furious and wished he could kill these people immediately. Originally, Chang Yu thought that those puppet soldiers might have been forced to join the puppet army to make a living. In chaotic times, human life is worthless. Although he despised them, he thought there was still some reason for their actions. As long as they hadn't committed any major atrocities, Chang Yu was still planning to spare their lives. But now, seeing how they were behaving, completely treating him like a dog of the Japanese pirates, fawning over them while oppressing his own people, he was deeply disappointed. Chang Yu immediately erased any trace of compassion in his heart. These beasts didn't deserve to live at all, and he understood that traitors might be even more deserving of death than foreign enemies. Chang Yu suddenly remembered that how many Japanese pirates had entered the Central Plains. If it weren't for these people who willingly became his dogs, the Japanese pirate invasion wouldn't have been so easy. Thinking of this, even his gaze turned cold, filled with murderous intent. Fortunately, according to the translator, these people would not be settled immediately after their arrival, but would first be brought into the camp and then distributed among themselves. Chang Yu suppressed his urge to act immediately. Since these people were not in immediate danger, he decided to wait until nightfall to make his move. Regardless of whether there were any extraordinary individuals among the Japanese pirates, Chang Yu was determined to act this time, otherwise he would not be able to calm his mind. Now that we've entered the city, let's take a look around and learn more about the world around us. Finding a moment when no one was paying attention, Chang Yu slipped away from the crowd and wandered around the city. Before long, he saw a puppet army officer collecting protection money from the stall owner in front of a stall. The stall owner pleaded, "Sir, please have mercy. I haven't made a single sale today." The puppet army officer glared at him and said viciously, "No business yet? Don't play the victim with me. I don't care if you've made a sale or not. We're here to protect you, and you'll get your due pay." As he spoke, he reached out to grab the goods from the stall. The stall owner, tears welling in his eyes, desperately protected his goods with both hands, pleading, "Sir, I really have no money. Please spare me this time. I have elderly parents and young children to support. We depend on this to survive." Chang Yu frowned, his heart burning with anger. Although he had become a zombie, he had not lost his humanity and naturally could not tolerate such a bully who oppressed ordinary people. However, Chang Yu had no intention of taking action. The situation within the city was still unclear, and rashly taking action would only alert the enemy. If he did take action, he would resolve all the problems and leave no future troubles. Judging from the vendor's appearance, this wasn't the first time something like this had happened. At most, he'd get a beating. Although Chang Yu's intervention could solve the immediate problem, the vendor couldn't withstand the retaliation afterward. It would be better to wait until dark to resolve the issue once and for all. Ignoring their argument, Chang Yu continued to stroll around the town. Before he knew it, it was getting dark. He quickly familiarized himself with the town's layout. As night deepened and the city fell asleep, Chang Yu transformed into a dark shadow and silently infiltrated the puppet army's encampment. He had been suppressing his feelings for a long time during the day, and it was time to send these traitors on their way. It was called a residence, but it was actually just a large mansion in the county town. Judging from the appearance, it used to belong to a wealthy family in the town. I don't know if they gave it to me willingly or if they stole it. Inside the house, several puppet soldiers were drinking and playing cards, their faces showing a dissolute and unrestrained demeanor. A cold glint flashed in Chang Yu's eyes. He had already inquired during the day and knew that none of these people were good. They were all scoundrels who preyed on the locals. Chang Yu no longer needed to worry about accidentally killing someone. Without hesitation, he flashed and instantly appeared behind a puppet soldier. Before the puppet soldier could react, Chang Yu snapped his neck. Before the other puppet troops could react, Chang Yu had already taken care of 4 or 5 people in the blink of an eye. Although Chang Yu was a zombie, he believed that he still had humanity, while these people no longer deserved to be called human. A group of puppet soldiers rushed out of the house and opened fire on Chang Yu with their rifles. However, Chang Yu had already dealt with everyone in the courtyard, and not a single shot hit him. The group of puppet soldiers looked at Chang Yu with some horror. One of them asked, trembling, "Are you a human or a ghost?" Chang Yu sneered without speaking. The Japanese pirates inside the city must have been alerted by the gunfire. Although he was not afraid, it would be bad if he accidentally let a few pirates escape and left them behind. He leaped forward and instantly dispatched one of them. The others, witnessing Chang Yu's ghostly speed, dropped their guns in terror, exclaiming, "A ghost," and scattered in all directions. Chang Yu understood the principle of eradicating evil completely and had no intention of letting these beasts go. In a series of swift movements, he quickly dealt with all the puppet soldiers. Without lingering, they headed towards the Japanese pirate settlement they had previously scouted, only to encounter a group of heavily armed pirates. The number of Japanese pirates was actually far less than that of the Huxia population. It was only because the pirates were well equipped and too many of their men were weak-willed that they were able to grow so powerful. However, this group of Japanese pirates, facing the inhuman Chang Yu, did not last much longer than the puppet troops and were quickly defeated by Chang Yu. They didn't encounter any extraordinary people, and Chang Yu didn't find any trace of Yamamoto Kazuo among them. He could only sigh and think that Yamamoto was lucky. Chang Yu moved with lightning speed, moving all the Japanese pirate and puppet army corpses together. He then unleashed his Samadhi True Fire, which landed on the numerous corpses. Before long, the large pile of corpses was burned to ashes, leaving only a ball of light shimmering with crystalline blood. Chang Yu reached out and divided the mass of essence blood in two, placing one half into a pre-prepared container and swallowing the other half directly. The moment the essence blood entered his mouth, a surge of immense energy emanated from it and spread throughout Chang Yu's entire body. Chang Yu couldn't help but instinctively roar at Gao Tian, his eyes turning green and his fangs bared, revealing his zombie form. As the essence and blood within Chang Yu's body continued to nourish him, it seemed that streams of silvery white energy were being drawn down from the moon high in the sky and merged into Chang Yu's body. It was a scene of zombies worshipping the moon, created by the combined effects of their internal blood essence and the external moonlight. Chang Yu felt as if his strength was increasing rapidly, his fists were becoming more powerful, and his originally light green pupils were constantly turning dark green. An unseen sense told him that he had just replenished his depleted energy and was now a true second-generation zombie. There are differences between the second-generation zombies as well. Some are as strong as Kazuo Yamamoto's final form, capable of going toe-to-toe with the first-generation zombies. They were as weak as Kuang Fusion, unable to even defeat some third-generation figures. Chang Yu's current strength is probably a bit stronger than Kuang Fusion's, and he should be ranked in the middle among the second-generation zombies. Of course, freaks like Kuang Tianyu can't be considered in the middle. He's clearly just a second-generation zombie with serious financial losses, yet he can frequently unleash his full power. Even Zhang Chen was defeated by him. While it's true that Zhang Chen might have held back a lot, Kuang Tianyu's strength cannot be denied. Chang Yu had considered learning from Kuang Tianyu's approach to self-improvement, such as having a passionate romance, or finding a way to stimulate her inner emotions. But after careful consideration, I felt that such a method of improvement must have significant problems. It's more like a temporary, reactive measure, and it comes at a huge cost. In the original story, if Kuang Tianyu hadn't had the protagonist's halo and hadn't entered the Panga Holy Land, his final fate probably wouldn't have been good either. In comparison, Chang Yu believed more in the law of conservation of energy, feeling that his Samadhi True Fire was extraordinary. The extracted essence blood contains extremely pure energy. If I continue to consume the essence blood to improve myself, I might be able to debut alongside the main characters in 60 years. After all, in this era, for Chang Yu, there is no shortage of sources of vital essence. The world is in turmoil, with little legal restraint, and it is likely that the next 1 or 2 decades will also be marked by continuous warfare. Chang Yu didn't even need to lift a finger, he just needed to help them clean up after the battle. As for the claim that such behavior is immoral, Chang Yu said, he's not the main character, he's become a zombie. What's the point of talking about morality? As long as he stays true to himself and doesn't touch the remains of the Yanhuang warriors, everything else is irrelevant to Chang Yu, it's just about enhancing his own natural treasures. This behavior is actually quite similar to the protagonist taking a child along and sucking the blood of the dead on the battlefield. The protagonist was simply trying to fill his stomach and prevent himself from going insane. Chang Yu's samadhi fire is different. Chang Yu has discovered that when samadhi fire burns corpses, it seems to extract the remaining essence, energy, and spirit from the corpses as well, and after refinement, it forms essence blood together with the surrounding flesh and blood. This was essentially making perfect use of a corpse, and the benefits it brought Chang Yu even surpassed the effects of other zombies directly absorbing the blood of living people. For this reason, blood may only increase the strength of other zombies at their current level and replenish their energy. But for Chang Yu, this was an opportunity to break through his rank and become a new generation leader. With this in mind, Chang Yu had a clear plan for the future. There were still at least 60 years before the story officially began. This war will last for at least a decade. Chang Yu's next task is to travel between various battlefields, collect essence blood, and strive to improve his strength. After all, this world has many problems. It is constantly facing the threat of world destruction. Furthermore, the Pangu clan and Fate are scheming against each other. Those who are not strong enough cannot even control their own destiny. As for enjoying those things, let's talk about that after we've developed the ability to protect ourselves. Chang Yu isn't exactly a person who's indifferent to worldly desires. He has no interest in wielding power while awake, but he feels he can still give it a try when it comes to being drunk and having beautiful women on his lap. As dawn broke, many people in the city had actually heard the commotion from the previous night. However, due to the atrocities committed by the Japanese pirates and their puppet troops, they could only keep their doors and windows tightly shut in fear. They hid by the door, listening to the sounds outside while remaining cautiously on guard, afraid that someone might suddenly break into their home. That night, all the residents near the puppet troops and Japanese pirates' garrisons were on edge. Although the noise had subsided by the middle of the night, leaving only the sounds of insects and birds outside, they dared not rest easily. It wasn't until daylight that they cautiously opened the doors and windows, and then they saw the streets littered with wreckage, with traces of dried blood still visible on the ground. As for the Japanese pirates and puppet troops who used to swagger around the city, they had disappeared without a trace. Some daring civilians went to the outside of the puppet army's camp, only to find it eerily quiet inside. They cautiously went inside to investigate, only to find no one there. Then, they quickly arrived outside the Japanese pirate camp and found the same situation as the puppet army camp. An unbelievable thought suddenly surged into their minds, and then they quickly searched all over the county town, only to find that not only their garrison, but the entire town, had lost all trace of the Japanese pirates and their puppet troops. A look of ecstasy appeared on their faces. Overjoyed, they disregarded everything else and ran around the city shouting the news. The Japanese pirates are gone? The Japanese pirates are gone. The news spread rapidly, and soon the entire county was in an uproar. People came to check outside the Japanese pirates' camp and found that they were indeed nowhere to be seen. Cheers immediately erupted throughout the city, and the streets instantly became abuzz with excitement. Chang Yu booked the top floor of the city's largest restaurant, sat by the window, and looked down at the bustling crowd with a faint smile on his face. His gaze swept past the crowds to a spot on the edge of the city. Yesterday, while wandering through the city, his keen ears had caught an unexpected glimpse. So after he had finished clearing out the Japanese pirates and puppet troops, he did them a favor, which the people there should have noticed by now. In the direction Chang Yu was looking, there was a slightly dilapidated courtyard. At that moment, a young boy rushed in. As he ran, he shouted, Brother Jun, good news, good news. At that moment, a burly young man rushed out of the courtyard and covered the boy's mouth. He scolded in a low voice, what are you yelling about? So reckless? What if you attract the attention of those scoundrels? The boy pulled his hand away from the young man's and said with a beaming smile, Brother Jun, I just went into the city to gather information. Everyone's saying the Japanese pirates and those bastards have disappeared. I went to their base myself, it's completely empty. Not a single Japanese pirate or Irguze is left. Upon hearing this, the soldier also lost his composure, grabbing the boy's shoulders, Little Sanar, are you telling the truth? The boy, nicknamed Xiao Sanar, nodded excitedly. Just then, a kind-looking young man ran out of the courtyard. When he saw Brother Jun, his eyes lit up, and he quickly went up to him, leaned close to Brother Jun's ear, and whispered something. The mistress nearby vaguely heard things like woodshed and arms. Just then, Brother Jun couldn't help but exclaim in surprise, are you serious? The newly arrived boy nodded emphatically, and Junji instantly lost his composure. He grabbed the boy and ran straight into the courtyard. Let's go take a look. Brother Jun said urgently. Seeing their posture, Xiao San scratched his head, puzzled, and then quickly followed the two. The three of them moved quickly and soon arrived at a house. Outside the house, several sheds had been set up. The shed was neatly stacked with firewood, which should be the woodshed in this courtyard. Ignoring everything else, Jun walked straight in, pushed open the door, and saw a jumble of guns and ammunition lying around, along with a lot of military equipment and supplies. Junji stepped forward to inspect them one by one and found that these weapons were all very sophisticated, seemingly very similar to the standard equipment used by the Japanese pirates in the original city. The mistress behind him was so shocked by the room full of high-quality equipment that her jaw almost dropped to the floor. He asked incredulously, "Brother Jun, what's going on? Where did we get so much equipment?" Junji's face also showed disbelief. It took him a long time to react before he pulled the boy who had led the way over. "Anu, does anyone else know about this?" Anu scratched his head and said somewhat naively, "Brother Jun, I just got here and was about to prepare food for everyone when I saw these things. I quickly closed the door and went to find you. The others probably don't know yet." That's good, that's good." Brother Jun breathed a sigh of relief and looked at the two boys. "Anu, Xiaoling, you two must remember this. I won't say a word about this, and you're not allowed to tell anyone. From now on, you two will take turns guarding the woodshed and not allow anyone to approach." As he spoke, Brother Jun's face was serious, and his cold and stern expression carried a subtle aura that pressed down on Anu and Xiaosaner. Seeing Jun's serious expression, the two understood the gravity of the matter and immediately nodded emphatically. "Jun, don't worry. From now on we'll eat and live here, and we won't let anyone near this place." Hearing this, Brother Jun patted the two men on the shoulders. "Thank you for your hard work. Don't worry, I won't keep you watching over these things for long. I'll get them out of here as soon as possible." The two chuckled sheepishly. "It's not hard work, it's not hard work." Junji stepped forward to inspect the weapons and equipment again, a thoughtful look in his eyes. Remembering the message from Xiaosaner, all the Japanese pirates and puppet troops in the city had disappeared. Based on the sophisticated equipment found here, Junji immediately had a guess in his mind. Could it be that an organized group intervened yesterday, eliminating these Japanese pirates and their henchmen, and then left the weapons here, but they are unable to come forward to meet us? After thinking for a long time, he felt that this was very likely, and then turned around and gave Anu and Xiaosan a few more instructions. The soldier hurriedly left the compound and headed out of the county town. Chang Yu, seated on the top floor of the restaurant, keenly observed Junji looking out of the city. A slight smile played on his lips as he murmured, "They've already discovered it." Yesterday, while he was gathering information in the city, he passed by that compound and, through layers of high walls, unexpectedly overheard the conversation of the people inside. He discovered that they were actually undercover agents of the Red Organization. He silently made a decision in his heart, and after dealing with the Japanese pirates and puppet troops in the city, he used his superb speed and strength. They quickly gathered the military equipment and supplies from the two outposts and quietly piled them up in the woodshed of that courtyard. Although these weapons were few in number, they represented Chang Yu's goodwill. Chang Yu also decided that when he collected more essence blood in the future, he would give their weapons to the people in the Red Organization. Although this world is at most a parallel world to the original one, it's hard for Chang Yu not to identify with those people with black hair, black eyes, and yellow skin. He naturally hoped that his fellow countrymen of the same skin color would live better lives, and that this long-suffering nation could be liberated as soon as possible. Watching the soldier quickly leave the city, Chang Yu smiled and slowly withdrew his gaze. Looking at the table full of delicious food in front of him, the smile on his lips turned into bitterness. Zombies are great in every way, except for the fact that they can't eat, which is really annoying. As a model young man from a great food-loving empire, Chang Yu found it hard to accept the idea of suddenly giving up his appetite. He secretly resolved to find the two snake spirits as soon as possible, learn their methods of preparing food, and overcome his inability to eat. Thinking of the two snake spirits, Chang Yu suddenly paused, as if they could create something that would allow zombies to eat and drink normally. It's because they imbued the food with their own spiritual energy, giving it an extra touch of spiritual energy, making it feel like the spiritual food found in the world of cultivation. In Chang Yu's view, the reason why zombies suck blood is mainly because the spiritual energy in the world of My Date with a Zombie is scarce. They cannot replenish their energy through spiritual energy and can only replenish their energy by relying on the essence, energy, and spirit in human blood. The food prepared by the two snake spirits contained spiritual energy. Although it didn't replenish much energy, the spiritual energy allowed it to be absorbed by the zombie's digestive system, preventing diarrhea. If that's the case, I think I've found a way to eat normally. Chang Yu's eyes grew brighter as she murmured. My samadhi true fire, in essence, refines the vital energy and spirit within a living being through combustion, thereby forming essence and blood. The extracted essence blood contains the energy that zombies need to replenish their energy reserves or enhance their strength. In that case, if I use the essence blood refined from my samadhi true fire to infuse these dishes, will it achieve the same effect as the two snake spirits using their magic? Chang Yu pondered to himself. After sorting out his thoughts, Chang Yu reached into his pocket and pulled out a porcelain bottle containing a few drops of essence blood extracted from the corpses of Japanese pirates and puppet troops the previous night. Chang Yu poured out a drop of his essence blood, and the samadhi true fire was activated once more, melting the drop of essence blood into a cloud of blood mist. Under Chang Yu's skillful manipulation, the blood mist was evenly incorporated into the dishes on the table. After the blood mist had completely blended with the food, a faint blood-red light seemed to shimmer on the food. Chang Yu couldn't wait to pick up her chopsticks, take a piece of sweet and sour pork ribs, and put it in her mouth. This truly lives up to its reputation as the largest restaurant in the city. The pork ribs were cooked to a delicious sweet and sour flavor, even for Chang Yu, who was accustomed to all kinds of delicacies in modern times. They also raved about the ribs, but at this point, the taste of the ribs was no longer the most important thing. Chang Yu quickly devoured all the meat on the ribs and swallowed it. I waited anxiously, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, as time slowly passed. Chang Yu suddenly threw his head back and burst into laughter, then picked up his chopsticks and devoured the food in a flash. Clearly, Chang Yu's experiment was a success. Using blood essence to replace magical power is indeed feasible, and Chang Yu will no longer have to worry about not being able to eat and drink normally. Chang Yu's laughter attracted the attention of the restaurant staff. A waiter with a white towel draped over his shoulder bowed and came in. "Sir, what can I do for you?" Chang Yu waved his hand. It's nothing. Please enjoy your meal, sir. Just let me know if you need anything." With that, the waiter turned to leave. "Wait a minute, bring me a pot of good wine. I'm in a good mood today and I'm ready to have a drink," Chang Yu ordered, stopping the waiter. "Okay, sir, please wait a moment." After saying that, the waiter left and soon returned with a pot of wine. "Sir, please enjoy your meal." Chang Yu waved his hand, and the waiter left immediately. Chang Yu dripped a drop of his blood into the wine pot, staining the wine with a bloody hue. Chang Yu ate and drank with great relish. Having eaten and drunk his fill, Chang Yu patted his belly with satisfaction, his heart filled with indescribable joy. Being a zombie is great in every way, except for the fact that it has to drink blood, can't eat, and is much stronger. Otherwise, it's no different from an ordinary human. Now that Chang Yu has resolved a major flaw he suffered from becoming a zombie, how is he now different from a god compared to an ordinary person? Taking out the small porcelain bottle from his person, Chang Yu examined the essence blood inside and shook his head. Not enough. We still need to keep trying and collect more essence blood. After thinking it over, Chang Yu called the waiter to settle the bill, and then went to some shops run by craftsmen in the city to have several gourds made to hold his essence blood in the future. Then he left the small county town without looking back. Chang Yu had done all he could. How things would develop from there was up to them. Time flies by like a white horse galloping past a crack in the wall. Over the next decade or so, Chang Yu traveled to various battlefields, and also took the opportunity to visit the famous historical sites near each battlefield. I've skied in the Alps, swam in Lake Baikal, fished in the Mediterranean, hunted on the African savanna, heard the Rhine River, and witnessed the beautiful aurora borealis in the Arctic. Every battlefield Chang Yu visited would inexplicably erupt into a great fire at the end of the battle. After the fire, the bodies of the fallen soldiers on both sides would turn into piles of ashes. This made both sides somewhat suspicious of each other. If it weren't for the fact that it was during World War II and the whole world was at war, Chang Yu's range of movement would have been much larger. It's likely that someone had already started investigating, and Chang Yu treated these outsiders differently than he had treated the Red Army soldiers. Regardless of which side they were on, as long as they died in battle, their life essence would be accepted by Chang Yu. This was even because there was no transportation available near the war zone. Chang Yu continuously used his speed, and with the replenishment of his essence blood, his speed increased several times compared to when he first became a zombie. Sometimes Chang Yu even wondered if he had no weaknesses. If things continued like this, his speed might even surpass that of the second-generation zombies who had awakened the Speed Force. Over the course of more than a decade, Chang Yu refined tens of millions of corpses with his Samadhi True Fire. During the entire Second World War, nearly half of the soldiers who died and the civilians who were massacred on a large scale were transformed into essence blood and fell into Chang Yu's hands. Chang Yu didn't bother to stop the infighting among other factions, as long as it didn't interfere with his collection of essence blood. His only regret was that he had transmigrated too late and was unable to stop the Japanese pirates' atrocities against Nando. As Chang Yu accumulated more essence and blood, he discovered that his absorption had an upper limit, and each time he reached saturation, he needed a period of time to digest it. Of course, he could also use his own abilities to accelerate the digestion process. In order to absorb as much essence as possible, Chang Yu had mastered the Samadhi True Fire to perfection, and even his own self-healing ability had been greatly improved. However, Chang Yu harvested far too much essence blood, and if he couldn't digest it all at once, the energy within it would slowly dissipate. To avoid waste, Chang Yu purified the blood essence a second time, and after some attempts, he finally succeeded. The essence blood, transformed from a liquid state into solid essence blood beads, has lost energy to an imperceptible degree. On average, every 100 drops of essence blood can be condensed into one essence blood bead. Although the quantity is much less, the quality is significantly improved. Chang Yu could feel that with each bead of essence blood that went down his throat, his genes and cells cheered, his strength seemed to increase, and his absorption limit was constantly rising. After experiencing the effects of the essence blood beads on himself, Chang Yu strived for perfection and refined 200 and 300 drops of condensed essence blood beads. Until the essence blood bead, refined from 1,000 drops of blood essence, was created, Chang Yu discovered that he could no longer extract essence blood beads with stronger effects at this stage. The essence bead, condensed from 1,000 drops of blood essence, looks like a dazzling ruby. Once swallowed, one can immediately feel a surge of power erupting from it. Even with the strength of Chang Yu, the second-generation zombie, he dared not underestimate this power and could only refine it cautiously. Similarly, the boost that these essence blood beads brought to Chang Yu was enormous. As the global war gradually subsided, Chang Yu's own strength had increased dozens of times. Deep within his dark green pupils, a flash of red occasionally flickered, signifying that Chang Yu's bloodline had reached the pinnacle of the second generation and was showing signs of breaking through the first generation. This discovery confirmed one thing for Chang Yu: the power of zombies does not necessarily have to be enhanced through the power of love. If a large amount of resources are accumulated, there is still a possibility of enhancement. Furthermore, this improvement is more stable and the overall strength is greater. Chang Yu could sense that his bloodline had undergone several transformations during the process of increasing his strength. Although he is not yet comparable to a zombie progenitor like Zhang Chen, he seems to be less afraid of Zhang Chen, the source of his bloodline. It seems that due to the transformation of his bloodline, he has severed the bond with Zhang Chen. In the future, when Chang Yu faces Zhang Chen again, they will only lose due to a lack of strength, and will no longer lose because of the suppression of their bloodline and inability to exert their combat power. Time flies, and it was already 1955. The last support war had ended nearly 2 years ago. Chang Yu stood on the beach in Hokkaido, Japan, enjoying the sea breeze. Behind him, 2 beautiful women were reporting their recent gains to him. After the war ended, Chang Yu stopped traveling around and wanted to live a normal life. However, Chang Yu is not the kind of person who would endure hardship without effort. If Yamamoto Kazuo could build the Yamamoto Group and become the behind-the-scenes big boss, he certainly couldn't be inferior to Yamamoto Kazuo. Reflecting on the development of later generations, Chang Yu's eyes lit up. He had found the direction for future development. After Japan announced its unconditional surrender and returned home, all the problems that had accumulated due to the war erupted. Domestic resources have been nearly depleted due to the war, and because of the defeat, many resources could not be brought back, leading to a tense domestic situation. With the people struggling on the brink of death, Japan's advantage of being surrounded by the sea on all sides became apparent. In an effort to quell domestic conflicts and expedite the country's recovery, the Japanese leadership has been aggressively encouraging the development of the fishing industry. Taking advantage of the moment when everyone was caught off guard, Chang Yu seized coastal fishing grounds on a large scale and used coercion and enticement to purchase a large number of decommissioned warships to be used as fishing boats. Chang Yu's fishing team has been actively developing marine fisheries, both in coastal and deep-sea areas, and has also engaged in aquaculture in coastal waters. In just a few years, he amassed a fortune that rivaled that of a nation. During this time, many people tried to take advantage of Chang Yu, but in the end, they all became his prized possessions. Gradually, the higher UPS also learned that there was a great terror behind Chang Yu's presence. The situation in Japan was complicated. The country was prohibited from having armed forces, and only a self-defense force remained. With US troops stationed there, this self-defense force dared not make any big moves in order to avoid escalating the situation and attracting US attention. The Japanese pirates had no choice but to abandon their suppression of Chang Yu's forces, resorting only to covert methods. Without official constraints, Chang Yu's power grew even faster. Chang Yu was neither a saint nor a monk, but he didn't take just anyone either. Over the years, Chang Yu had taken in 4 personal maids, and the 2 behind him were 2 of them. All 4 women are exceptionally capable. The 2 behind them, one named Yu, has short, shoulder-length hair, acts decisively and efficiently, and manages Eternal Fisheries Co., Limited, founded by Chang Yu. Originally the daughter of a triad boss, her parents were killed in a fight with other triads, and she was captured by her enemies. Just as she was about to be humiliated, Chang Yu saved her and avenged her parents' deaths. After that, she followed Chang Yu. Another character named Shizuka possesses a noble air, graceful figure, and dignified demeanor. Originally a descendant of the Japanese imperial family, he was plotted against by other members of the imperial family and nearly died tragically in the streets. He was rescued by Chang Yu and has been following Chang Yu ever since. To facilitate the collection of different blood types, Chang Yu joined the Red Cross Society and used the money earned from fisheries development to open hospitals and various medical institutions in different places. At the same time, several well-equipped blood research institutes were established to study various types of blood, and efforts were also made to find methods for cloning blood. After all, no matter how much stock you have, it will eventually run out. He doesn't want to end up like Yamamoto Kazuo, who had to leech off others, nor does he want to leech off expired blood like Kuang Tianyu and his group. Therefore, he planned ahead and also wanted to find special blood among humans to see if it would be helpful to him. After all, with Zhenzhen, the reincarnation of a saint, Ma Xiaoling's destiny and bloodline, and Ma Yu, who has an innate Dao body, it's hard to guarantee that there won't be other special bloodlines. Chang Yu felt that his special bloodline possessed unique supernatural abilities and would definitely be of special help to him. Jingxiang was the one who managed these medical institutions on his behalf. Over the years, through careful planning, some special bloodlines were indeed found, but their extraordinary properties were not apparent and they did not have much effect on Chang Yu. So he made samples from those blood and put them in the research institute for study. Chang Yu's other 2 maids were rescued by him within the Yanhuang clan. During his campaigns against the Japanese pirates, he encountered several massacres by the pirates, and these 2 women were among the survivors. A country girl named Lingzi and a young lady from a wealthy family named Mengling, after being trained by Chang Yu, have become extremely powerful in all aspects and manage various forces within Yanhuang on Chang Yu's behalf. At the same time, it was also about collecting special bloodlines within the Yanhuang clan. Chang Yu's collection was not an aggressive one, but rather he established a hospital and adopted a voluntary blood donation method to collect bloodlines. They did a great job. Even the siblings Ma Dingdang and Ma Dalong, who were in high school, were tricked by their subordinates into donating blood regularly, which allowed Chang Yu to collect a lot of Shenlong blood. Hey guys, if you like it, could you please give it a 5-star review? Boss, the arrangements on Hong Kong Island are complete. The ocean shipping fleet has already established a ferry terminal there, and our newly established transportation company has begun to operate gradually. Aoitsuki's cool voice rang out. Chang Yu nodded in satisfaction. There was still a long time before the start of the story, and Chang Yu didn't want to waste any time, so he began to make arrangements in Hong Kong Island in advance. Mengling has been based in Hong Kong, collecting information on the Ma family and other special bloodlines for Chang Yu while managing company affairs. Now, Mengling has begun preparations for the launch of a film and television company. Lingzi, the last one, was stationed in Inner Mongolia to develop animal husbandry. Chang Yu believed that since zombies sucked blood to replenish their energy, this was the reason. That means it's definitely not just human blood, blood from other animals would also work. After some experimentation, he found that it was indeed possible, but due to spiritual reasons, the blood of other animals was much less effective than human blood. However, under the Samadhi fire, sufficient animal blood, after purification and refinement, can achieve the same effect as human blood. Chang Yu then sent Lingzi to oversee the situation. Initially, Lingzi was stationed in Outer Mongolia, but in recent years she has gradually moved back to Inner Mongolia. What Chang Yu had to do was to go and harvest the crops every so often, and then use his Samadhi true fire to purify them. Chang Yu's 4 maids had long been turned into 3rd-generation zombies by him, and he had also planted many zombies in the management of the various companies under them. However, under Chang Yu's strict orders, these zombies do not usually drink blood, and the company also has a special canteen. Chang Yu and his 4 maids used essence blood beads refined from human blood, while for the other zombies, Chang Yu would periodically distribute essence blood beads refined from animal blood. Therefore, their usual behavior is no different from that of ordinary people, and they have not been discovered by outsiders over the years. To ensure a continuous supply of sperm, Chang Yu's fleet also established livestock industries in many small countries. In some frequently war-torn areas, Chang Yu would also establish an armed force to collect corpses for him. Of course, at Chang Yu's request, these armed forces rarely took the initiative to attack, they were generally engaged in cleanup work. Faced with their overwhelming military threat, the others dared not speak out against them. After each major battle, they would tidy up the battlefield briefly and then obediently retreat, leaving their corpses behind, for fear of angering these killing gods and turning themselves into corpses. Everything was progressing smoothly, and Chang Yu was very satisfied. He put his arm around the 2 women behind him and headed towards the seaside villa. As they walked, Shizuka's voice drifted over. Boss, that Miss Yamamoto is donating blood again today. Chang Yu chuckled softly. Very well, just put it away for now. Now we should get down to business and try to create a little devil as soon as possible. The waves crashed against the rocks, and a beautiful murmur could be faintly heard in the sea breeze. After a long while, Chang Yu tidied himself up and went into the laboratory to check a newly delivered test tube of blood. This vial of blood came from Yamamoto Kazuo's wife, Yamamoto Yuki, who was the reincarnation of an ancient saint. Her saintly blood, during Wang Zhenzhen's time, was able to attract the yin energy to descend. There was no reason why she would be useless in this life, so Chang Yu specially opened a hospital near Yamamoto Manor. After some planning, she finally made Yamamoto Yuki a regular at the hospital's blood donation center. Laboratory studies have revealed that this blood does indeed contain some kind of special power. However, current technology is limited, and it is not yet possible to replicate the blood. Helpless, Chang Yu had no choice but to abandon the idea of copying it and instead consume it himself. Yamamoto Yuki's blood was quite peculiar, containing very few impurities. Even under Chang Yu's Samadhi true fire refinement, it only shrank slightly. A test tube of blood could actually extract essence blood the size of a grain of rice. After consuming it, Chang Yu discovered that although the amount of this essence blood was small, it seemed to contain some kind of special energy that could enhance and promote the bloodline of zombies. However, the amount was too small, and its effect was very limited. Sometimes Chang Yu even thought about draining Yamamoto Yuki dry to see if he would evolve. However, in order to avoid attracting the attention of fate, Chang Yu eventually gave up the idea. Even the staff near Yamamoto Manor were ordinary people who usually acted normally. Yamamoto Yuki was supposed to die not long after the defeat of the Japanese pirates and Yamamoto Kazuo's return to Japan, due to Yamamoto Kazuo's decadence and overwork. However, after Chang Yu realized the effects of the saintess's blood, he arranged for someone to soothe Yamamoto Yuki's emotions, allowing her to live a few more years without incident. However, Yamamoto Kazuo seems to be acting strangely lately, becoming increasingly violent. Chang Yu guesses that it's probably because Yamamoto Yuki hasn't died yet. Fate couldn't help but intervene. After all, if Yamamoto Yuki hadn't died, how would Wang Zhenzhen have been born, and what would Fate's next plan be? This time, Chang Yu did not intend to interfere again. After all, Chang Yu also hoped that Zhenzhen could be born, even without this long-term blood transfusion. At worst, we can wait until she dies, steal her body, and extract her essence and blood, which should be quite useful. Then, in a few years, Zhenzhen should be born. Once she's a bit older, we can send some people to persuade her, and the long-term blood transfusion supply will be available again. Moreover, Ma Xiaoling and Ma Yu will be there too, so they can harvest together. Looking at the test tube in his hand, Chang Yu casually released a tiny flame of samadhi true fire into the test tube, directly refining the saintess's blood into a bead of essence blood the size of a grain of rice. Then he put it together with the essence blood beads he had previously extracted. Chang Yu planned to use it together with the essence blood beads extracted from Yamamoto Yuki's body after she died, which might prove very useful then. He casually placed the test tube back on the table. The fact that the test tube remained completely undamaged after the samadhi true fire was enough to demonstrate how strong Chang Yu's control over it had become. Chang Yu's prediction was correct. Not long after the blood donation, news of Yamamoto Yuki's suicide spread from the Yamamoto Manor. Chang Yu stood atop a tall building, quietly gazing in the direction of Yamamoto Manor. Shizuka said with some concern, "Boss, are you really going to Yamamoto Manor yourself?" Chang Yu nodded, neither confirming nor denying. "But isn't this a bit too dangerous? What if fate, takes notice?" Aoitsuki said with a worried expression. When Chang Yu had previously instructed them to plot against Yamamoto Yuki and Ma Dingdang, she had already informed them of the existence of destiny to prevent them from acting impulsively and rashly, and told them to proceed with caution. Hearing that Chang Yu was going to risk going to Yamamoto Manor to investigate, the two women were somewhat uneasy. Chang Yu smiled and hugged the two women. "It's all right, fate, has already made his plans. Yamamoto Yuki is dead, so his focus shouldn't be here anymore. Don't worry, I'll be right back." After Chang Yu finished speaking, he shouldered a dummy and flew directly into the night sky, his expression somewhat solemn. I just comforted the two women, saying that fate doesn't care. But what the truth is, Chang Yu can't know either. Fate is invisible and intangible, who knows where he will appear. Only after he possesses Yukaya will he be temporarily safe. At this point in time, Chang Yu cannot be certain of fate's whereabouts. However, Yamamoto Yuki's saintess blood is too important to him. It might allow Chang Yu to evolve ahead of time, so that Chang Yu will have enough strength to deal with what comes next. Over the years, Chang Yu has also collected many cultivation manuals from dilapidated Taoist sects and found some methods to conceal one's aura. When unleashed at this moment, it was like a ghost, infiltrating the Yamamoto Manor. Thanks to Kazuo Yamamoto, the Yamamoto Manor is extremely luxurious and covers a very large area. It's easy for an ordinary person to get lost inside. But Chang Yu was prepared. He had already sent people to find out the layout of the Yamamoto Manor and knew exactly where Yamamoto Yuki was. Chang Yu walked silently to the outside of the morning hall without disturbing anyone inside the manor. The morning hall was still brightly lit. However, there was only a 14 or 15-year-old girl crying loudly. There was no one else. Chang Yu sighed inwardly. This must be Yamamoto Kazuo's daughter, Yamamoto Mirai, a kind-hearted girl who was unfortunately driven mad by her father and turned into a zombie, suffering a life of torment ever since. Shaking his head to clear his mind, Chang Yu observed the surroundings for a while and, finding no one else around, made sure there was no sign of him. A burst of energy shot out from his hand, knocking Yamamoto Mirai unconscious. Then, with a flash, he caught Yamamoto Mirai before she fell to the ground and placed her aside. He stepped forward, pushed open the coffin, and saw the woman lying inside. Remembering how gentle and kind she had always been, he felt a pang of pity. However, Chang Yu's gaze quickly hardened. In order to have a secure future, he had to seize every opportunity to improve his strength. Since the person is already dead, there's no point in keeping the body. I might as well fulfill my wish. At worst, I can save her daughter's life later as compensation. With his mind made up, Chang Yu scooped up Yamamoto Yuki, carried her on his shoulder, and placed the dummy in the coffin. This mannequin is made of silicone, with a face identical to Yuki Yamamoto's and the same weight. After some makeup and styling, it's hard to tell it's a mannequin unless you touch it yourself. He casually closed the coffin, thinking to himself, hopefully this arrangement will work. Chang Yu truly didn't want to attract the attention of fate. After glancing back at Yamamoto Mirai, Chang Yu picked up Yamamoto Yuki and disappeared into the night. Chang Yu carried Yamamoto Yuki's body, turning left and right along the way, and soon arrived at an underground research institute. Aoitsuki and Shizuka had been waiting there for a long time. Upon seeing Chang Yu, they immediately breathed a sigh of relief and their smiles blossomed. Seeing their charming appearance, Chang Yu put down Yamamoto Yuki's body, stepped forward, hugged the two women, and chuckled softly. "All right, I'm back safe and sound." Kang Jingyu immediately grabbed Chang Yu's hand and said seriously, "Boss, please prioritize your safety and don't take any more risks yourself." Seeing her serious expression, Chang Yu smiled and pinched her cheek, then solemnly said, "Don't worry, I understand. I won't take that risk again next time." Kang Jingyu was relieved and wrapped her arms tightly around Chang Yu's. Watching the two interact, Shizuka smiled slightly. "All right, boss, you've been out and about for a while, why don't you go take a shower and relax?" As she spoke, Shizuka wrapped her other arm around Chang Yu's and walked towards a lounge, with Ao Yu following closely behind, carrying Chang Yu in her arms. Chang Yu didn't object, smiling and nodding, then instructed the lab technicians who had been standing silently for a long time, study Yamamoto Yuki's body first, see if there's anything unusual. After saying that, Chang Yu followed the two women to wash up. Behind him, everyone bowed in unison and replied, "Yes, boss." With the help of the two women, Chang Yu took a nice hot bath, and then helped the two women, who were wet from the water, to wash themselves. After making love with the two women on the bed, the pent-up frustration in his heart finally dissipated, and he felt relaxed again. The previous actions seemed easy, but Yamamoto Kazuo, Yamamoto Yuki, and others were all chosen by fate. Chang Yu doesn't have the protagonist's halo. His current strength is not enough to fight against fate. If fate discovers him now, then everything he has done before will have been in vain. Moreover, no one knows what fate might conspire against them. Fortunately, judging from the current situation, they seem to have escaped fate's clutches. This mission has been a close call. After calming the two women beside her, Chang Yu got up, took a shower, got dressed, and then approached a group of lab personnel, asking them casually, "How's the research going?" The tall, thin man at the head of the group bowed and replied, "I'm sorry, boss, we've conducted various examinations on her body, and there's not much difference from a normal person." Chang Yu nodded, not surprised at all, and waved his hand, signaling everyone to leave. Upon seeing this, everyone bowed respectfully and then silently withdrew. Chang Yu gazed at Yamamoto Yuki's corpse, feeling neither sorrow nor joy. As the reincarnation of an ancient saintess, she had already experienced countless lifetimes. If her body were truly different from ordinary people, wouldn't it have been discovered long ago? The fact that her blood exhibits some supernatural qualities due to the reincarnation of a saintess is already quite remarkable. The previous investigation by everyone was merely an attempt by Chang Yu. Since it was ineffective, Chang Yu no longer hesitated. The samadhi true fire was unleashed, engulfing Yamamoto Yuki's corpse. As the flames landed, Yamamoto Yuki's graceful body instantly began to dissipate, slowly turning into a ball of essence blood within the flames. Although he was already dead, the supernatural power within Yamamoto Yuki's body had clearly not dissipated so quickly. The amount of his essence blood alone was equivalent to what 100 ordinary people could extract, and its quality was far superior. Looking at the essence blood before him, Chang Yu smiled slightly and continued refining it. Soon, the essence blood turned into an apple-sized crystal, which Chang Yu casually put away. No one knew what would happen after he took the crystal, or how long it would take, so Chang Yu did not take it immediately and decided to make thorough preparations first. After refining Yamamoto Yuki, Chang Yu began traveling the world, refining all the poultry and livestock that his subordinates had raised for extracting essence blood into essence blood beads. They also collected the essence blood from the war-torn areas, while leaving enough essence blood beads for the zombie minions, since it was unknown how long this breakthrough would take. Chang Yu didn't want to emerge from seclusion to find his subordinates all out of control, unable to resist absorbing the life essence of living people, that would easily attract the attention of fate. After arranging everything, Chang Yu bid farewell to everyone and chose a deserted island to begin his seclusion, preparing to refine the essence of Yamamoto Yuki and those with special bloodlines to improve himself. In a cave on a deserted island, Chang Yu took out all of Yamamoto Yuki's essence blood beads, and then took out several small bottles. Among these bottles, 2 contained beads of essence blood from Ma Dalong and Ma Dingdang, respectively. After a period of persuasion, the 2 siblings became regular blood donors, but the collection was very slow, and so far they only had a small amount of blood the size of a marble. The bloodlines of the 2 siblings are also extremely unique. After being refined by Chang Yu, they faintly shimmer with a purple fluorescence. The other bottles contain the bloodlines of other special constitutions discovered in recent years, but in very small numbers. Looking at the collected essence blood before him, Chang Yu decided to consume other special bloodlines first, while saving Yamamoto Yuki's saintess bloodline for last. With his current control over the samadhi true fire and his formidable regenerative abilities, he should be able to react promptly to any problems that may arise. If this is feasible, Chang Yu's next step is to seize Ma Dana's body. Calculating the time, Ma Dana will die from her old injuries in about 10 years. However, since her soul still exists, the Ma family's body storage area must be heavily guarded. Without sufficient power, obtaining Madana's body would be extremely difficult. Shaking his head, Chang Yu stopped thinking about it and grabbed the porcelain bottles containing the special bloodline in front of him, pouring the essence blood beads inside into his mouth. The moment the essence blood beads entered his stomach, Chang Yu sensed the difference between these essence blood beads and ordinary essence blood beads. Although these essence blood beads are few in number, they possess a special energy that activates the moment they enter the body. This caused Chang Yu's zombie bloodline to tremble slightly. Taking advantage of this tremor, Chang Yu quickly grabbed a handful of ordinary essence blood beads and stuffed them into his mouth. The essence blood bead transformed into energy, aiding that throbbing sensation, instantly making Chang Yu feel a significant improvement in himself. Previously, when I took the essence and blood beads, although there was some improvement, the rate of improvement was very slow. Otherwise, Chang Yu wouldn't have absorbed so many essence blood beads and still not reached the pseudo first generation level. According to Chang Yu's classification of zombies, above the second-generation green-eyed type, there should be a pseudo-first-generation red-eyed type, which is the level of Wanyan Buppo. Only then can one reach the level of a first-generation zombie, like the Human King or the Holy Mother, which is the level of the Panga clan. As for Zhang Chen, as the god of war of the Panga clan, his strength should be the strongest among all the Panga clan members. Chang Yu didn't believe that he had really been killed by Kuang Tianyu. He just had to watch how Kuang Tianyu, after becoming the zombie god, struggled even to defeat the Human King. Not to mention fighting Zhang Chen must have held back, then slipped away to escape fate and the schemes of the Panga clan. Leaving aside the digressions, after Chang Yu refined those special bloodlines and felt his progress slow down, he directly grabbed the essence blood beads of Ma Dalong and Ma Dingdang and swallowed them in one gulp. This time the feeling was even more pronounced. Chang Yu could even feel every cell in her body roaring. Thirsting for energy, Chang Yu dared not be careless and grabbed a large number of essence blood beads to replenish his energy. Just as his energy was replenished, Chang Yu felt a violent consciousness rising from within him. Only then did Chang Yu remember that after Ma Xiaoling became a zombie, her consciousness was occupied by a second personality for a period of time. Chang Yu's expression shifted, and he quickly focused his mind to fight against the sudden appearance of consciousness. Fortunately, Chang Yu obtained very little of the Ma family's essence blood, and the nascent consciousness was somewhat weak. Under Chang Yu's focused attention, the nascent consciousness was quickly extinguished. The moment that consciousness faded, Chang Yu felt incredibly comfortable, as if she had just finished a sauna, feeling refreshed from the inside out. Chang Yu had a sudden realization. Perhaps it was because he had erased that consciousness and absorbed its remaining energy that his soul power had increased, which was why he felt this way. In high spirits, Chang Yu immediately grabbed more essence blood beads, wanting to take this opportunity to refine more and see if he could evolve them into purple-eyed zombies. Chang Yu only slowly opened his eyes after he could no longer feel the effects of the Ma family's essence on him. After transforming into zombie form, Chang Yu picked up a mirror and examined his eyes, discovering that in addition to the original trace of red in his eyes, there was now a trace of purple. They were all extremely small, almost invisible without close inspection. Chang Yu sighed, I guess I was overthinking it. Purple-eyed zombies are comparable to genuine Panga clan members. It's not something that can be achieved so easily. After experiencing my own strength, I realized that it had indeed improved a lot, but there was no qualitative leap. Chang Yu then temporarily left seclusion and spent some time on the island moving around to get used to his newfound power. Once he had perfect control as before, Chang Yu returned to the cave. After confirming that he was in his most perfect state, he took out Yamamoto Yuki's essence blood and prepared to refine it. The Saintess's essence and blood can draw down the yin energy, and she herself naturally belongs to the yin attribute, making her a perfect match for the extremely yin and evil body of the zombie. Although Yamamoto Yuki was only a mortal in this life, and her flesh and blood did not contain much energy, she still carried some of the essence of the ancient saintess. Like other special blood essences, what Chang Yu needed was not the quantity of them, but rather their unique essence. Stimulate your own blood vessels to allow them to transform. If the quantity is insufficient, you can supplement it with ordinary essence and blood. Chang Yu used the Samadhi True Fire to burn Yamamoto Yuki's essence blood again, softening it from crystal to liquid, and then directly inhaled it. As soon as this essence entered his body, Chang Yu felt a chilling energy sweep over his entire body, as if it were about to freeze his flesh and blood. Not daring to be careless, Chang Yu opened his mouth and inhaled, a large amount of ordinary blood essence crystals entering his abdomen. The essence, energy, and spirit then coalesce, converging into the Samadhi fire, which begins to burn fiercely within the body. After using it for so long, Chang Yu has gained a deeper understanding of his own special ability. The Samadhi True Fire is, to put it simply, a flame formed by the condensation of one's own essence, energy, and spirit. This is precisely why this flame can help Chang Yu burn the essence and spirit of others to form vital energy, thus helping him to improve himself. Since this Samadhi True Fire can be used externally, it can naturally also be used internally. By using the Samadhi True Fire to burn oneself, one can continuously refine one's essence, energy, and spirit. Burning away impurities in the body also helps Chang Yu accelerate the digestion of energy, which is why he was able to refine the new consciousness that emerged from the essence of the Ma family so quickly. This is inseparable from his years of tempering himself with the Samadhi fire, which has resulted in a highly concentrated essence, energy, and spirit that is constantly growing. Chang Yu felt that his own soul was perhaps already similar to the holy soul in Western fantasy, pure, immaculate, and holy. With the assistance of the Samadhi True Fire, the Saintess's essence blood was rapidly digested by Chang Yu's zombie bloodline. Chang Yu would occasionally open his mouth and inhale, sucking in large amounts of ordinary essence blood crystals. This is where the benefits of being prepared in advance become apparent. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had so many energy-replenishing blood essence beads prepared. Even if he successfully refines the Saintess's blood in the end, his strength will probably not increase much. Now it's different. It has the guidance and tempering of high-quality essence blood like the Saintess's blood, plus a large amount of ordinary essence blood to replenish its energy. Chang Yu felt his zombie bloodline rapidly surging. If he were to open his eyes now, he would probably find that the red tinge in his pupils was spreading quickly. As time slowly passed, the essence and blood crystals stored by Chang Yu continued to decrease. Finally, with a muffled boom, an explosion occurred within Chang Yu's body, and his zombie bloodline began to undergo violent changes as if boiling. Chang Yu suddenly stood up and roared to the sky. A pair of huge wings spread out behind him with a whoosh, and the surrounding space and time seemed to freeze at that moment. He slowly opened his eyes. What was once just a touch of red had now completely filled his pupils, like two burning flames of blood, exuding a chilling aura. Chang Yu clenched his fist, feeling the power flowing around him, and then saw some dust particles suspended in the air because of his open wings. The smile on his lips gradually widened. Ha ha ha. He seemed to have awakened some incredible ability again. I still remember when I first watched My Date with Zombie, the scene where Zhang Chen spread his wings and the surrounding space and time were frozen. He thought it was incredibly cool. However, right now, he himself seemed to possess such an ability. Chang Yu slowly closed his eyes, carefully feeling the newly grown wings and sensing the power flowing within them. In Chang Yu's perception, these wings were like two fiercely burning wings of flame, closely related to the samadhi true fire within his own body. The power that froze time and space did not emanate from the wings, rather, it was somewhat similar to spiritual power. After careful examination, Chang Yu discovered that it did indeed contain some spacetime power, but it wasn't as powerful as he had imagined. The reason why spacetime could be frozen was because the power increased too quickly, and a bit of pressure that was accidentally leaked out combined with the power of spacetime, causing this situation. A zombie usually only has one innate ability. Chang Yu guessed that his situation might be related to the new consciousness he had devoured. It's only because the newborn's consciousness is too weak that this situation of only a tiny bit of awakening occurs. However, since the seeds have already appeared, Chang Yu can gradually improve them or find a way to absorb some more of the Ma family's bloodline. Maybe he can get promoted. Anyway, with this as a starting point, there will be plenty of ways to improve in the future. Chang Yu believed that one day he could reach the level of Zhang Chen. However, now is not the time to think about those things. The most important thing now is to leave this place. According to Chang Yu's calculation, he is at most a pseudo first generation. He and Zhang Chen's fates are incomparable. The huge commotion they caused during their advancement has probably already been noticed by these powerful figures. If they stay here any longer, they might run into trouble later. Chang Yu is a man of the art of survival. He would never risk leaving seclusion unless he had absolute strength. Chang Yu immediately collected the remaining essence blood crystals, burned everything inside the cave to ashes, and then, with a flap of his wings, left the island. Chang Yu's guess was indeed correct. When his bloodline advanced and he roared, many beings throughout the blue star sensed it. Having only recently entered human society, Zhang Chen, still a straightforward young man, immediately looked towards the island, then vanished in a flash. In a secret chamber, a book called Huangji Jingshishu, the Book of Supreme Principles Governing the World, was being rapidly turned. After a moment, a phantom eye appeared and then disappeared into the void. On a school playground, a middle-aged man was blowing a whistle, watching a group of teenagers train. Suddenly, he looked up and gazed towards the small island. But after a moment, he turned his gaze back, a slight smile playing on his lips, a hint of murmur in his voice. Has a change occurred? Then fate might be in a hurry. No sooner had Chang Yu left the deserted island than Zhang Chen appeared in the sky above it, looking at the cave that had been burned to the ground. Zhang Chen shook his head in confusion, then vanished in a flash. After Zhang Chen left, a transparent eye slowly emerged, glancing warily at the spot where Zhang Chen had disappeared. He then looked down at the burned-out cave and examined it carefully, but found nothing. The transparent eyes could only disappear unwillingly into the air, and a cold voice slowly dissipated in the air. We must find a vessel as soon as possible. In this state, I am unable to exert my full strength. Chang Yu concealed his aura and sped away, sensing with a wisp of his mind the two auras that appeared successively at the location he left. I couldn't help but wipe the sweat from my brow and give myself a big thumbs up for my decision. Luckily, I managed to slip away in time, otherwise I would have been caught red-handed, based on my senses. As he had expected, Zhang Chen and Destiny's strength was indeed even greater than his current level. This made him, who was already feeling a bit restless due to his promotion, want to go out and have fun, and he reaffirmed his resolve. However, after assessing his current speed, Chang Yu still smiled and said, just wait and see. I have already undergone a complete transformation. If I plan things out properly, it's not impossible to reach the level of Zhang Chen and Ming Yuan very quickly, or even surpass them. After advancing to the red eye level, Chang Yu's speed increased dramatically, so it didn't take him long to get back to the seaside villa. Upon entering the villa, one sees 4 women, Yu, Shizuka, Lingzi, and Mengling. Chang Yu's expression darkened slightly. Had something major happened during his seclusion that left the 4 women somewhat overwhelmed, leading to their gathering here? Just as Chang Yu was about to ask, the 4 women noticed his return, and a look of surprise immediately appeared on their faces. They then rushed forward and hugged Chang Yu. Boss, you're finally back. Chang Yu was caught off guard by the 4 women's enthusiasm, but he still managed to reach out and embrace them in time. He then sat down on the sofa and looked at the most mature and composed Shizuka. Did something happen while I was gone? Why are you all here? Before Jing Xiang could answer, Lingzi couldn't help but speak up. Boss, you've been gone for over 3 years. Even when frozen, the animal blood we stored has lost its effectiveness. We were worried that something might have happened to you, which is why we gathered here. As Lingzi finished speaking, Mengling chimed in, yes, boss. Did something happen? Why did it take you so long to get back? As soon as Mengling finished speaking, 4 pairs of beautiful eyes looked at Chang Yu with some concern, clearly showing that they were all very concerned about this issue. Seeing the worried looks in their eyes, Chang Yu was also somewhat taken aback, muttering, has 3 years already passed? It doesn't feel like that long at all. When Chang Yu was refining the Saintess's essence blood, he would pause briefly when absorbing ordinary essence blood to replenish his energy. I spent the rest of the time immersed in the pleasure of my bloodline enhancement, and my perception of the outside world was very weak. I originally thought that at most a few months had passed, but I didn't expect that 3 years had already passed. Chang Yu wiped a cold sweat from his brow and looked at the 4 women apologetically. I was in seclusion and didn't realize so much time had passed. Sorry. Then, with some concern, he asked, are the essence crystals I left behind enough? Have the zombies down there gone out of control? Shizuka shook her head. Before the boss left, he left them some essence blood crystals. Later, seeing that the boss hadn't reappeared, we distributed the extra crystals, which barely managed to survive for 3 years. But if this goes on any longer, and we run out of crystals, who knows what will happen? Chang Yu nodded, then couldn't help but hug the 4 women tightly. Thank goodness for you all. I will compensate you for all the essence crystals you lost. I'm a little tired after being in seclusion for so long. Why don't you guys take a bath with me? Chang Yu said with a mischievous grin. Upon hearing this, the 4 women couldn't help but blush. Although they all knew about the relationship between the 4 of them and Chang Yu, such a situation of sleeping together in the same bed was truly rare. However, having not seen Chang Yu for so long, they all missed him terribly. After blushing for a moment, they couldn't help but get up and follow Chang Yu into the bathroom. Chang Yu took a nice hot bath, and then several women massaged her shoulders and back to help relieve her fatigue from being in seclusion for so long. Raindrops pattered outside the window, and birds sang merrily under the eaves. Before we knew it, spring had arrived. After feeling refreshed, Chang Yu began to inquire about the changes in his forces over the years. Overall, during the 3 years that Chang Yu was away, there were no major changes in the various forces under his command. It's simply that Mengling's film and television group has officially opened and is developing well, and Lingzi's animal husbandry has expanded again, which can provide them with more blood bags containing essence and blood crystals. Shizuka took over all the medical institutions and discovered some people with special bloodlines. After some contact, she reached long-term blood donation agreements with many of them. Yu then formally transformed her fishing company into an ocean shipping company, establishing her own territory in various ports. Overall, during the 3 years that Chang Yu was away, everything developed in an orderly and prosperous manner. Chang Yu couldn't help but exclaim, you did a great job. After thinking for a moment, Chang Yu smiled at the group and said, come on, let's go to the basement. I have a surprise for you. Upon entering the underground chamber, Chang Yu activated his zombie form with a thought, revealing red pupils, burning wings, and a pair of sharp fangs. The aura of the one in power erupted, instantly causing the 4 women in front of him to lower their heads, fear spreading through their hearts. Upon seeing the 4 women's appearance, Chang Yu quickly withdrew his aura to avoid frightening them. Shizuka was the first to react, exclaiming with delight, boss, you've successfully broken through. Chang Yu smiled and nodded. The other 3 women also realized what was happening and immediately gathered around, chattering and congratulating Chang Yu. In the girls' hearts, Chang Yu's successful breakthrough to the red eye level was indeed something to celebrate, and naturally, it was also a pleasant surprise for them. Hearing the girls' congratulations, Chang Yu smiled slightly, don't rush, the surprise I'm talking about isn't that. As he spoke, he lightly tapped his fingertip, and 4 drops of essence blood instantly condensed from Chang Yu's fingertip. Chang Yu's face turned pale instantly. He quickly swallowed a large amount of essence blood crystals before he could catch his breath. The 4 women, forgetting their joy, rushed forward to support Chang Yu, their voices filled with concern. Boss, are you alright? Why did you gather so much essence blood all at once? The moment the essence blood appeared, the 4 women felt their own blood vessels begin to boil, and they vaguely guessed what the real surprise Chang Yu had mentioned was. They still felt sorry for Chang Yu, seeing him weakened by condensing 4 drops of essence blood in one go. Chang Yu saved their lives, and everything they have now is thanks to him. Moreover, Chang Yu is outstanding in every aspect. After so many years together, they had long since fallen deeply in love with Chang Yu. Although they called him boss, they already regarded him as their husband. Higher-level zombies can indeed transform into lower-level zombies, but this consumes their own life essence. Not everyone bitten by a zombie will become a zombie of a lower rank. Most of them will only turn into mindless walking corpses, not even worthy of being called zombies, and a strong young man can easily deal with them. The preciousness of zombie blood essence is evident. Now that Chang Yu has condensed 4 drops of blood essence at once, how could they not be worried? Chang Yu smiled gently and straightened up. I have now advanced to the red-eyed zombie level. Your bloodlines, due to long-term consumption of essence crystals, are also on the verge of improvement. Now is the perfect time to use this drop of essence blood to advance to the 2nd generation. I'm fine, I'll just need to consume some essence blood, and I'll recover quickly. You should hurry up and consume the essence blood to advance to the 2nd generation. As he spoke, Chang Yu's complexion had regained its rosy hue. Then, he took out a lot of essence blood crystals and handed them to the 4 women so that they could replenish their energy during their advancement. The 4 women breathed a sigh of relief when they saw that Chang Yu's complexion had returned to a rosy hue, and stepped forward to accept the essence blood crystal. Shizuka couldn't help but chide him, "Boss, please don't do that next time. We can promote them one by one. It hurts us to see you like this." The other 3 women nodded in unison. Chang Yu smiled slightly, "Okay, I'll do as you say. Go get promoted." He secretly grumbled to himself, "Women. If I really go through them one by one, who will go first? Won't the people at the back of the line feel uncomfortable?" Having spent so many years together, Chang Yu naturally developed feelings for the 4 women, and therefore did not treat them as ordinary subordinates. Upon hearing this, the 4 men no longer hesitated, stepped forward, took the 4 drops of essence blood, and swallowed them. Immediately afterwards, they swallowed a large number of ordinary essence blood beads as energy to assist Chang Yu's essence blood in transforming their bodies. Moments later, 4 angry roars echoed from the basement, and the 4 women simultaneously looked up, transforming into zombies. A glimmer of green appeared in their yellow pupils, quickly spreading throughout the entire pupil, and the auras of the 4 women also increased rapidly. Chang Yu smiled as he looked at the 4 women whose appearances had drastically changed, sensing that their auras were even stronger than when he first became a second-generation powerhouse. Although Zhang Chen bit him personally, Zhang Chen's life essence had probably been almost completely depleted after transforming his mortal body into a second-generation zombie. This left him in a constant state of weakness until he discovered the miraculous uses of essence and blood, which gradually helped him replenish his deficiencies. To become a complete second-generation zombie, or even the pinnacle of the second generation, Ao Yu and the others are different. Ever since Chang Yu transformed them into third-generation zombies, they have been consuming essence blood beads to enhance themselves, directly replenishing their deficiencies and even reaching the peak of the third generation. This time, by consuming Chang Yu's essence blood, they only borrowed a little of the power of a high-level bloodline to successfully transform into second-generation zombies, while the remaining energy was used to enhance their foundation. In addition, with the addition of a large amount of ordinary blood essence beads, although Chang Yu's strength is weaker than Zhang Chen's, his blood essence is even more effective in enhancing the 4 women, including Kang Jingyu. The 4 women, including Aoitsuki, quickly completed their advancement. The moment they succeeded, they lost control slightly, their zombie instincts briefly taking over. However, with Chang Yu guarding them, he quickly suppressed them and then made them swallow a large number of essence blood beads, eventually bringing them back to their senses. The 4 women, now fully conscious, looked at Chang Yu apologetically. Jing Xiang stepped forward and said, "We're sorry, boss. We couldn't control ourselves just now." Chang Yu smiled, "It's all right, feel your strength. See how you've changed." The 4 women nodded, calmed their minds, and began to sense the changes within themselves. A moment later, Shizuka suddenly opened her eyes in surprise and cheered as she hugged Chang Yu. "Boss, my superpower has finally awakened." Upon hearing this, Chang Yu was also pleasantly surprised. Among the 4 women, Ling Shi had awakened ice-type abilities from the very beginning, which was why Chang Yu had put her in charge of all the livestock farming under her command. Mengling awakened her dream abilities, similar to those of Domoto Shizuka later on. She can control others in their dreams, and also control others' dreams, making it a very powerful ability. Ao Yu awakened a speed-type ability, which is considered a common ability of Zhang Chen's lineage. Only Shizuka's special ability remained unawakened, which made the elegant and noble Shizuka quite depressed for a period of time. Now that she has been promoted to the second generation, her abilities have finally awakened, so it's no wonder she's so excited, even disregarding her own dignity. Chang Yu was also happy for Jing Xiang, and asked with a smile, "That's wonderful. What special ability did you awaken?" The other 3 women, having sensed the changes in themselves, looked at Shizuka with some curiosity. Shizuka had always acted like the eldest sister, taking care of them. Her special ability had remained unawakened for a long time, which worried the other women. Now that it had finally awakened, they were all very curious about what powerful ability Shizuka would develop. After all, ordinary members of the Zhongchen Corps clan might awaken superpowers by the 4th generation with blue eyes, and by the 3rd generation, most of them would have superpowers. However, Shizuka only awakened her abilities in the 2nd generation, so her special ability must be quite powerful. Shizuka smiled mysteriously, then focused her attention. Suddenly, a huge iron discus flew in from the basement. Chang Yu asked in surprise, "Is it telekinesis?" Shizuka nodded slightly, and the other 3 girls immediately cheered for her. Telekinesis is not as weak as the power used for resurrection. Telekinesis itself is an extremely powerful ability. It's very similar to telekinesis in some novels. Just by looking at the speed at which Shizuka manipulated the discus, you can tell that the power this ability can unleash varies depending on the person wielding it. Now, in Shizuka's hands, perhaps the true power of Hernan can be unleashed, reaching a level similar to that of a sword immortal in a novel. After the 4 women completed their promotions, everyone gathered in the living room, where Chang Yu began to plan the next steps. Mengling, Lingzi, have you found out where the Ma family's headquarters are? The exact location is still unclear, but it should be near Mount Tai. Our men went there with Ma Dingdang before, but they couldn't get close to avoid being discovered. However, we have opened several shops at the foot of Mount Tai, and they have seen Madana and Ma Dingdang come and go several times, Mengling replied as she stepped forward. Chang Yu tapped his fingers on the table. His next plan was to seize Ma Dana's body. According to the Huxia people's idea of returning to their roots, Ma Dana should eventually return to the Ma family's ancestral home. At the same time, the ancestral home of the Ma family should also be the final resting place for generations of Ma family descendants. Going there to explore might yield some discoveries. Although there must be various arrangements within the Ma family's ancestral land, given their strength, they should be unable to do anything to me now that I've become a ruthless idiot. Having made up his mind, Chang Yu looked at the four women. Things here are basically settled. Our focus will now shift back to Daxia. I will personally go to the Ma family ancestral lands. From now on, you will each perform your duties, and also assign me some manpower in Rikano and Elf Town. Normally, they don't need to do anything special, they can just quietly gather information. In crucial moments, I hope they can play a role. Yes, it's four, the four women answered in unison. Medical institutions and animal husbandry should continue to expand, while increasing investment in research institutes. If they can research something that can help zombies improve, I wouldn't mind promoting a few more second-generation members. It's four, the four women replied again. If he Yingkaio can create something as overpowered as Blood Angel all by himself, there's no reason why I, with so many researchers and ample research samples, shouldn't be able to create anything, Cheng Yu thought to himself. After arranging things, Cheng Yu once again enjoyed a period of luxurious life with warm and beautiful women in his arms. Then everyone dispersed, and Cheng Yu went alone to Daxia, arriving at Mount Tai. As Cheng Yu stood atop Jade Emperor Peak and looked around, he happened to see a woman carrying a sword walking through the mountains and forests. Upon closer inspection, the woman's appearance bore an 80% resemblance to Ma Xiaoling in the drama, and was consistent with the image of Ma Dana collected by Mengling and the others. If you do the math, Madonna was about 18 or 19 years old in 1938, so she'd be getting old by now. However, judging from her appearance, she looks like a woman in her 30s. Coupled with the cold and aloof temperament she has honed through her journey of slaying demons and monsters, she has a unique charm. Cheng Yu couldn't reconcile with the obese character in the TV series who seemed to float on clouds all the time. Perhaps Cheng Yu's gaze was too obvious, for Madana, who was traversing through the mountains and forests, suddenly stopped and began to look around. Cheng Yu smiled and looked away. It was a pity that although Madana had cultivated magic, she was ultimately just a mortal. Through the thick fog, how could she possibly discover Cheng Yu's presence? After searching for a while without success, Madana could only shake her head and continue forward with a hint of vigilance. Although Cheng Yu no longer looked at Ma Dana, her senses kept an eye on Ma Dana's direction. If Ma Dana was returning to the Ma family's residence, it would save her the trouble of searching for her. Madana wandered through the mountains and forests for a long time, changing her position several times. Clearly, the earlier observation had made Madana wary. Finally, as darkness fell completely, Madana finally felt relieved and stopped wandering around, heading straight in one direction. Cheng Yu chuckled inwardly, little brat, he still hasn't shaken off me. Sensing the way Madana followed, they soon arrived at a place shrouded in mist. Upon reaching this place, Madana seemed to breathe a slight sigh of relief. She unleashed a dazzling array of hand seals, and then the mist slowly dispersed, revealing a passageway through which Madana stepped. Cheng Yu wanted to continue sensing the situation, but the fog outside seemed to have the effect of obscuring perception. Once perception entered the fog, it was like being blind. Cheng Yu smiled wryly, and could only withdraw his senses, sit cross-legged atop the Jade Emperor Peak, and wait for Madana to set out again. Even though he might come up empty-handed, he still planned to thoroughly investigate the Ma family's residence after Madana left. To prevent themselves from becoming corpses after death or being exploited by other practitioners, those who cultivate Taoism generally choose cremation to end their lives. Relics like these are the products of cremation for cultivators, but in Taoism they are generally called golden pills or sacred pills or something similar. Perhaps this trip won't yield the power of the Ma family bloodline, but wouldn't it be a pleasant surprise to accidentally find some golden cores or divine dragon essence? After all, the Ma family has worshipped the dragon for generations, so it's hard to guarantee that they haven't kept some materials from the dragon. Cheng Yu waited at Jade Emperor Peak for more than half a month before Ma Dana reappeared. I recalled Madonna's slightly pale face and somewhat weak breathing when she came earlier. Cheng Yu also understood to some extent. It was highly likely that Ma Dana had tracked down Zhang Chen again, and then was injured by Zhang Chen, which was why she returned to her ancestral home to heal. After all, in the first battle of the stalemate, Madana died from her injuries sustained in multiple encounters with Zhang Chen. Judging from Madonna's rosy complexion and steady breathing, her injuries have clearly healed considerably. Judging from this, there are indeed some good things in the Ma family's ancestral land, but they probably aren't anything special, otherwise it wouldn't have taken more than half a month to cure Madana. After Ma Dana left, Cheng Yu did not make any rash moves until a day later, when his subordinates brought news that Ma Dana had already left Mount Tai. Cheng Yu then revealed himself and arrived at the location of the mist. It's not that Cheng Yu is afraid of Ma Dana, with his current red-eyed strength, Ma Dana is definitely no match for him. However, the Ma family has always been pawns of fate, and Ma Dana is the current Ma family's celestial master. It's hard to say that fate won't have some plans for her. Chang Yu wants to play it safe and develop properly for a while longer, and doesn't want to attract the wrath of fate so early, so she is inevitably being a bit cautious in her actions. Looking at the mist before him and recalling Madana's previous actions, it was clear that this mist was not naturally formed, but rather composed of some kind of formation. After becoming a zombie, Chang Yu gained the ability to remember everything he saw. He had already memorized the hand gestures that Madana had used earlier. However, he did not intend to enter the mist using Madana's method. After all, the Ma family's cultivation was unique, and the same hand gestures could not necessarily produce the same power. If I were to use the hand seals but fail to open the portal, and instead arouse Madana's suspicion, that would be disastrous. Right now, he just wants to quietly seize opportunities, and keep them from being known by others if possible. Even without using hand seals, Chang Yu has his own methods to enter the mist without triggering any reaction from the formation. With a thought, Chang Yu unfurled a pair of burning wings and then rapidly mobilized the power of his bloodline. He unleashed the sliver of space-time power he had just comprehended, and suddenly fanned it towards the mist in front of him. The ability was activated, and the flowing mist instantly froze in place. Even the surrounding dust and fallen leaves were frozen in the air. Chang Yu smiled slightly, folded his wings, and with a flash, passed through the mist and entered the interior of the Ma family's ancestral land. After passing through the mist, Chang Yu raised his left hand and snapped his fingers. His superpower was deactivated, the fallen leaves continued to dance towards the ground, and the mist resumed its flow, as if nothing had happened. Chang Yu smiled with satisfaction, and then began to examine the place he believed to be the ancestral home of the Ma family. 3 sides of the place are against the mountain wall, while the remaining side and the top are shrouded in thick fog, making it impossible for outsiders to see the scenery inside. This space wasn't very large, less than a kilometer in diameter, and Chang Yu could almost take in the entire scene at a glance. In the distance, several caves could be seen carved into the mountainside. The entrances to the caves were enclosed by wooden fences, and outside the caves, on one side, was a small medicinal herb garden. On the other side were mounds of earth, much like the graves in the countryside. Chang Yu guessed that those might be the burial grounds of the female Taoist masters of the Ma family throughout the ages. The Ma family is a very peculiar family, chosen by fate, starting from the generation of Ma Linger in the Qin dynasty. The family's magical arts are passed down only to daughters, and only one pair of twins, a boy and a girl, are born in each generation. The boy is responsible for carrying on the family line, while the girl inherits the Ma family's unique magical arts. Because of the special bloodline of the Ma family, almost every generation of Ma family descendants eventually becomes a female Taoist master. The Ma family lineage reached its 41st generation with Ma Xiaoling, and Ma Dana's generation should be the 39th generation. However, after carefully counting the graves, Chang Yu found that there were only about 30. This indicates that this place is only the burial site of the female Taoist masters of the Ma family throughout history. As for the male members of the Ma family, they should have been buried in other places. Thinking of Ma Xiaohu and Ma Xiaoling's mother, Tang Jinbao, she was tainted with the Ma family bloodline simply because she gave birth to the 2 siblings. After being bitten by the King of Men, Chang Yu went into a state of madness. He felt he should change his approach. If this trip yielded no results, perhaps he could try to find the burial place of the male members of the Ma family. They don't practice magic, so surely they wouldn't choose cremation after death, as that goes against the beliefs of ancient Huxia people. Yuling himself out of his thoughts, Chang Yu strode forward, intending to first investigate what secrets these caves held. As Chang Yu approached the caves, he noticed that there were inscriptions carved above them. The handwriting is ancient and not the common script of the time. Fortunately, Chang Yu has not only been collecting corpses and refining blood over the years, but has also studied a lot of traditional culture. He could barely recognize these characters. They were from a very ancient era, similar to the small seal script of the Qin dynasty, but with some Taoist characteristics. It was probably left by Ma Linger's generation. There aren't many caves, only 4 or 5. Among them, the Scripture Pavilion and Ancestral Hall are the ones that Chang Yu is most interested in. However, Chang Yu was not in a hurry to investigate these 2 places. The good stuff should be saved for later. They first stepped into a cave depicting a cultivation room. The cave was empty except for a few futons placed inside, and there were traces of magical strikes on the mountainside. Shaking his head, Chang Yu walked out and continued exploring other caves. He entered a cave that appeared to be a living area, complete with bedding and utensils, but after searching it, he still found nothing. However, the next cave piqued Chang Yu's interest. The 2 characters above the cave entrance resembled a treasure vault, and Chang Yu also sensed traces of magic. With a slight smile, Chang Yu froze time and space once more, and swiftly entered the cave. Upon entering, Chang Yu saw a storage shelf. There weren't many items on the shelf, only 4 or 5, including a 7-star sword, a robe, and a bell. Despite the rich spiritual energy emanating from it, Chang Yu had no interest in these things that were clearly used by Taoists. Instead, it was a jade bottle and a sandalwood box nearby that caught Chang Yu's attention. Chang Yu stepped forward, picked up the jade bottle and examined it closely. He saw that the jade bottle was finely carved with many patterns on it. Chang Yu carefully recalled some Taoist scriptures he had previously obtained and felt that these patterns should possess the ability to seal spirits and preserve items. Furthermore, there was a talisman affixed to the mouth of the jade bottle, clearly intended to protect and seal the contents inside. This immediately piqued Chang Yu's interest. He used time stop again, then removed the talisman and stopper from the bottle's mouth and peered into the jade bottle. Inside the jade bottle was a drop of golden liquid, within which a dragon-shaped figure could be vaguely seen. Due to the frozen space-time, this dragon-shaped figure looked somewhat strange. Chang Yu looked surprised, and a guess began to rise in his mind. Could this be the essence blood of the divine dragon of the Ma family? However, whether it is true or not still needs to be verified. Chang Yu casually took out a jade bottle, and a wisp of samadhi true fire was emitted, wrapping around the drop of essence blood. He pulled it from its original jade bottle into his own, then quickly restored the original jade bottle to its original state. As he said before, what Chang Yu needed most right now was to lie low and avoid being discovered. Chang Yu used the samadhi true fire not to refine the essence blood immediately, but to use his control over the samadhi true fire to seal the aura of this drop of what appeared to be divine dragon essence blood. After all, if the Ma family had sealed it away so solemnly, who knew what kind of turmoil it would cause after leaving the jade bottle? Chang Yu couldn't help but take it seriously. While the time stop was still in effect, Chang Yu quickly opened the sandalwood box and found a scale about the size of a palm leaf fan, resembling a fish scale, inside. The fact that the blood essence appeared before the scales made Chang Yu even more certain that the blood essence was indeed the blood essence of a divine dragon, and that the scale was a divine dragon scale. Following the same method, Chang Yu wrapped the dragon scales with samadhi true fire, and then restored the sandalwood box to its original state, thus releasing the ability to imprison time and space. After his powers were deactivated, Chang Yu couldn't help but gasp for breath. He quickly poured some essence blood crystals into his mouth and it took him a while to recover. He had only recently mastered this ability. With his current strength, he could use it briefly, but continuous use caused him significant energy depletion, requiring him to replenish his energy. It seems there's still a big gap between me and Zhang Chen, Chang Yu thought to himself. In the TV series, Zhang Chen used this ability with such ease and nonchalance. When it was his turn to use it, it had the drawback of excessive energy consumption. Although TV dramas shouldn't be taken too seriously, Chang Yu felt like he had traveled through time. The world we are in now is very likely a parallel world that evolved from the game My Own Swordsman. If that's the case, then it does have some reference value. He silently reflected to himself that his path to improvement was still long and arduous. He secretly cheered himself up, thinking that it didn't matter if he couldn't beat Zhang Chen for the time being. After all, Zhang Chen had lived for thousands of years. He had only been in this world for a few years and was still a novice who had just come into contact with extraordinary powers, based on his current rate of development. It wouldn't be difficult for me to compete with Zhang Chen in the future, and it's even possible for me to surpass him. Pulling himself out of his thoughts, Chang Yu began to examine the object in his hand that resembled dragon scales. It is golden in color, as if it were cast from gold, with intricate patterns on its surface that are faintly visible on the scales. Overall, it looks like a small shield. Chang Yu reached out and tapped the scales, and surprisingly, he could hear a metallic clang. He couldn't help but exclaim inwardly, "What a treasure." Chang Yu looked at the scales with admiration, then suddenly remembered that he didn't seem to have any artifacts to store dragon scales. After a moment's thought, Chang Yu walked out of the cave and came to an open area outside. Then, the power of his samadhi true fire surged and he began to burn the dragon scales. At first, the dragon scales did not move at all under Chang Yu's samadhi true fire. Instead, the golden color on their surface became even more vibrant due to the burning flames, just like real gold. However, after Chang Yu persisted and mobilized his own energy and spirit to enhance the power of the samadhi true fire, the dragon scale finally began to soften slowly. Chang Yu smiled slightly and continued to intensify the fire. Time passed little by little, and in the blink of an eye, 3 sunrises and sunsets had occurred. With Chang Yu replenishing it from time to time with his essence blood crystals, the dragon scale was finally refined into a golden liquid, within which a dragon shadow seemed to wander and a dragon's roar could be heard. Looking at the golden liquid floating in the samadhi true fire, Chang Yu was once again in a dilemma. How should he use it now that it had melted? Should he just put it away in the jade bottle? Suddenly, Chang Yu remembered the principle of his own samadhi true fire refining essence and blood. It was simply burning the essence, energy, and spirit of living beings to condense essence and blood. If this scale truly fell from the dragon's body, it should be considered part of the dragon's physical form, corresponding to the essence within the dragon's spirit and vital energy. In that case, could it also be absorbed by oneself and transformed into an opportunity to improve one's strength? Without hesitation, Chang Yu used the samadhi true fire as a knife to carefully cut a small piece from the golden liquid. He then quickly inhaled the liquid into his stomach. As soon as the liquid entered his stomach, Chang Yu's expression changed. This liquid contained the power of supreme holiness and yang energy. The moment it entered Chang Yu's body, it violently clashed with Chang Yu's own extremely yin and evil zombie bloodline. The turbulent bloodline power within Chang Yu's body began to run rampant. This golden liquid seemed to be extremely aggressive, rampaging through Chang Yu's body. However, because the amount of golden liquid was too small, it was quickly swallowed up by the extremely yin and evil energy in Chang Yu's body, and the golden liquid disappeared. Chang Yu discovered that his bloodline power seemed to have become slightly purer, though it was very insignificant. However, Chang Yu, who possessed the power of samadhi true fire and had a thorough understanding of himself, noticed this slight change. Could it be that tempering one's bloodline with relative power can make it purer? Thinking of all this, Chang Yu's gaze towards the golden liquid suddenly became fiery. After a short while, Chang Yu calmed down and used the power of samadhi true fire to stretch the golden liquid into the shape of a dagger, and then slowly began to withdraw his samadhi true fire. Once the samadhi true fire was completely withdrawn, the object that resembled a dragon scale had transformed into a golden dagger, which Chang Yu grasped in his hand. Regardless of whether his previous guess was correct, this place was not the best place to absorb it, so Chang Yu decided to put it away for the time being and find a secluded place to absorb it later. Moreover, he didn't only have a dragon scale in his possession. In the small jade bottle close to his body, there was also a drop of something that resembled the essence of a divine dragon, the effects of which would likely be even better than the dragon scale. At least as a zombie, he still prefers blood. With that in mind, Chang Yu couldn't wait to check out the other caves. He wanted to seize the opportunities within the Ma family's ancestral land as soon as possible, and then return to cultivate in seclusion. Chang Yu had a premonition that his gains this time would likely cause his bloodline to undergo another transformation. After casually playing with the golden dagger for a while, Chang Yu stepped into the cave next to it, which was marked as the Sutra Repository. Upon entering the cave, Chang Yu saw rows of neatly arranged stone tablets. In addition, deep inside the cave, there were several rows of bookshelves with many books on them. Upon seeing these, Chang Yu's initially excited heart gradually calmed down. After regaining her composure, Chang Yu began to examine the stone tablets. Each stone tablet was engraved with many ancient characters. Chang Yu examined them one by one. The characters on these stone tablets were not limited to the same era. They varied from small seal script to traditional characters. Fortunately, Chang Yu had read many ancient books and was able to identify all the characters. After examining all the characters on the stone tablets, Chang Yu already knew the origin of these stone tablets. They were the legacy left by generations of Ma family descendants, containing their research and improvement of Ma family magic techniques. Chang Yu tried it, but perhaps because of the different power contained within his body, despite following the same steps, he still couldn't achieve the effect described on the stone tablet. Shaking his head, Chang Yu stopped thinking about it and walked to the bookshelf. He began to browse through the books on the shelf, and after looking through them once, Chang Yu discovered that much of the content in these books overlapped with that on the stone tablet, suggesting that they were copied by descendants of the Ma family. However, some of the different books brought Chang Yu even more benefits. At the same time, Chang Yu also learned a secret that confirmed a rumor circulating among the people. According to the Ma family records, before the Ming dynasty, the world was full of spiritual energy, which not only gave birth to all kinds of spirits and monsters, but also made various magical arts extremely powerful. At that time, the major Daoist sects were all very powerful, and their influence was no less than that of secular dynasties. The dragon of the Ma family is a divine beast that Ma Ling subdued during the Qin dynasty, and it has protected the Ma family ever since. However, at the founding of the Ming dynasty, Emperor Zhu Yuanzhang, in order to consolidate power, ordered Liu Bowen to sever the dragon veins of the 9 provinces, thus destroying the foundation of sorcerers. From then on, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth declined rapidly. As time went on, the spiritual energy between heaven and earth became increasingly thin, gradually leading to the end of the Dharma era. Due to the lack of spiritual energy, the major sects gradually declined. Even the long-established southern Mao and northern Ma sects were much weaker than before the Ming dynasty. Of course, due to the scarcity of spiritual energy, various spirits and monsters gradually degenerated into ordinary wild beasts. Therefore, after the decline of Taoism, there were no instances of demonic beasts harming people in the secular world. The women of the Ma family suffer the most in this situation. They are bound by the curse of their ancestor, Ma Ling, and cannot shed a single tear for a man until Zhang Chen is eliminated. However, the world underwent a great change, and spiritual energy became scarce. Although the Ma family had the divine dragon to rely on, the strength of each generation of successors was constantly declining. In contrast, zombies do not feed on spiritual energy. Although the environment has an impact on them, this impact does not affect Zhang Chen, who is the progenitor of zombies. The Ma family's descendants are getting weaker and weaker, while Zhang Chen's strength has not only not weakened, but may even have increased. When will the Ma family be able to break the curse? Some members of the Ma family became disheartened and resigned themselves to their fate, while others began to research various methods to break the curse. Among them, the dragon armor and the initiation technique were researched and developed by these women of the Ma family. The dragon armor can amplify the strength of the Ma family's magic and at the same time enhance the host's defense. The method of empowerment allows women of the Ma family to transfer all their power to the next generation of the Ma family when they are on the verge of death. Although the descendants of the Ma family could not fully absorb the power of the previous generation, their strength increased greatly as a result, giving them hope of defeating Zhang Chen. After learning all this, Chang Yu couldn't help but sigh. Fate was truly cruel, not only scheming to make the perfect couple, Ma Ling and Kuang Zhongtang, kill each other. He even guided Ma Ling to set up such a cruel and inhumane curse, harming his own descendants. I ask you, what normal ancestor would place such a curse on his own descendants? Women are inherently very emotional, it's common for them to cry or laugh. But the women of the Ma family are so tragic. From birth, they are restrained from shedding a single tear. When I was little, it was okay. I didn't cultivate, so crying was fine. But after I started cultivating, it became terrible. My magic power would disappear if I cried, and all my previous efforts would be in vain. It can only be said that these descendants of the Ma family did not harbor resentment or cause harm to the world, which shows that these women of the Ma family were inherently kind. If anyone else had an ancestor like that, they'd probably tear up the grave and stage a huge scene of mourning. After silently mourning for the women of the Ma family for a few minutes, Chang Yu put all the books back in their original places and carefully left the library. In fact, the library also contains various formations, and even the books themselves are covered with various restrictions. However, those formations and restrictions automatically released their limitations upon contact with the golden dagger formed from dragon scales, allowing Chang Yu to do as he pleased. Chang Yu speculated that this might be because the women of the Ma family had long been accompanied by the divine dragon, and all their magical arts were based on the creation of the divine dragon. That's why all the restrictions they set up were ineffective against the golden dagger formed from dragon scales. Next, there was only one cave left, which was also the cave Chang Yu was most looking forward to, as it was where the Ma family's ancestral hall was located. As cultivators, if a golden core were truly born after their death, it would surely be enshrined in the ancestral hall, rather than buried underground to decay. Chang Yu believed that even if the remaining golden core relics after the Ma family women were burned contained little Ma family bloodline, if there were enough of them, they might still be able to grant them the bloodline of destiny and allow them to advance to the purple-eyed zombie level. If he could really do that, he wouldn't need to try to steal Madonna's body anymore. After all, Madonna's soul hadn't reincarnated, and disturbing her body would easily be discovered. Chang Yu still harbored considerable feelings for that valiant female exorcist warrior with legs longer than her lifespan. If you offend them beforehand, the subsequent strategy will be much more difficult. Which of the predecessors who transmigrated into My Date with a Vampire didn't fantasize about having Zhenzhen on their left and Xiaoling on their right? Chang Yu was not a celibate person. If he could, he would of course choose to have both. If he could only choose one, he would definitely choose Ma Xiaoling without hesitation. Although she has a bad temper, her figure is so amazing that no one cares about her personality. Humans are visual creatures, and most people's values follow their physical appearance. Although Chang Yu is a zombie, he has been human for so long that he naturally retains this fine human tradition. Gathering his thoughts, Chang Yu gripped the golden dagger and stepped into the Ma family ancestral hall. As before, the Ma family ancestral hall was also protected by an array. However, with the golden dagger in front of him, the array cracked open, allowing Chang Yu to enter. Chang Yu chuckled softly, reiterating his acceptance that he hadn't directly absorbed the dragon scale energy. After entering the cave, Chang Yu began to look around. This cave was different from the others. The interior was completely empty, except for a stepped stone platform in the center, upon which were arranged a series of memorial tablets. Behind each memorial tablet was a small box, placed close to the tablet. If Chang Yu hadn't been so observant, he would have almost missed it. Looking at the unique memorial tablet of Ma Linger at the very top of the group of memorial tablets, Chang Yu's lips twitched. The women of the Ma family were indeed filial. Even though Ma Linger has wronged them like this, they still worship her in such a high position. As his gaze swept over the memorial tablets, Chang Yu could only silently apologize in his heart, choosing not to step forward and pay his respects despite his impending actions. Zombies are born from the most yin, evil, resentful, and malevolent energies of heaven and earth. They are beings that cannot even be lit with incense, so they should not approach these memorial tablets. Not only will it not bring them any benefit, but it may even shorten their lifespan in the afterlife. Since I'm already going to take away their last remnants in the mortal realm in order to become stronger, it's best not to harm their spirits any further. After silently apologizing, Chang Yu stepped forward and used his golden dagger to open the small boxes behind each of the memorial tablets. Sure enough, in each box, they found a golden crystal of varying sizes, whose aura was somewhat similar to the golden dagger in Chang Yu's hand. Chang Yu used his golden dagger to pick out the crystals one by one and put them into a jade bottle. Then he restored the boxes one by one to ensure that the Ma family descendants would not discover the anomaly here in a short time. Then Chang Yu walked out of the cave, looked at the graves, and ultimately his moral principles prevailed over his curiosity, so he decided not to disturb the rest of these poor women. Having already taken so much from the Ma family, and perhaps even becoming their son-in-law in the future, it would be really going too far to disturb their graves. However, Chang Yu did not regret taking so much from the Ma family. At most, she felt somewhat sorry for them. At most, once I become strong enough, I can help them eliminate Zhang Chen and lift their curse as a form of repayment. I believe these women of the Ma family will gladly accept that. After all, their goals were the same, to eliminate the threat of fate, remove Zhang Chen's restrictions, change the crisis of world destruction, and allow themselves to live freely in this world. As they left, the golden dagger emitted a soft glow, directly dispelling a patch of mist and leading Chang Yu out of the array's range, saving him the trouble of using his ability to freeze time and space again. After emerging from the fog, Chang Yu looked back at the ancestral land of the Ma family, which was shrouded in mist. He had amassed quite a few valuable items on this trip, but he wondered when the women of the Ma family would finally be discovered. It's possible they'll never find out. After all, Ma Dana is dying, Ma Dingdang is about to betray the Ma family, and Ma Xiaoling will be sent to Hong Kong Island and entrusted to He Yingkaiyu. The Ma family's ancestral home will most likely be temporarily sealed off. Shaking his head, Chang Yu stopped thinking about it and sped off in a random direction. After leaving the area around Mount Tai, he found a cave in a remote mountain forest. The original owner of the cave, a large black bear, was refined into its essence blood. Then, the cave was burned with samadhi true fire, and the debris inside was removed. Chang Yu then smashed a huge boulder to block the cave entrance and began to seclude himself to take stock of his gains. First, he took out a small jade bottle containing what appeared to be the essence of a divine dragon and a golden dagger. After thinking for a moment, Chang Yu put them aside. If we're going to rely on my guess, then these two items are far too rare. Of course, we should save them for last. Then Chang Yu took out those things that looked like golden elixir relics that he had brought out from the Ma family ancestral hall. Although they varied in shape and size, the number was exactly the same, a total of 38. The women of the Ma family are favored by fate, and each of them is a powerful female Taoist master in the modern era, so it is natural that they would not be found dead in the wilderness. He casually picked up a relatively small golden crystal, placed it in his palm, and carefully sensed it. The aura within it had many similarities to the golden dagger beside him. However, there seemed to be a faint purple thread moving within it, which Chang Yu guessed was probably the so-called bloodline of destiny. It was only because the original owner of this bloodline had perished that only a trace remained, which was then incorporated into the golden core. Next, Chang Yu checked his inventory of ordinary blood essence crystals, as he had previously scoured various industries before setting off. Although most of them were kept by his subordinates as a precaution, the remaining amount was still considerable. He calmed his mind, and samadhi true fire instantly surged from his palm, enveloping the golden crystal. Although these might be crystals that have already been refined, Chang Yu still habitually burns them again with his samadhi true fire. On the one hand, it's for safety, on the other hand, no ordinary fire can compare to the power of their own samadhi true fire. Things refined by samadhi true fire will have far fewer impurities. Although my love from the dead isn't a cultivation world, Chang Yu, who has read countless novels, still decided to make the energy he absorbed as pure as possible, not knowing what impact it might have on the future. Under the scorching heat of the samadhi fire, wisps of barely perceptible black smoke indeed seeped out from within the golden crystal. Chang Yu remained unmoved, maintaining the current intensity of the samadhi true fire to continue refining until no more black smoke appeared. He slowly withdrew the samadhi true fire from his palm. At this moment, the golden crystal had turned into a small ball of flowing liquid, with a shimmering purple light flowing within it, making it look quite beautiful. Chang Yu smiled slightly, opened his mouth, and sucked the golden liquid into his mouth. Chang Yu then focused his mind inward, and saw that the moment the golden liquid entered his stomach, it clashed violently with the grey-black yin energy within him. The two clashed continuously within Chang Yu's body. However, compared to the immense yin energy within Chang Yu's body, this golden liquid, which was like a rootless duckweed, appeared so weak and vulnerable. Under the strangulation of the immense yin energy, it could only drift along with the raging tide of yin energy, and its golden light grew dimmer and dimmer. At the same time, Chang Yu's own zombie bloodline was also triggered by this golden liquid, joining the surge of yin energy and attempting to devour it directly. Chang Yu dared not delay and quickly took out all the remaining golden crystals, then immediately activated the samadhi true fire to begin purification. Once the purification was complete, it was swallowed all at once. The newly absorbed golden liquid immediately merged into one mass, working together with the first mass of golden liquid to resist the invasion of yin energy and zombie bloodline. The two fought fiercely inside his body, causing Chang Yu to feel pain all over his body. The feeling was extremely unbearable, but in order to become stronger, Chang Yu could only silently endure it. Two completely opposite energies were constantly fighting within Chang Yu's body. The golden energy was vast and bright, while the zombie bloodline and zombie yin energy were extremely yin and evil. The two sides used Chang Yu's body as their battlefield, fighting like natural enemies to the death. The struggle between the two sides was so intense that even Chang Yu's powerful zombie body could not withstand it, and he was bleeding everywhere, like a porcelain doll with cracks appearing. Chang Yu could only swallow handfuls of ordinary blood essence crystals, transforming them into healing energy to continuously repair his body. He couldn't help but smile wryly to himself. I was careless, I was far too eager for quick success this time. Just then, as the 38 clusters of golden liquid gathered within Chang Yu's body, the faint purple light contained within them also successfully merged together. The change in quantity seemed to have caused a change in quality as well, the shimmering purple light transforming into a strange wisp of purple energy. It detached itself directly from the golden liquid, ignoring the obstruction of the yin energy, and merged directly into Chang Yu's zombie bloodline. Then, a strange purple light appeared and rushed straight into Chang Yu's mind. Sensing this situation, Chang Yu's expression changed drastically. He then hardened his heart and directly activated the samadhi true fire within his body. However, the purple light was too fast, and before the samadhi true fire could intercept it, it had already successfully entered Chang Yu's sea of consciousness. His mind was shaken, and before he could even withdraw the samadhi true fire, his consciousness was already immersed in his mind. After his consciousness settled in his mind, Chang Yu saw that strange purple light directly merge into his sea of consciousness and soul. At the same time, waves of dizziness rushed into Chang Yu's mind. He felt as if something was trying to alter his consciousness. Chang Yu groaned, then his soul condensed, transforming into a phantom figure. Immediately, a transparent spiritual flame ignited on the figure, beginning to burn away the strange purple light. The Samadhi True Fire was originally a flame generated by the convergence of Chang Yu's own essence, energy, and spirit. Therefore, as Chang Yu's strength increased, his soul also continuously improved. After refining the new consciousness generated by the Ma family's blood essence, Chang Yu found that his mental state was getting better and better. Then one day, Chang Yu discovered that he suddenly had the ability to see inside his own body and even observe his own sea of consciousness. Chang Yu then realized that the reason why her mental state had been improving was because her soul power had been continuously increasing. Thinking that after Nuwa banished her physical body, she could be no different from ordinary people with only her primordial spirit, Chang Yu also began to condense his own primordial spirit. Despite his efforts, Chang Yu could only condense a phantom of his soul in his sea of consciousness and discover his own Samadhi True Fire. When used alone with his soul power, it would become a spiritual fire that burned his soul. It was based on this that Chang Yu became increasingly certain that there was still a huge gap in strength between himself and Zhang Chen. After all, even at her peak, Nuwa's strength was still somewhat inferior to Zhang Chen's, but Nuwa was already able to solidify her primordial spirit into something like an ordinary person. Chang Yu, however, was completely unable to do this, which is why he became increasingly cautious in his actions. Getting back to the point, under the burning transparent spiritual flame, a piercing spiritual shriek actually emanated from within that eerie purple light. At the same time, a thought entered Chang Yu's soul, I am you, and you are me. As long as we merge, we will become the powerful purple-eyed zombie king. Do you really want to give up the opportunity to increase your strength? Chang Yu sneered, his thoughts materializing into the eerie purple light. By refining you, I can also increase my strength. Since you are also me, why not give up resisting and let me refine you, thus enhancing our strength? As he spoke, Chang Yu's mind stirred, and the fire of his spirit burned even more fiercely, with eerie purple light shrieking continuously. However, under the intense burning of the fire of his spirit, he could only be gradually refined by Chang Yu, integrated into his soul, and transformed into fuel for his strength enhancement. In the final moment before the eerie purple light was completely refined, a voice filled with resentment resounded throughout Chang Yu's entire sea of consciousness. Don't be too smug. I will definitely come back and take your place. Chang Yu sneered, welcome, I quite like this tonic you've given me. Immediately, he activated his spiritual fire to completely refine the strange purple light. After successfully refining the strange purple light, Chang Yu felt his soul power surge, and even his illusory soul image became more solid. But Chang Yu had no time to pay attention to the drastic changes in his soul. He quickly focused his mind on his body and began to observe the changes in his physical form. The situation was too urgent just now, and Chang Yu didn't have time to react before his mind was pulled back to his sea of consciousness, and he hadn't even withdrawn the Samadhi True Fire. However, Chang Yu was not worried that the Samadhi True Fire would harm him, since it was the condensation of his own essence, energy, and spirit, and it would not hurt him under any circumstances. Chang Yu was only worried that the Ma family's golden elixir, which he had painstakingly collected, would be burned away by the Samadhi True Fire, which would be a huge loss. When Chang Yu returned his mind to his body, he discovered that the zombie bloodlines that had been fighting each other, the yin energy and the golden energy, were no longer there. At this moment, under the burning of the Samadhi True Fire, it was slowly merging, and the yin energy had been reintegrated into the zombie's bloodline, continuously eroding the golden energy. However, within the zombie bloodline, a purple energy was causing trouble, greatly hindering the fusion progress of Chang Yu's zombie bloodline and the golden energy. At the same time, even though the golden energy was fused with 38 golden pills, it still could not compare with the quality of the zombie bloodline. A deep intuition told Chang Yu that even if the zombie bloodline successfully absorbed the golden energy, it still wouldn't be able to advance in the current situation. However, this did not stump Chang Yu. He simply took out a jade bottle containing what appeared to be the essence blood of a divine dragon, and used Samadhi True Fire to sweep out the essence blood. After some refining, it was neatly swallowed by Chang Yu. This essence blood entered Chang Yu's body. As if guided by a navigation system, it directly merged with the golden energy. After the two combined, the golden energy once again faintly revealed a purple hue. At the same time, the wisp of purple light that had previously been integrated into the zombie's bloodline and constantly disrupting the fusion of the two actually peeked out directly from within the zombie's bloodline. By inserting the golden energy cluster, it was as if it had built a bridge between the zombie bloodline and the golden energy. The Samadhi True Fire burned fiercely, and with the help of the purple light, the zombie bloodline and golden energy began to connect and rapidly merge. At the same time, a deep feeling of hunger spread throughout Chang Yu's body. Not daring to be careless, Chang Yu directly grabbed handfuls of essence blood beads and swallowed them. During this time, Chang Yu glanced at the golden dagger to the side, hesitated for a moment, and ultimately did not pick it up. The body is now in perfect balance, and Chang Yu feels it's best not to overdo it. With Chang Yu continuously replenishing his energy, the bloodline and golden energy within him finally merged successfully. After the previously distinct forces successfully merged, Chang Yu's constantly damaged body finally recovered completely thanks to his powerful self-healing ability. He could feel his own defenses and regenerative abilities increasing significantly during the process of constant damage and repair. Without scrutinizing the changes in his physical body, Chang Yu focused his mind on the newly formed zombie bloodline within his body. The zombie bloodline, which was originally a dark red, was now tinged with a brilliant gold, with wisps of purple spreading throughout, resembling a tricolor rainbow. The samadhi true fire continued to burn fiercely, and slowly the three-colored bloodline changed again, transforming into a purple-gold bloodline that exuded nobility and majesty. After that, no matter how much the samadhi true fire burned, this purple-gold bloodline remained unchanged. Chang Yu understood that this meant his bloodline power had now reached its current limit. Now it was time to verify what they had gained. With a thought, Chang Yu's condensed bloodline exploded. It transformed into countless tiny purple-gold light spots, merging into various parts of his body. The largest purple-gold light spot directly merged into his heart. His heart began to pound rapidly, and his thirst for energy surged once more. Chang Yu had no choice but to continue swallowing the essence blood beads. With each heartbeat, streams of purplish-gold blood were produced by the heart and flowed directly along his blood vessels to every part of his body. At the same time, his pores opened wide, and the blood that was originally flowing in his body was directly forced out of his body by the newly generated purple-gold blood. With a thought, Chang Yu ignited the samadhi true fire, and the zombie blood that had been forced out of the body was refined into essence blood crystals under the burning of the samadhi true fire. This is the blood of red-eyed zombies, absolutely valuable stuff. If we gave it all to a second-generation zombie, it might even allow them to reach the level of a pseudo-first-generation zombie. We can't waste it. As time went by, Chang Yu's blood was finally completely replaced by the newly generated purple-gold blood. Dramatic changes also began to occur within Chang Yu's body. The originally dark gray yin energy within him, driven by the purple-gold bloodline, was now. It even began to turn a purplish-gold color. Chang Yu could sense that this newborn energy was no longer extremely yin and evil, but instead had a hint of extreme yin turning into yang. Chang Yu had a strange feeling that the power within him might allow him to use the techniques he had learned from the Ma family's library. As the energy within his body transformed, Chang Yu's body also began to change. His muscles became firmer, and his cells continued to divide and become more compact. His samadhi true fire had become even more powerful, and his newly comprehended power of space-time had also been greatly enhanced. Just then, an impulse surged from Chang Yu's danshan, causing him to roar out loud. As the roar subsided, Chang Yu's appearance began to change drastically. His fangs extended, and his wings, which had been burning, were now engulfed in flames that had turned a purplish-gold color. At the same time, his hair grew rapidly, and his flowing long hair shimmered with strands of purple-gold light, just like the color of his pupils at that moment. Chang Yu sensed the change in his appearance and felt a little confused. He knew about red eyes and purple eyes, but what kind of creature did these purple-gold eyes belong to? Although it doesn't know what type of zombie it is, the powerful force flowing within its body is undeniable. He felt he could easily defeat his former self, and only when he reached this point did Chang Yu's transformation finally end. Having become a new species of purple gold-eyed zombie, Chang Yu instantly reverted to his zombie form with a thought. At the same time, samadhi true fire flew out, burning everything inside the cave. He smashed through the barrier at the cave entrance, sensed his location, and then flew away. Just like his last advancement, this time it caused quite a stir. He hasn't yet become familiar with his own strength, so it's not advisable for him to get into conflicts with others for the time being. Let's find a place to properly assess our capabilities before making any other plans. Feeling his speed increase significantly again, Chang Yu smiled with satisfaction, playing with the essence crystal formed from the blood he had condensed during his red-eyed moments. He began to think about how to use this crystal. As expected, the place he left once again attracted attention. However, Chang Yu escaped quickly, and with everything destroyed in the fire, they could only leave disappointed. After speeding along, Chang Yu soon arrived at a large compound. Over the years, with the accumulation of wealth, Chang Yu's subordinates had acquired many properties in various places for him to stay whenever he wanted. The courtyard was empty, with no one around. After all, zombies are different from normal humans, and some secrets should not be known to outsiders. Therefore, apart from regular cleaning, these properties are rarely occupied on a daily basis. Chang Yu passed directly through the multiple doors and entered the basement, which was made of special materials and was extremely stable and private. Chang Yu sat cross-legged in the empty basement, his mind beginning to sense the changes within himself. As Chang Yu focused his mind on his body, he clearly felt every inch of his flesh, bones, and even cells radiating unprecedented vitality under the nourishment of the purple gold bloodline. The originally cold and gloomy zombie body now faintly exudes a warm and jade-like aura, as if yin and yang have merged and reached a delicate balance. Under the influence of his mind, his own originally dark gray yin energy underwent a tremendous change, resembling a colorful ribbon. Chang Yu's mind followed the flow of yin energy, and suddenly it seemed as if his mind entered a vast space. At the center of the space was a round, tri-colored bead, which was spinning rapidly. The yin energy that Chang Yu had just followed directly entered the round bead, and then another surge of energy was flung out by the bead and flowed into Chang Yu's body. Chang Yu noticed that faint streams of three-colored energy were converging on the bead from various parts of this space. Then, streams of three-colored energy flowed out from inside the bead and returned along the same path. A sudden realization dawned on Chang Yu. Could this space be the Danshan space that cultivators spoke of? Could this bead be my golden core, or perhaps it would be more appropriate to call it a corpse core? The possibility of the corpse pill immediately piqued Chang Yu's interest. To be honest, the power system in my own zombie is quite strange. It's always about destroying the world, which seems pretty awesome. However, upon closer examination, it was discovered that the power of the world of my date with a zombie was not as exaggerated as it seemed. Nuwa even needed to rely on a meteorite from outer space to destroy the world. After being pulled by the Earth's magnetic field, she herself was unable to withdraw. Chang Yu believes that the reason why such an outrageous power system appears in My Date with a Zombie is most likely because the world level of My Date with a Zombie is not high. The relatively weak spacetime and the imperfect laws that constrain living beings have led to this absurd situation. In comparison, the world of mystery of the vampire is like someone else's playground or experimental base, where anyone can mold and manipulate it at will. If what I possess truly is a Danshan and a corpse core, then perhaps I can find another path to advancement, a way to transcend this world. Concentrate your mind and look at the constantly rotating bead in the center. You will see that the surface of the bead is black, purple and gold. The gold and black colors, like the yin and yang fish, are separated by a purple force at the center, appearing round and natural, as if containing profound truths. Chang Yu suddenly realized that the black color was probably the corpse energy and yin energy he originally possessed as a zombie, while the gold color should be the energy originating from the Ma family's golden elixir and the essence of the divine dragon. And that purple energy, if I'm not mistaken, should be the unique power of destiny belonging to the Ma family bloodline. Originally, it should have been a ticking time bomb, but unexpectedly, after I refined that newly formed consciousness, it became a bridge to stabilize my own power. Chang Yu continued to examine it, but the moment his mind touched the bead, before he could even react, he was directly sucked in. When Chang Yu regained his senses, he discovered that his previously illusory mental consciousness had actually materialized, and he curiously patted himself all over. Not feeling any sense of power, he couldn't help but purse his lips. Clearly, it was just an empty shell. Chang Yu stopped focusing on herself and began to check her location, only to find that she had entered a new space. One side of the space was pitch black, filled with the most yin and evil power, while the other side was pure golden, exuding supreme and holy majesty. Chang Yu himself stood at the intersection of these two, enveloped by a purple energy that encompassed everything and seemed to control everything. Chang Yu raised an eyebrow. Was this the inside of his corpse core? And these different colored energies must be the manifestation of his power? Looking at the energies of gold and black, it's clear they are incompatible, held together only by the purple energy in the center, which is currently maintaining a balance. But if one day the balance is accidentally lost, who knows what the consequences will be? It seems that the next step I need to do is find a way to completely integrate these three energies so that my own power will be free of any hidden dangers. However, there's no need to worry about that right now. Judging from the current situation, my strength is quite stable, so there's not much to be concerned about. Let's find a way out first. Chang Yu wasn't worried that his mind would be controlled here. It was his own power, so how could it control him? Sure enough, as soon as Chang Yu had a thought, his mind immediately left this space and appeared in his Danshan. It seems that because of the previous mental entry, a spiritual imprint was left behind, so even though the mind was no longer inside the corpse core, it could still sense the situation inside the corpse core. Chang Yu had already accepted that the constantly spinning tricolored bead was his corpse core, and his next focus of cultivation would be on this corpse core. Having experienced entering the corpse pill, Chang Yu gained a deeper understanding of it. This is another core of power besides the bloodline. Each rotation of this core drives a cycle of energy within the body. This allows one's strength to gradually increase even without cultivation, although it is slower than actively seeking opportunities. In the original story, Bai Sahan, as an ancient demon goddess, also possessed a demon core and the golden core Dao advocated by the Taoist sect. Perhaps only by condensing a golden core, a demon core, or a corpse core can one be considered on the orthodox path of cultivation? In that case, perhaps this will allow me to improve my strength faster, Chang Yu thought to himself. Then, with a thought, he directly mobilized the Samadhi True Fire and poured it into the corpse pill to help it better refine its own energy. Chang Yu was not worried that the integration of Samadhi True Fire would affect the balance of his own corpse core, since Samadhi True Fire was originally a condensation of his own essence, energy, and spirit. It appears to be fire, but it actually has no inherent properties and is perfectly compatible with its own power. Integrating it into the corpse pill would be beneficial and harmless to Chang Yu. Next, after the Samadhi True Fire entered the corpse pill underwent another change. Under the tempering of the Samadhi True Fire, mysterious patterns gradually appeared on the surface of the corpse pill. As the patterns flowed, sometimes like flames rising, sometimes like a galaxy flowing. With each rotation of the corpse pill, it would burst forth with boundless energy, traveling along the meridians throughout the body, making his power inexhaustible. Moreover, the energy released by the corpse pill would be even purer than before, allowing Chang Yu's mind to return to its proper place. He clenched his fist slightly, beginning to feel the unique power of his purple gold zombie. As he clenched his fist, the air itself made a popping sound. Clearly, both strength and speed have been greatly improved. With a slight thought, a wisp of samadhi true fire emerged from his fingertip. After being transformed by the corpse pill, the flame became more restrained and profound. Its power has increased at least 3 times compared to before. The samadhi true fire is the condensation of Chang Yu's essence, energy, and spirit, which also represents Chang Yu's own strength. Compared to when his eyes were red, it has increased at least 3 times. Chang Yu's eyes flickered, and then he tried to manipulate the power of space and time. He raised his hand and made a slash in the void, and a small spatial rift appeared instantly. Although it was fleeting, compared to the effort he had to gather strength to tear open space before, it was now as easy as lifting a finger. The joy in his eyes gradually spread. This trip was definitely worthwhile. It was worth the more than half a month of waiting. Oh, right, I almost forgot about this. Recalling the thought that popped into his mind when the golden energy appeared, Chang Yu suddenly felt a little impatient. He then calmed himself down and began to recall the spells he had seen in the Ma family's library, silently reciting the incantations, but found no effect. Chang Yu was somewhat taken aback. Could it be that I'm mistaken? Should we try again? Somewhat skeptical, Chang Yu closed his eyes and tried again. After a while, a bolt of lightning suddenly shot out from Chang Yu's palm, flashing with the power of extreme yang. Chang Yu slowly opened his eyes, looking at the purple gold lightning arc in his palm, his gaze becoming somewhat strange. Previously, when he used the incantations from the Ma family's inherited magic to borrow the power of heaven and earth to cast spells, the spells had no effect whatsoever. He then changed his approach, directly mobilizing the golden energy within his body and using the methods of magic to activate it, easily unleashing the palm lightning. It should be understood that in the Dharma ending age, Taoist priests and sorcerers, when using various spells, either borrow the power of heaven and earth or the power of their ancestral masters. This way, they can conserve their own mana while also leveraging external forces to unleash even greater magical power. Although he, a zombie, had managed to find a loophole and was now able to cast spells, he was still a creature despised by heaven and earth, unloved by his parents. Naturally, one cannot rely on the power of others and can only use one's own power to perform the action, which consumes a lot more energy. Its power is entirely determined by the magical energy it inputs, but in terms of flexibility, it surpasses that of warlocks, as it can be controlled at will. Chang Yu was already quite satisfied with this achievement. After all, as a zombie, with proper training, he might even be able to learn something like the Yin 5 Thunder technique. But lightning like the one in my palm, which is extremely strong and yang, is something I should never even think about using. I'd probably get hurt before I even use it. Gazing at the lightning in his palm, Chang Yu's eyes gradually became vacant. After a moment, he came back to his senses and murmured softly, Yin and Yang in harmony, all laws can be contained. After this enlightenment, Chang Yu felt that his own power was more harmonious and that he could mobilize it more smoothly and naturally. It seemed that he could precisely control every bit of power. The smile on Chang Yu's face gradually widened, and finally, unable to contain his joy any longer, he burst into laughter. This gain not only greatly increased his strength, but also showed him the path he should take next, so how could he not be overjoyed? With this discovery, Madonna's body is no longer important, let her rest in peace. To avoid any unforeseen mishaps that could cause him to have trouble getting his hands on that woman with 42-inch long legs. Then it's time to make some adjustments to the next plan, Chang Yu thought to himself. There was still plenty of time, perhaps he could visit the various Daoist sects next. Their lineage is ancient, and their sect may hold many secrets from ancient times. Furthermore, their cultivation techniques and scriptures could serve as valuable references for Chang Yu. Chang Yu remembered some information about destiny. After the creation of heaven and earth, 3 extraordinary books were born. They are respectively the Book of Heaven, the Book of Earth, and the Book of Man. The Heavenly Book, also known as the Imperial Ultimate Classic of World Affairs, it records the past, present, and future of all living beings. Theoretically, no one can escape the control of the Heavenly Book. Earth Book, also known as the Map of Mountains and Rivers, it can manipulate the laws of nature, rewrite reality, and possess the ability to change matter and control the power of heaven and earth, such as summoning wind and rain, moving mountains, and filling seas. The Book of Man, also known as the Book of Life and Death, it is the Book of Hope, representing human free will and possessing the hope to defy fate. It cannot change reality, but it can give people the power to break the shackles of fate. Destiny is the spirit of the Heavenly Book, which, after countless cycles of world-shattering and rebuilding, gave birth to its own emotions. He was unwilling for the world to continue repeating itself in this unchanging way, and wanted to create a perfect species. So he created one species after another that he considered perfect. However, whenever these species develop to a certain point, they instinctively rebel against fate, wanting to break free from its control and transcend it. Among them are powerful races that have broken the limitations of fate, such as the zombie race, which was created by the Kunlun race as a weapon against fate. Among the races of the past, there have been powerful beings such as immortals and Buddhists, who left behind countless legends for the human world. People like Guanyin and Tathagata have appeared in the human world before. Master Miaoshan was transformed from a tear from the mortal world that Guanyin shed before her ascension. Chang Yu felt that the so-called ascension might mean that their strength had reached a certain limit, thus breaking free from the constraints of fate. The Taoist and Buddhist sects that remain in modern times are probably the result of our ancestors unearthing the relics left behind by those past races, and thus developing their own power. Therefore, the magical texts and scriptures in their sect might be of great use, whether for cultivation or for finding a way to escape fate. Since Chang Yu's current physique allows him to perform magic normally, he will definitely not let go of any opportunity, whether it's infiltrating a sect to learn or secretly sneaking in to steal a master's skills. Having made up his mind, Chang Yu left the courtyard and traveled around the country, taking stock of his businesses and collecting another batch of essence beads. With Chang Yu's current cultivation level, the essence blood bead is no longer of much use to him. Moreover, after his red eyes appeared, he could eat and drink normally again. Although he has undergone some mutations, it does not affect this aspect. However, these essence blood beads are valuable items, and they should still be collected. Not to mention the qualitative change caused by mass production, they would be excellent rewards for subordinates. His research bases, after so many years of research, have developed a method to purify the blood of ordinary livestock to the level of human essence and energy. For his subordinates, the essence blood beads could be used as a temporary measure when they lacked them, but their effectiveness was far inferior to that of the essence blood beads. So Chang Yu let them continue their research, and they were still supplied with essence blood beads as usual. After collecting the essence blood beads and arranging the subsequent matters, Chang Yu rested well for a while under the care of Ling Shi and others. Let me relax a little, since I've been on edge ever since I transmigrated into my date with a zombie. Upon entering the world of my date with a vampire and becoming a zombie, Chang Yu experienced initial excitement, but then fell into deep confusion and worry about the future. It's important to understand that the world of my date with a vampire is extremely abnormal, with world-ending crises occurring at the drop of a hat. His previous strength, while seemingly formidable, did not provide Chang Yu with any sense of security. Now that he's been upgraded to a purple gold zombie, the future is becoming clearer, and Chang Yu can finally relax and enjoy this decadent life. Chang Yu was not an impulsive person, so even after his strength improved, he still did not intend to confront Zhang Chen and his group. It's better to accumulate strength for a few more years, and then improve it once the main story begins. Because of his plans for the future, Chang Yu didn't enjoy himself for too long. After relaxing for a bit, he bid farewell to the women and began his travels to various Daoist sects. He had already told the women that he would go directly to Hong Kong Island in 1998, and they needed to arrange his identity in advance. At that time, he will truly be a part of the overall stalemate. As for the red-eyed zombie crystal that had been condensed earlier, Chang Yu did not take it out. Not to mention that there was only one essence blood crystal, which was really difficult to distribute. Most importantly, the four women have only recently advanced to the second generation, and their energy accumulation is not yet sufficient. Therefore, using this crystal now will not allow it to exert its maximum effect. Time flies, and before we knew it, it was 1998. At Hong Kong International Airport, Chang Yu sat listlessly in the airport's waiting hall, reminiscing about his experiences over the years. Over the years, he has traveled to various Taoist and Buddhist sects, sometimes becoming an apprentice to learn their skills, and sometimes sneaking in to learn directly from them. Coupled with his photographic memory and exceptional comprehension, he had already learned almost all the teachings of various schools several years ago. In recent years, Chang Yu has been in seclusion, cultivating diligently and integrating and adapting the techniques and skills of various schools, taking into account his own zombie characteristics. Finally, he created a cultivation technique suitable for himself. Under the operation of the technique, Chang Yu was able to draw upon the power of the stars in the world to temper himself and gradually become stronger. His corpse cores became more radiant and substantial due to the cultivation technique, with some illusory starlight surrounding them. Moreover, it solved the drawback that he could not draw upon the power of heaven and earth. With his special techniques, Chang Yu can, like orthodox sorcerers, use one part of his own power to draw upon 9 parts of the power of heaven and earth to form a powerful attack, while also conserving his own energy. However, the energy that Chang Yu drew upon was different from the spiritual energy drawn upon by other sorcerers. He combined the instinct of a zombie worshipping the moon and accidentally drew upon the power of the moon. Through further research, Chang Yu gradually discovered that he could actually draw upon the power of the stars, which enabled his cultivation technique to enhance his own corpse core. Without the power of the stars, relying solely on the meager spiritual energy of heaven and earth, it would probably take hundreds of millions of years for someone at Chang Yu's level to make any progress. Although stars are mostly hidden in the void during the day, not being able to see them does not mean they do not exist. Moreover, the sun itself is a star, but the sun's energy is too scorching. When the power of the sun was initially drawn in, Chang Yu's magical power was almost ignited. If he hadn't rapidly activated his zombie bloodline and simultaneously absorbed the sun's power with samadhi true fire, he would likely have been severely injured, if not killed, that time. Of course, risks are accompanied by opportunities. After Chang Yu successfully refined this wisp of solar power, he discovered that the energy in his own corpse core had become even purer. The corpse energy and golden energy showed signs of deep fusion, and some chaotic energy was faintly appearing in the purple dividing line where the two forces met. At the same time, Chang Yu's samadhi true fire absorbed some of the sun's power, and surprisingly, it acquired a golden hue, becoming even hotter. After the samadhi true fire transformed back into essence, energy, and spirit, Chang Yu could clearly feel that he was more transparent, and some black impurities were even expelled from his body. This discovery immediately excited Chang Yu. Ignoring his exhaustion, he once again drew upon the power of the sun, but this action nearly led him to self-destruct. He discovered that he could only withstand a limited amount of solar energy each day. Excessive stimulation would exceed his capacity. Therefore, after Chang Yu painstakingly refined the second ray of solar power, he quickly stopped and began to recover from his exhaustion. After this experience, Chang Yu dared not be greedy for merit or make rash advances again. Every day, without fail, he refined the wisp of purple energy at the rising sun, and then dared not draw on the power of the sun too much. However, the power of the other stars was much gentler compared to the power of the sun, making it much easier for Chang Yu to draw upon. After a period of cultivation, Chang Yu discovered that he could actually use the power he had cultivated through his technique to draw upon the power of the stars when casting spells. Moreover, the power of spells enhanced by the power of stars even surpasses the power of spells enhanced by the spiritual energy of ordinary sorcerers. Furthermore, Chang Yu discovered that the magical power and form produced by adding different stellar energy were also different. Furthermore, because Chang Yu bases his spells on his own cultivation techniques and draws upon the power of the stars to enhance them, he doesn't need to perform spells like other sorcerers. Instead of reciting a whole bunch of incantations and forming a whole bunch of hand seals, he only needs to think to draw upon the power of the stars to enhance his own magic, saving both effort and time. Based on Chang Yu's research on the various sects and systems, he now believes that his magical abilities alone make him a Taoist celestial master, and among the top celestial masters. By 1998, Chang Yu had perfected his skills to the limit he could achieve. Moreover, it was time for the story to begin, and in his stillness, he felt a surge of energy, so Chang Yu broke through his cultivation barrier and emerged. In recent years, the world economy has developed rapidly, and airplanes and ships have become increasingly common. Since Chang Yu has chosen to enter the world, he naturally wants to experience the life of a normal person. Therefore, he chose airplane as his mode of transportation. He planned to return to Japan first to arrange some matters, and then stay in Hong Kong permanently. As for his identity, his businesses span the globe, and such a minor issue was easily resolved by one of his subordinates after he left the country. As Chang Yu lay in the VIP lounge reminiscing about the past, he unexpectedly saw two beautiful women pulling suitcases towards him. Both women were very beautiful. One of them was wearing a super short skirt that barely covered her thighs, and her legs were estimated to be at least 42 inches long. The other woman was dressed conservatively, covering almost everything that needed to be covered, and wore black-rimmed glasses that concealed her stunning beauty. These two people were naturally familiar to Chang Yu, who was well versed in the plot of My Date with a Vampire. Especially after overhearing their conversation, Chang Yu became even more certain that they were the two female leads from My Date with a Vampire, Ma Xiaoling and Zhenzhen. Xiaoling, look how long the plane is delayed. I don't know when it will take off, Zhenzhen said with a hint of worry. Ma Xiaoling waved her hand dismissively. What's there to be afraid of? So what if we're a little late? Maybe we'll be there in no time. Hearing their conversation, Chang Yu finally took it seriously. He had only guessed before, but now he was certain. He hadn't expected to encounter a key figure in the plot so soon after entering the world. He began to scrutinize the two women opposite him. Although their faces were slightly different from those in the TV series, they were even more beautiful. Especially Ma Xiaoling's 42-inch long legs made Chang Yu, who had been in seclusion for many years and hadn't had any S**X, really want to have a good competition with her. In contrast, Zhenzhen next to her, although also a beauty with a score of 9 or higher, has a more innocent and pure temperament and dresses conservatively. In addition, Chang Yu had met her past life, Yamamoto Yuki, before, so seeing her did not evoke any particular emotions in Chang Yu. However, if given the chance to have both, Chang Yu wouldn't miss it, since beauty and freedom are the two things one should never give up. If he's already so powerful, why is he still so timid and hesitant? What has been the point of all his scheming and hard work? Becoming stronger is all about enjoying life, about being free and unrestrained, and about letting your true self feel at ease. Chang Yu felt that apart from being a zombie, he was still a normal man, and he strongly agreed with the idea of being a man. Since ancient times, heroes have loved beauties, and the strong and the beautiful have always been inseparable. Chang Yu felt that in this world of zombies, he could be considered a strong person to some extent. Having several beauties is only natural. What powerful person could truly ignore the beautiful scenery along the way to becoming stronger? Pluck the flower while it blooms, for that is the true way to cultivate one's mind, lest one leave with regrets. Thinking of this, Chang Yu straightened his clothes, got up, walked to the counter, ordered some pastries, and placed them on the table between himself and the two women. Ladies, my flight is delayed. I wonder if I'll have the chance to chat with you to pass the time, Chang Yu said with a smile, getting straight to the point. As a straight man who had never seriously pursued a girl, Chang Yu, despite having once been with a beautiful woman in his arms, still didn't quite understand the complex emotions of women. Perhaps it would be better to be direct and straightforward, which might lead to unexpected results. Ma Xiaoling sized Chang Yu up and down, a playful smile on her face, and teased, "Oh, handsome, not bad, you know how to seize opportunities. Wang Zhenzhen smiled shyly, blushing slightly as she was teased by Chang Yu's handsome face and unique charm. Chang Yu smiled, ignoring Ma Xiaoling's teasing, and chose to start with Wang Zhenzhen. Chang Yu, who came from the era of information explosion, may not know any techniques for pursuing girls, but she does know something called the best friend effect. In the original novel, isn't that exactly what Kuang Tianyu did? He first pursued Wang Zhenzhen, but in the process, he also flirted with Ma Xiaoling to no end. Like twins, two best friends who are very close can easily fall for the same man. If they meet the same outstanding man, the two best friends will unconsciously start comparing themselves to each other. If, during this process, you only pursue one aspect while ignoring the other, it could create a significant sense of disappointment in the other person, leading them to pursue their own goals. Chang Yu caught up with Wang Zhenzhen and started talking about interesting stories from various places, quickly closing the distance between them. During the conversation, Chang Yu subtly revealed that he also had considerable knowledge of the paranormal, which piqued Ma Xiaoling's interest. Curious, she pressed Chang Yu to reveal if he had ever experienced any paranormal events. Chang Yu simply smiled mysteriously and did not answer directly. Ma Xiaoling's curiosity had nowhere to go, and she felt like she was being torn apart. Her gaze towards Chang Yu even became somewhat resentful. Chang Yu and Wang Zhenzhen's conversation went very smoothly. Wang Zhenzhen was shy, and she kept blushing when Chang Yu teased her. Ma Xiaoling watched longingly from the side, but couldn't get a word in edgewise, and a sense of disappointment naturally arose in her heart. Chang Yu noticed out of the corner of her eye that Ma Xiaoling's mood had become somewhat downcast. She smiled, but still chose to leave her hanging for the time being. Just as the airport's announcement system suddenly sounded, the three of them stood up together. Chang Yu gentlemanly extended his hand to Wang Zhenzhen. "Miss Wang, let me help you with your luggage." Wang Zhenzhen blushed and stammered, "No need, I can do it myself." Ma Xiaoling pushed Chang Yu aside, saying, "No need for Mr. Chang to trouble himself, we can carry it ourselves." As she spoke, Ma Xiaoling picked up their luggage and strode forward, leaving Wang Zhenzhen behind, walking alongside Chang Yu. The three talked for a long time, during which they introduced themselves to each other, and the two women naturally learned Chang Yu's name. Wang Zhenzhen blushed slightly, looking somewhat embarrassed, and explained to Chang Yu, "I'm sorry, Mr. Chang, Xiaoling has a rather impulsive personality." "It's all right, Miss Ma's straightforward personality is quite good." Chang Yu smiled slightly, appearing gentle and refined. Just then, a commotion suddenly arose ahead, and a thin figure wearing a hat rushed towards Wang Zhenzhen at lightning speed. A man in a trench coat and a young man with blonde hair were chasing closely behind, shouting, "Catch that thief." As Chang Yu watched the thin man dodge Ma Xiaoling and was about to collide with Wang Zhenzhen, a slight smile subtly appeared on her lips. Where did this kind soul come from, offering such a helpful assist? Chang Yu stepped forward, pulled Wang Zhenzhen into his arms, and then kicked the skinny man away. At the same time, Chang Yu snatched the wallet he was clutching tightly from his hand. To thank him for his assist, Chang Yu used a clever technique with his kick. The guy seemed to fly a long way, but in reality, he wasn't hurt at all. The moment it landed, it struggled to its feet and disappeared into the crowd at the airport. Just then, Ma Xiaoling turned around and came to Chang Yu and the other woman, anxiously asking, "Zhenzhen, are you all right?" Chang Yu then released his arm from Wang Zhenzhen's slender waist, steadied her, and asked with concern, "Miss Wang, are you all right?" Wang Zhenzhen's face flushed red. She didn't dare look at Chang Yu at all. Twisting the hem of her clothes, she weakly stammered, I'm fine." Ma Xiaoling looked Wang Zhenzhen up and down, and only after finding that she was indeed all right did she breathe a slight sigh of relief. She raised an eyebrow slightly at Chang Yu. "Mr. Chang, you're quite skilled. Also, thank you for saving Zhenzhen." Chang Yu smiled. "No need to be so polite, it's good that Miss Wang is all right." Just then, the man in the trench coat and the blonde-haired boy arrived in front of Chang Yu and the others, followed by an anxious woman. Chang Yu tossed the wallet in her hand to the man in the trench coat. "Is this your wallet?" Chang Yu spoke calmly, but his thoughts were wandering. The two people in front of him looked slightly different from those in the TV series. However, their demeanor and attire clearly identify them as the male lead Kuang Tianyu and his partner Gao Bao from the drama The Contract. There was nothing they could do. Officer Kuang was just too pretentious. Even though it was the middle of summer and indoors, he still had to wear a black trench coat and large sunglasses. The man in the trench coat returned the wallet to the woman behind him. "Madam, here's your wallet." The woman thanked everyone repeatedly and even bowed to Chang Yu, who waved her hand dismissively. Just as the man in the trench coat was about to introduce himself to Chang Yu glanced at her watch, gave him an apologetic smile, and said, "Excuse me, I have to catch a flight, so I'll take my leave now." After saying that, without waiting for Ma Xiaoling and Wang Zhenzhen's agreement, he picked up their luggage and walked towards the boarding gate, while turning back to call the two women to hurry up and follow. Ma Xiaoling reached out as if to say something, but Chang Yu was too fast, so Ma Xiaoling had no choice but to give up and pull Wang Zhenzhen to follow Chang Yu. Only the man in the trench coat, Kuang Tianyu, and the blonde-haired Gao Bao remained. Gao Bao, slightly annoyed, said, "That kid's really lucky, getting two beautiful women with him." The man in the trench coat, Kuang Tianyu, smiled, "Stop with the chit-chat, our flight is about to start, let's hurry up and board." After saying that, the two hurried forward, heading in the same direction as Chang Yu and the others. The cabin lights were soft. Chang Yu carried the two people's luggage and boarded the plane smoothly, followed closely by Ma Xiaoling and Wang Zhenzhen. Ma Xiaoling stepped forward, blocking Chang Yu's path, and held out her hand, saying, "Hey, our luggage." Wang Zhenzhen blushed slightly and whispered her thanks. "Thank you, Mr. Chang." Chang Yu smiled slightly. "No need to be so polite. Where are your seats? Let me move them over for you." Ma Xiaoling stepped forward and snatched the luggage. "No need for you to trouble yourself, Mr. Chang, we can manage on our own." As he spoke, he pulled Wang Zhenzhen forward quickly, and Wang Zhenzhen turned back to give Chang Yu an apologetic look. Chang Yu waved slightly. "Miss Zhenzhen, see you again someday. Mr. Chang, see you again someday." As she spoke, Wang Zhenzhen was dragged away by Ma Xiaoling. Chang Yu shook his head and chuckled, glanced at his boarding pass, put his hands in his pockets, and leisurely walked towards his seat. He had just come out of customs and didn't have any luggage. Besides, what use would a wealthy zombie have for luggage? When Chang Yu found her seat, there were two familiar figures next to her. A smile played on her lips. "What a coincidence, we meet again, Miss Zhenzhen." Ma Xiaoling rolled her eyes, sat down by herself, and thought to herself, "What a coincidence. What a coincidence? Mr. Chang, our seats are right next to each other," Wang Zhenzhen said with a smile. As they spoke, the two sat down together. A short while later, the plane announced takeoff. Chang Yu took two blankets from a flight attendant and handed one to Wang Zhenzhen. "Miss Zhenzhen, it's a bit chilly on the plane, be careful not to catch a cold." Wang Zhenzhen took the blanket, her cheeks slightly flushed. "Thank you, Mr. Chang, you're so thoughtful." Ma Xiaoling raised an eyebrow and deliberately said, "Mr. Chang really takes good care of Zhenzhen." Chang Yu pretended not to notice the sarcasm in her words and tossed another blanket to Ma Xiaoling. "Miss Ma, cover your legs a bit, be careful not to get frostbite and develop rheumatoid arthritis." "You." Ma Xiaoling glared at Chang Yu, wanting to say something more. Wang Zhenzhen chuckled and quickly reached out to comfort Ma Xiaoling. "Xiaoling, don't be angry. Mr. Chang was just joking with you, wasn't he?" As she spoke, she glanced at Chang Yu, who shrugged non-committally and didn't provoke Ma Xiaoling further. Ma Xiaoling glanced at Chang Yu, then turned to Wang Zhenzhen and started talking about crickets. "Zhenzhen, this guy doesn't seem like a good person. You'd better stay away from him." Wang Zhenzhen looked at Chang Yu apologetically, then turned to Ma Xiaoling and said, "Mr. Chang was just joking. Xiaoling, don't take it too seriously." Then, turning to Chang Yu, she asked, "Mr. Chang, is your trip to Japan for leisure or?" "I was bored, so I came out for a stroll." Chang Yu replied with a smile. "That's great. We're also out sightseeing. If Mr. Chang doesn't mind, we can join you." As she spoke, Wang Zhenzhen turned to look at Ma Xiaoling. "Don't you think so, Xiaoling?" Ma Xiaoling rolled her eyes at Wang Zhenzhen speechlessly. This girl is usually quite shy, why was she so direct this time? Seeing that Ma Xiaoling didn't answer, Wang Zhenzhen couldn't help but tug at Ma Xiaoling's sleeve. "Xiaoling." Ma Xiaoling rubbed her sleeve speechlessly. All right, we don't even know if Mr. Chang has made any appointments yet, why are you in such a hurry?" Wang Zhenzhen blushed and looked at Chang Yu. Chang Yu smiled slightly. "This trip was purely for leisure, we didn't have a specific destination. It's my honor to have two beautiful ladies accompany me." "That's great!" Wang Zhenzhen exclaimed, clenching her fist excitedly. As the three were talking, the plane suddenly lurched, and Wang Zhenzhen cried out in surprise, losing her balance and falling towards Chang Yu. Chang Yu reacted quickly, taking advantage of the jolt, and subtly adjusted his body so that Wang Zhenzhen's delicate body fell right into his arms. He naturally wrapped his arms around Wang Zhenzhen's slender waist and whispered comfortingly, "It's all right, it's just airflow." With a warm, fragrant body in his arms, taking advantage of the turbulence of the plane, Chang Yu subtly tightened his embrace around Wang Zhenzhen, a hint of surprise flashing in his eyes. Who would have thought? This girl is dressed so conservatively, she's actually a hidden gem. Wang Zhenzhen blushed slightly and tried to break free from Chang Yu's embrace, but the turbulence on the plane continued. She had barely broken free when the plane's turbulence caused her to fall heavily back into Chang Yu's arms. Charging someone with the ball, that's unsportsmanlike. A nonsensical thought flashed through Chang Yu's mind. "Oh," Wang Zhenzhen exclaimed softly. Ma Xiaoling quickly asked, "Zhenzhen, are you all right?" "No, it's nothing." Wang Zhenzhen's weak voice came from Chang Yu's arms. At this moment, the turbulence on the plane finally stopped. Ma Xiaoling glared angrily at Chang Yu. "You scoundrel, let go of Zhenzhen." Chang Yu smiled slightly, calmly helping Wang Zhenzhen to her feet, and said with a hint of apology, "I'm so sorry, Miss Zhenzhen." Wang Zhenzhen blushed and said softly, "It was my own fault for not sitting properly, how can you blame Mr. Chang?" After this little incident, the atmosphere among the three became strange. Wang Zhenzhen kept her head down, seemingly lost in thought, and would occasionally steal glances at Chang Yu. Ma Xiaoling was in a bad mood because Chang Yu had just ignored her, so she didn't want to talk to Chang Yu. Seeing this, Chang Yu smiled, closed his eyes, and began to think about what to do next. Based on the current situation, the current timeline should be the timeline of Legend of the Zombies 1, including the 5 colored messengers, Noah, Zhongchen, Fuxi, and Destiny. Although the reason is unknown, none of them appeared in the first part, which led to the final boss of the first part being Yamamoto Kazuo, who was just a second-generation character, and the mastermind behind it all, Rahu. For Chang Yu now, if he's unhappy, he can crush Yamamoto Kazuo with a flick of his finger, including Rahu behind him. That wouldn't be fun, and Chang Yu is quite interested in how things will develop. For example, if Miao Shan was truly a tear shed by Guanyin before her ascension to the mortal world, then Chang Yu might have been able to learn more about this world from her. However, he appears and disappears mysteriously, only connecting with 33 people every 33 years. If it weren't for Yamamoto Kazuo, who was destined to meet him, Chang Yu might not have been able to meet Miao Shan. If he were to be careless for even a moment, he might have to wait another 33 years. The end of the world is fast approaching, and Chang Yu doesn't want to waste any more time. Ultimately, he decided to just wait and see, without interfering too much in how things unfolded. He figured he could just follow the general plot and pick up some bargains and flirt with girls. Chang Yu was quite interested in Fahe, the reincarnation of an Arhat, and wanted to know the differences between the essence blood of an Arhat, the essence blood of a saintess, and the essence blood of a divine dragon. However, Chang Yu was still considering whether to stop the final Great Sun Tathagata purification mantra. This period of time also served as a break for himself. In the decades since he came to this world, Chang Yu had not had a real rest. Looking at the plot of My Date with a Vampire, only the first season was relatively lighthearted, although it's unclear why characters like Zhang Chen, Fu Shi, and Destiny disappeared in the first season. They only appeared sequentially after the time was reset in the second part, but Chang Yu has always been open-minded and doesn't dwell on things he can't understand. It's good that they didn't show up, each of them has lived for millions of years, who knows how many tricks they've been hiding. What you see in TV dramas is only a partial picture, and Chang Yu wouldn't dare to judge them based on what's shown in TV dramas. I should use this time to cultivate diligently and enjoy life. Once I become strong enough, I can simply slap anyone who dares to cause trouble to my death. Shortly after, the announcement that the plane had arrived at the Japanese International Airport rang, waking Chang Yu from his reverie. Chang Yu got up and helped Zhenzhen and Ma Xiaoling with their luggage. The three of them then got off the plane together. Upon arriving at the airport entrance, Chang Yu smiled and gestured to Zhenzhen and Ma Xiaoling. "Ladies, my pickup person has arrived. Would you like me to give you a ride?" At the airport entrance, a discreet minivan had been waiting for a long time. When Aoitsuki and Shizuka saw Chang Yu and the others coming out of the airport, they did not rush forward, but stood in front of the car and waited. Zhenzhen waved her hands repeatedly. "No need, Mr. Chang, you can go ahead." Ma Xiaoling replied irritably, "No need for Mr. Chang to trouble himself, our people have arrived." As Chang Yu spoke, Ma Xiaoling looked in the direction indicated. Sure enough, not far from the van, a luxury car was parked, and a man with a buzz cut dressed in black was standing quietly beside it, waiting. When Chang Yu saw the man with the buzz cut, he had a guess in his mind that this should be Yamamoto Kazuo's son-in-law, Domoto Shinjo, who should now be called Aiken. The reason Ma Xiaoling came to Japan was because Yamamoto Kazuo wanted to test the descendants of the Ma family, the demon-exorcising dragon clan. Using the pretext of the haunted hot spring hotel, he had Aiken contact Ma Xiaoling, wanting to test Ma Xiaoling's abilities through this incident. Ever since his wife died and his daughter left, Kazuo Yamamoto has wanted to turn all of humanity into zombies so that they would no longer be seen as monsters by the world. His daughter, Yamamoto Mirai, might forgive him and return to his side. Thinking of this, Chang Yu shook his head inwardly. Yamamoto Kazuo was too deeply possessed by demons, or perhaps he was too deeply influenced by Rahu. The Ma family, an exorcist clan, has dedicated their generations to eliminating the zombie king Zhongchan, making them the most likely people to stop Yamamoto Kazuo's plan. Add to that Aiken, that traitor who's always looking for death, and that's how Ma Xiaoling ended up on her trip to Japan. Furthermore, Chang Yu glanced at Kuang Tianyu and Gao Bao, who were about to walk out behind him. Perhaps Kuang Tianyu's arrival was also part of Aiken's scheme? After all, he controlled most of the Yamamoto Group's businesses and had countless funds at his disposal. The unexpected discovery of Kuang Tianyu, a second-generation zombie who was bitten along with Yamamoto Kazuo, seems plausible. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense that Han Baidao, an ordinary person, could escape from a second-generation zombie and even throw it into the river. Even if this second-generation zombie is just a malnourished zombie, an ordinary person shouldn't be able to do this. Chang Yu could only think of the possibility that after Aiken accidentally discovered Kuang Tianyu's existence, he wanted to use Kuang Tianyu's second-generation zombie power to eliminate Yamamoto Kazuo. That's how they orchestrated Han Baidao's scheme, and ultimately managed to get him to escape to a hot spring hotel. It's likely that Aiken is planning to incite conflict between Ma Xiaoling and Kuang Tianyu, using Ma Xiaoling to test Kuang Tianyu's strength. Or perhaps, conversely, they could use Kuang Tianyu's help to test whether Ma Xiaoling could actually eliminate the second-generation zombie. However, he underestimated Kuang Tianyu's forbearance. The two did not clash. If that's the case, then it aligns with the course of events, or perhaps fate itself intervened. It was also that Ma Xiaoling and Kuang Tianyu could meet. Otherwise, it couldn't all be just a coincidence. That would be too melodramatic. All of this seemed to take a long time, but in reality it happened in the blink of an eye. Chang Yu pulled himself out of his thoughts and looked at the two women in front of him. He never expected that Aiken would personally come to pick up Ma Xiaoling and Zhenzhen to go to the hot spring hotel. He shook his head, smiled, and waved to the two women. In that case, it truly is fate that we'll meet again. As he spoke, he walked directly toward Aoitsuki and Shizuka. Ma Xiaoling and the others had just arrived today, and Kuang Tianyu and Gao Bao had not yet received Han Baidao. The main plot isn't supposed to start until tomorrow, so he plans to spend tonight catching up with Aoitsuki and Shizuka and relaxing a bit. Perhaps due to the inherently lustful nature of dragons, Chang Yu felt his sexual desires had increased significantly after refining the divine dragon's blood. If I hadn't spent these years searching for various classic texts and learning many tips for calming the mind, I probably would have given in long ago. Even so, that hug on the plane earlier had already stirred up ripples in Chang Yu's heart, and she couldn't wait to find someone to resolve it. So he didn't even feel like chatting with Zhenzhen and Ma Xiaoling much. Even when Zhenzhen responded with "see you again someday," Chang Yu didn't stop walking, she simply waved to them with her back turned. Chang Yu walked straight to Aoitsuki and Shizuka, opened the back door of the car, and got in. Aoitsuki and Shizuka followed closely behind. The car has an understated exterior, but an extremely luxurious interior, and the rear seats are separated from the driver's seat. After the three got into the car, it slowly started moving, clearly indicating that the two women had come with a driver. At the airport entrance, Ma Xiaoling waved in front of Zhenzhen's eyes and said teasingly, "Zhenzhen, have you taken a liking to this Mr. Chang?" Ma Xiaoling's actions and words pulled Zhenzhen, who was staring blankly in the direction Chang Yu had gone, back to reality. She blushed slightly and patted Ma Xiaoling lightly. "No way, Xiaoling, don't talk nonsense." Seeing Zhenzhen's expression, Ma Xiaoling didn't say anything more. She pulled Zhenzhen towards Aiken's direction. "Let's go, don't keep the employer waiting too long." After the two left, Kuang Tianyu and Gao Bao also walked out of the airport, where they were greeted by a beautiful policewoman named Nakayama Miyuki. As soon as the car door closed, Aoitsuki and Shizuka pressed themselves against Chang Yu. "Boss, we missed you so much." Chang Yu smiled slightly, put his arm around the two women, and began to chat with them about what had happened over the years. The car sped along and finally stopped at a manor. Chang Yu put his arms around the two women, whose hair was a little disheveled, and led them into the bedroom. Needless to say, the stormy night passed quickly, and as the morning sun streamed through the bedroom's French windows, it shone on the large bed in the center. Chang Yu slowly opened his eyes, looked at the two sleeping women, and got up to wash up. If Chang Yu remembers correctly, today is the day that controversial little plot point happened. A second-generation zombie not only got himself captured, it also resulted in the deaths of several policemen, and he himself was thrown into the river. Although the original story doesn't mention where that bridge was. However, based on Chang Yu's understanding of this area, barring any unforeseen circumstances, that bridge is the Zhenzhen Bridge in Osaka, which is also the closest bridge to the Interpol branch. Chang Yu didn't care whether those policemen lived or died. He had no good impression of Japanese men anyway. Decades ago, he had killed thousands of them. However, there was a beautiful policewoman named Nakayama Miyuki among them. Recalling her heroic and valiant appearance in the drama, Chang Yu suddenly felt like playing a role-playing game. Feeling the subtle changes within himself, he couldn't help but curse inwardly. "Damn dragon blood, it's turned a pure old zombie like me into what I am now." At noon, a real-life racing scene suddenly unfolded on the streets of Tokyo, with a police car speeding ahead. Several police cars were in hot pursuit, and the already crowded streets of Tokyo instantly descended into chaos. From inside the car in front, a cold female voice suddenly rang out, "Give up, Han Baidao, you can't escape. Shut up, you BCH. If you don't want to die, drive properly," Han Baidao said fiercely, pressing the gun against the back of Nakayama Miyuki's head. Left with no other option, Miyuki Nakayama sped along the road and soon arrived at the Zhenzhen Bridge, where the people who were there to meet Han Baidao had also arrived. Several black SUVs drove towards them, overtaking the lead police car and crashing directly into the pursuing police cars. The officers behind were unable to avoid the collision and were immediately knocked over, including Kuang Tianyu, but Gao Bao did not come with them. The police car in front stopped, and Han Baidao arrogantly got out, dragging Nakayama Miyuki out of the car as well. More than a dozen figures stepped out of several SUVs and bowed deeply to Han Baidao. "Mr. Han, what should we do with these people?" "Tie their hands and feet and throw them all into the river," Han Baidao arrogantly ordered. One by one, the police officers were dragged out of the police cars, their hands and feet tied, and thrown directly into the river. Kuang Tianyu was among them. What left Chang Yu, who was observing the scene, speechless was that Kuang Tianyu had actually fainted because of this minor car collision. This was simply too embarrassing for the second-generation zombie. It's no wonder Chang Yu always felt that the power system in the zombie contract was chaotic. Sometimes it was terrifyingly strong, and sometimes it was pitifully weak. He shook his head, his figure flashed, and he instantly appeared in front of Nakayama Miyuki. Taking advantage of everyone's inattention, he directly carried Nakayama Miyuki away. Seeing the policemen being rounded up one by one, Han Baidao laughed heartily and turned around to deal with Nakayama Miyuki. But when he turned around, he was stunned. "Where is she? Where did that ST go?" Han sang, "We need to leave this place as soon as possible," one of the men in black said, stepping forward. Okay. After searching around but not finding Miyuki Nakayama, Han Baidao could only get into his SUV and drive away with a hint of frustration. After a while, Kuang Tianyu, who had been thrown into the water, finally broke free of the ropes and jumped out of the water. However, apart from the burning wreckage of the police car and the ever-approaching sirens, there was no sign of Han Baidao on the bridge. In a hotel room near Zhenzhen Bridge, Miyuki Nakayama, her hair disheveled by the wind, looked at Chang Yu with some fear. "Are you human or a ghost? What do you want with me?" As expected of a policewoman, despite her inner fear, she spoke very logically, clearly demonstrating excellent mental fortitude. Chang Yu smiled reassuringly, "Don't worry, I only saved your life because I saw you were about to die. I'm just an ordinary cultivator." People generally have too many misconceptions about zombies, which is why Chang Yu didn't reveal his identity directly. An onmyoji. Nakayama Miyuki's emotions had noticeably calmed down. "Oh, you've met an onmyoji." Chang Yu was genuinely surprised. Onmyoji did exist in Japan, and he had even killed quite a few. However, ordinary people shouldn't be able to see onmyoji. "I've heard some things about it. Thank you so much, onmyoji, for saving my life." With that, Miyuki Nakayama bowed deeply to Chang Yu. "I'm not some kind of onmyoji," Chang Yu scoffed dismissively. "And who is this gentleman?" Miyuki Nakayama asked, puzzled. "You'll find out later. What are you going to do next? All the police officers who were with you are dead. If you go back alone, I'm afraid you won't be able to explain yourself," Chang Yu said calmly. Upon hearing this, Miyuki Nakayama's expression darkened. "Are they all dead?" Chang Yu nodded slightly. After pausing for a moment, Nakayama Miyuki bowed to Chang Yu again. "My name is Nakayama Miyuki. May I ask your honorable name, sir?" "My name is Chang Yu. Since you were spared from disaster because of me, from now on you belong to me. If you behave well, I can grant you the same power as me in the future." Miyuki Nakayama's expression shifted, but the debt of gratitude for being saved, coupled with the allure of power, ultimately solidified her resolve. "Cheng Yejun, my Xu is willing to follow you." She bowed deeply, her voice trembling slightly, yet revealing a resolute determination. Cheng Yu's lips curled slightly, a hint of satisfaction flashing in his eyes. He slowly approached, reached out and lifted her chin, forcing her to look directly into his eyes. Those dark eyes seemed to hold an endless abyss, sending chills down one's spine. "Remember, from this moment on, your life belongs to me." His voice was low and cold. "The price of betrayal is something you cannot afford." Miyuki's breath hitched slightly, but she nodded firmly. "Yes, I will never let you down." Cheng Yu smiled with satisfaction, picked up Nakayama Miyuki in one scoop, and headed towards the bedroom. He didn't want to waste too much time on these minor characters. The main course was still waiting at the Hot Spring Hotel, and Cheng Yu didn't want Ma Xiaoling's first kiss to be taken by Kuang Tianyu again. After the storm passed, Cheng Yu left the hotel satisfied. He had to admit that Nakayama Miyuki had given him a big surprise. At over 20 years old, he still had a chance to meet someone like Luo Mei. This is extremely rare in Japan, and Japanese women are indeed skilled at serving others. Although she was just an ordinary person, Cheng Yu still found it quite enjoyable. Cheng Yu plans to turn Nakayama Miyuki into a zombie again before returning to Hong Kong in a while. Let her live a normal life for a few days. After Cheng Yu left the hotel, several women opened the door to Nakayama Miyuki's room and helped her wash up and get out of bed. After consulting with Miyuki Nakayama, she was sent to the Interpol branch. With Cheng Yu's people helping to testify, the matter of Miyuki Nakayama's narrow escape from death would naturally not be investigated further. After leaving the hotel, Cheng Yu drove directly to the Hot Spring Hotel where Ma Xiaoling and the others were staying. There was going to be a good show tonight, and Cheng Yu, feeling refreshed and relaxed, naturally didn't want to miss it. Upon arriving at the Hot Spring Hotel, Cheng Yu took the pre-arranged deluxe suite key card from the front desk and headed towards her room. Wandering through the Japanese-style corridors, his extraordinary hearing allowed him to hear the singing and dancing and seductive sounds coming from many rooms through the walls. He shook his head, and just as he was about to use his strength to block out some of the noise, a piercing scream suddenly entered Cheng Yu's ears. That voice, it seems to be Zhenzhen's voice. Thinking of this, Cheng Yu instantly appeared at the location where the voice came from. She flung open the door to the room, where Zhenzhen, who was screaming inside, lunged at Cheng Yu as she hugged him, her body still trembling. Cheng Yu stroked her hair, comforting her while checking the situation inside the room. Cheng Yu breathed a sigh of relief upon discovering the desiccated corpse on the ground, only then remembering that in the original drama, Han Baidao escaped to a hot spring hotel, only to be sucked dry by Chu Chen. The first person to see the mummified corpse was Zhenzhen. Cheng Yu originally thought that his arrival had caused things to take a turn for the worse, leading to some accident for Zhenzhen, which was why she rushed over so quickly. "Zhenzhen, are you all right?" At this moment, Ma Xiaoling, who heard Zhenzhen's exclamation, also rushed over. In another direction, Kuang Tianyu also arrived as scheduled. "You scoundrel, let go of Zhenzhen." Upon getting closer, he saw Zhenzhen being held in someone's arms. Ma Xiaoling thought Zhenzhen had been bullied by Cheng Yu, so she kicked her. Upon hearing the sound, Cheng Yu turned around immediately, reached out a hand, and grabbed Ma Xiaoling's leg that she had kicked at him. The leg felt warm and smooth to the touch. Miss Ma, isn't it a bit inappropriate to start such a big fuss as soon as we meet? Chang Yu said with a smile, his hand holding Ma Xiaoling's leg remaining firmly in place. UBD, it's you? Let go of me right now. Seeing Chang Yu's face, Ma Xiaoling became even angrier, especially since Chang Yu was hugging her best friend while grabbing her leg. Upon hearing Ma Xiaoling's voice, Zhenzhen, still shaken, peeked out from Chang Yu's arms. Immediately, her face turned bright red, and she quickly broke free from Chang Yu's embrace, stepping forward to take Ma Xiaoling's hand. Xiaoling, Mr. Chang didn't bully me. Then, she apologized to Chang Yu, saying, Xiaoling has misunderstood us. Mr. Chang, could you please let Xiaoling go? Chang Yu turned around gracefully, gently pinched Ma Xiaoling's calf, then released her hand and smiled slightly at Zhenzhen. It's alright, it's good that Miss Zhenzhen is alright. Ma Xiaoling glared at Chang Yu, why is that lecherous scoundrel here? Zhenzhen looked at Chang Yu with some confusion, Mr. Chang, why did you come here? I finished my work and was thinking of coming here to soak in the hot springs and relax. As I was passing by, I happened to hear Miss Zhenzhen's voice. In my haste, I pushed the door open and went in. I apologize for any offense, Miss Zhenzhen. As she spoke, Chang Yu held up the room key in her hand. Zhenzhen quickly waved her hand, no wonder it's Mr. Chang's fault, it's my own fault. At this point, Zhenzhen's expression turned terrified again, and her trembling hand pointed to a corner of the room. Xiaoling, Mr. Chang. Ma Xiaoling, Chang Yu, and Tianyu, who had just arrived, looked in the direction Zhenzhen was pointing. Suddenly, she saw a shriveled corpse. Even Ma Xiaoling, an exorcist, was startled by the sudden appearance of the desiccated body. No wonder Zhenzhen reacted so strongly before. Hey guys, if you like it, could you please give it a 5-star review? Upon seeing the body, Tianyu immediately went forward to examine it. Although it had become a mummified corpse, Tianyu still recognized it instantly as Han Baidao's body. He couldn't help but turn his head, looking seriously at Zhenzhen. Miss, do you know where this corpse came from? Zhenzhen shook her head, I don't know. After soaking in the hot spring, I originally wanted to go back to my room to take a shower and rest, but I didn't expect to see this mummified corpse. Then Mr. Chang appeared. Chang Yu nodded slightly. Zhenzhen was still wearing her bathrobe, clearly having just returned to her room. Then he looked at Tianyu, Sir, let's find some hotel staff to ask them first. Tianyu nodded and pressed the room service button. Coincidentally, Chang Yu's luxury suite was only 3 or 4 rooms away from this room. So he held up the room key in his hand and said to Zhenzhen, Miss Zhenzhen, my room is right next door. Why don't you have Miss Ma accompany you to change your clothes first? This gentleman and I can wait here. As he spoke, he handed the room key to Zhenzhen. Zhenzhen hesitated for a moment, then took the key and smiled at Chang Yu. Thank you very much, Mr. Chang. Chang Yu nodded slightly, indicating that they should make themselves at home. After Zhenzhen and Ma Xiaoling left, only Tianyu and Chang Yu remained in the room. After Chang Yu and Tianyu introduced themselves, their eyes fell on the mummified corpse. The mummified corpse lay quietly on the tatami mat, its grotesque face illuminated by the dim light, and a putrid smell filled the air. Tianyu crouched down and carefully examined Han Baidao's body, his fingers gently touching the dry skin, his brows furrowed. The body was severely dehydrated, but there were no external injuries, which doesn't seem like a typical murder, he muttered to himself. Chang Yu stood to the side, his gaze deep. Mr. Kuang, you seem to have a lot of experience with this kind of thing. Tianyu looked up, exchanged a glance with Chang Yu, and said calmly, just a professional habit. Chang Yu smiled slightly and asked no further questions. Just then, hurried footsteps sounded outside the door, and the hotel manager rushed in with 2 security guards. As soon as he entered, the manager's face turned deathly pale. What happened? Tianyu stood up, showing his badge. Hello, I'm a Hong Kong police officer. This body is the fugitive I'm tracking. Please cooperate with the investigation. Also, please notify Interpol. The manager wiped the cold sweat from his brow and nodded repeatedly. Yes, yes. Soon, Interpol agents arrived, and Chang Yu breathed a slight sigh of relief when she saw that Miyuki Nakayama was not among them. Behind him, Zhenzhen's gentle voice sounded, Mr. Chang, here's your room key. Thank you so much for your help this time. Chang Yu smiled and accepted the room key. It's fate that we met in this foreign land, no need to be so polite. I've already asked the manager to book you another room, please get some rest. As she spoke, Chang Yu handed over another room key, which Ma Xiaoling snatched away. Thank you very much, Mr. Chang. Ma Xiaoling waved the room card. Chang Yu smiled, and after seeing Ma Xiaoling and the others back to their rooms, she returned to her own room. With Tianyu, a Hong Kong police officer, there was no need for them to worry about things here. Around midnight, just as Chang Yu was about to go out to look for Chu Chen, there was a sudden knock on the door. Sensing the 2 familiar presences at the door, Chang Yu stepped forward and opened it. Miss Ma, Miss Zhenzhen, what brings you here? Ma Xiaoling shoved Zhenzhen toward Chang Yu, annoyed. I have some things to take care of, so I'll leave Zhenzhen in your care. But if you dare bully Zhenzhen, you're dead. As she spoke, Ma Xiaoling swung the demon subduing staff in her hand, which crackled with electricity and looked quite imposing. Wang Zhenzhen smiled shyly, I'm a little scared to be alone, so. Chang Yu smiled faintly, it's alright, Miss Ma, please go ahead and do your work. Miss Wang won't lose a single hair here. Ma Xiaoling brandished the demon-subduing staff in a defiant manner before turning and leaving. After Ma Xiaoling left, Chang Yu winked at Wang Zhenzhen, saying in a somewhat tempting tone, would you like to go see what Miss Ma is busy with? Wang Zhenzhen's eyes widened, but, Xiaoling, she. Chang Yu interrupted Wang Zhenzhen, don't worry, I'll protect you. Nothing will happen. With that, he grabbed Wang Zhenzhen and chased after Ma Xiaoling in the direction she had gone. Slow down, Mr. Chang, I can't run anymore. Chang Yu was running too fast, and Wang Zhenzhen couldn't keep up. Seeing this, Chang Yu reached out and carried Wang Zhenzhen on his back. Excuse me, Miss Wang, let me carry you on my back. Wang Zhenzhen gasped softly, then blushed and leaned against Chang Yu's back. Chang Yu carried Wang Zhenzhen on his back and moved quickly through the dimly lit corridor. His footsteps were incredibly light, making almost no sound. Wang Zhenzhen's face was flushed as she felt Chang Yu's strong shoulders, her heart pounding wildly. However, Chang Yu wasn't paying attention to any of that at the moment. He was more interested in seeing the battle between Ma Xiaoling and Chu Chen. To be honest, he's been a zombie for 60 years, yet apart from his own group, he's never witnessed any other supernatural events. So Chang Yu was quite curious about the first ghost he was about to encounter. When Chang Yu's gaze fell upon Ma Xiaoling, she saw her use a magic wand to send a beautiful woman in a kimono flying. After the woman flew out, she crashed into the wall of the room behind her and disappeared. Ma Xiaoling quickly followed and opened the door, but the woman in the kimono had already vanished. Ma Xiaoling stomped her foot angrily, consider yourself lucky. Thinking of Wang Zhenzhen, whom she had entrusted to Chang Yu's care, Ma Xiaoling wanted to rush back as soon as possible to prevent her best friend from being bullied. Turning around, she saw Chang Yu carrying Wang Zhenzhen on her back. How did you get here? He quickly stepped forward and felt around Wang Zhenzhen's body. Zhenzhen, are you alright? Are you feeling unwell anywhere? Wang Zhenzhen felt uncomfortable with Ma Xiaoling's actions and couldn't help but twist her body. Chang Yu immediately felt two soft breasts pressing against his back and couldn't help but squint his eyes. Oh dear, Xiaoling, I'm fine. Mr. Chang was worried about you, so he came all the way here to check on you. Then what are you doing? Ma Xiaoling pointed at Wang Zhenzhen and Chang Yu, asking with some suspicion. Oh, Wang Zhenzhen quickly got off Chang Yu, waving her hands in a flustered manner. Xiaoling, it's not what you think. You ran too fast, I really couldn't keep up with you, so Mr. Chang carried me on his back. Oh, Ma Xiaoling nodded with some doubt, then glared at Chang Yu. I asked you to take care of Zhenzhen for me, why did you bring her here? What if she gets into danger? Ma Xiaoling's voice was tinged with anger. Miss Ma ran off without saying anything. We were worried something had happened to you, so we followed her. We never expected her to be so astute. As Chang Yu spoke, she looked at the wall and then shifted the blame onto Ma Xiaoling. After Chang Yu's reminder, Wang Zhenzhen recalled the strange scene she had just witnessed, her voice trembling slightly. Xiaoling, what was that? That woman could actually walk through walls. Ma Xiaoling glared at Chang Yu, clearly displeased with his attempt to shift the blame, and then quickly stepped forward to grab Wang Zhenzhen's hand. Don't be afraid, Zhenzhen. It's all right. That was just a nobody, and I've already chased him away. Chang Yu smiled slightly, glanced at his watch, and said, it's getting late, you too. Miss Ma made quite a commotion just now. I think we should go back to our rooms and talk more. Okay. The two women nodded, and then the three of them went to Wang Zhenzhen and Ma Xiaoling's room together. Ma Xiaoling turned around and glared angrily at Chang Yu. This is our room, what are you doing here? Chang Yu chuckled. I'm also quite curious about Miss Ma's identity. Was that woman just now a ghost? A ghost? Wang Zhenzhen was startled. Ma Xiaoling didn't even bother to chase Chang Yu out. She quickly comforted Wang Zhenzhen. Then, Ma Xiaoling explained her identity and the purpose of her trip in detail. Wang Zhenzhen's eyes sparkled as she grabbed Ma Xiaoling's hand, exclaiming excitedly, wow, Xiaoling, you're actually a female Taoist priest? That's so cool. Ma Xiaoling said shyly, I'm sorry, Zhenzhen, I haven't dared to tell you yet. Will you be angry with me? Strange, of course it's strange. Wang Zhenzhen said seriously. Ma Xiaoling was a little flustered. Wang Zhenzhen was her best friend. Seeing Ma Xiaoling's reaction, Wang Zhenzhen burst out laughing. Okay, Xiaoling, I'm blaming you. Blame you for not telling me sooner. That way, I wouldn't be so afraid of ghosts. Having a female exorcist as my best friend makes me feel so safe. Ma Xiaoling breathed a sigh of relief and held Wang Zhenzhen's hand. Don't worry, Zhenzhen. I'll protect you from now on. Wang Zhenzhen nodded emphatically. Then the two started chatting away about Ma Xiaoling's identity. After a long while, Ma Xiaoling finally came to her senses and glared angrily at Chang Yu. Why haven't you left yet? She thought to herself, honestly, we two girls were having a chat, and you were eavesdropping. Wang Zhenzhen, who was standing to the side, then realized that Chang Yu was also present. Her face flushed slightly, she tossed her hair and looked at Chang Yu awkwardly. I'm so sorry, Mr. Chang. I was a little too excited just now and forgot you were still here. Chang Yu chuckled and waved his hand. It's alright, I just didn't expect Miss Ma's identity to be so extraordinary. It's getting late, so I won't disturb you ladies any longer. I'll take my leave now. Good night. With that, Chang Yu walked towards the door. Good night, Mr. Chang. Wang Zhenzhen replied hastily. We should have left long ago, Ma Xiaoling said irritably. Chang Yu closed the door, but the zombie's keen hearing allowed him to hear the two best friends chatting animatedly again inside. He shook his head and walked towards his room. Upon opening the door, Chang Yu noticed something unusual. He glanced at a painting on the bedroom wall, a slight smile playing on his lips. He hadn't had this painting in his room before. Perfect timing, I'm bored anyway, I'll play with you for a bit. Chang Yu thought to himself as he stepped into the bedroom. She picked up a bath towel, humming a little tune as she entered the bathroom. As she washed, a small hand landed on Chang Yu's shoulder from behind. A soft voice reached Chang Yu's ears, Sir, let me rub your back. Chang Yu turned around and looked at the woman in front of him, who was wearing a plain-colored kimono and had a pretty face. Her lips twitched slightly, and she thought to herself, seriously, is this how tempting you are? If you suddenly appear behind someone like that, even a fool would know you're up to something. How can anyone take the bait then? Chang Yu inwardly complained, but outwardly remained calm, instead displaying an expression of unexpected delight. He nodded repeatedly, okay. But in his heart, he was wondering what the female ghost was going to do next. What Chang Yu didn't know was that Chu-chan wasn't usually this rough when absorbing people's life essence. This time, she was only weak because she had been injured by Ma Xiaoling. Without bothering with any arrangements, she made her move immediately. Seeing that Chang Yu didn't show any other expression, a hint of disdain flashed in Chu-chan's eyes. Approaching Chang Yu from behind, she gently began to massage his shoulders with her soft hands. To be honest, this female ghost's way of serving people was quite good. Chang Yu was considering whether he should take on a ghost maid. Chang Yu thought it was feasible to just put something away and have her massage her shoulders and back when she was bored. Behind him, in early spring, although he was still massaging Chang Yu's shoulders, the aura emanating from him was already boiling. Wisps of black mist emanated from her body, making her features appear as if she were wearing smoky makeup. Suddenly, the fingernails on her small hands, which were rubbing Chang Yu's back, grew rapidly. He reached for Chang Yu's neck, but the instant his fingernails touched Chang Yu, a golden light rose from Chang Yu's body. With a bang, Chu-chan was thrown against the bathroom wall. Before Chu-chan could react, Chang Yu lightly stomped on the ground, and the entire bathroom was instantly enveloped in a layer of golden light. Chu-chan realized what was happening and tried to escape through the wall, but was bounced back by the golden light on the wall and fell towards Chang Yu. Chang Yu pulled Chu-chan into a tight embrace, looking at her with a regretful expression. Why were you in such a hurry? I wanted to play with you a little longer. Chu-chan looked at Chang Yu with a terrified expression, her body struggling constantly. What could have been a phantom ghost was now as solid as a tangible object in Chang Yu's hands. It's like a real thug bullying a little girl, and the little girl is powerless to fight back. The gentle voice that had been so soft in early spring turned terrified, even shrill. What are you? Why are you able to grab me? Chang Yu rubbed his ears. Having overly sensitive ears isn't good either. Chang Yu smiled and said, Me? I'm about the same as you. Are you a ghost too? Chu-chan stopped struggling, looked at Chang Yu with a face full of suspicion, and then shook her head. No, you're definitely not a ghost. Why are you playing with me like this? Let me go. Chu-chan looked at Chang Yu warily and began to struggle again. Feeling the cool touch, Chang Yu chuckled. Was this little ghost girl giving him a treat? He was taking a bath right now. Chang Yu gently tapped the female ghost's head and said helplessly, Don't be awkward, I never said I was a ghost. As he spoke, Chang Yu revealed his fangs. I'm a zombie, we're both supernatural beings, aren't we similar to you? You, what is your relationship with Yamamoto Kazuo? Chang Yu's zombie form startled Chu-chan, and then memories of her death flooded back. I'm going to kill you. Extreme resentment rose in Chu-chan's heart, and wisps of black energy rose from her body. In the last part of her memory, she was bitten to death by these zombie teeth. Chang Yu slapped Chu-chan on the head, and a golden light flashed, suppressing the black aura rising from Chu-chan's body. Be honest, what is Yamamoto Kazuo anyway? He doesn't even dare to compare himself to me. Chang Yu's slap brought Chu-chan back to her senses. Looking at his nonchalant attitude, she knew that the two were not even in the same league. He then gave up struggling, looking at Chang Yu with resentment. Who exactly are you? Are you here to kill me too? Chu-chan was unwilling to accept this fate. She had not yet avenged herself on Yamamoto Kazuo, so how could she be willing to die like this? However, Chang Yu's strength made her unable to muster any will to resist, and she could only look at Chang Yu with a sense of dejection. Seeing Chu-chan's expression clearly unwilling yet resigned to her fate, Chang Yu chuckled and turned away. The voice was indifferent. Weren't you going to scrub my back? Hurry up. Don't even think about it. Do whatever you want with me. Chu-chan looked at Chang Yu's retreating figure with shame and indignation, wishing she could scratch him to death with her claws. However, knowing the gap between the two, she could only reluctantly give up. But how could she possibly serve Chang Yu again? Previously, she had only thought Chang Yu was an ordinary person and wanted to absorb his essence to replenish herself. Now, she was afraid that she would be eaten. Oh, you really want to die like this? You don't want revenge against Yamamoto Kazuo anymore. Chang Yu's voice was slightly playful. Who are you? What do you know? Chu-chan suddenly looked up. Chang Yu did not respond, but turned on the shower on her own. After not receiving a response from Chang Yu for a while, Chu-chan reluctantly picked up a towel from the side and went over to rub Chang Yu's back. Chang Yu chuckled softly, remaining silent and quietly enjoying the little ghost girl's service. Chu Chun's fingertips trembled slightly as the icy touch traveled through the towel to Chang Yu's back. She bit her lower lip, her eyes glistening with tears of humiliation and anger, yet she had no choice but to submit to his threats. What exactly do you want? She asked in a low voice, her voice laced with suppressed anger. Chang Yu closed his eyes, letting the hot water wash over his body, a faint smile playing on his lips. I told you, it's just a back scrub. Why are you so nervous? Chu Chun's hand paused, her nails almost digging into the towel. You know perfectly well that's not what I meant. Who are you? How do you know about Yamamoto Kazuo? I don't know what happened between you and Yamamoto Kazuo, but I know your death is definitely related to Yamamoto Kazuo, Chang Yu said calmly, without choosing to hide it from Chu Chun. You should also know that Yamamoto Kazuo is no ordinary person. With your current strength, you wouldn't be able to deal with Yamamoto Kazuo, let alone his subordinates. You saw the female celestial master today, and the high priest from Rikoya will also arrive tomorrow. If you don't meet me, you should cease to exist after tomorrow. Chu Chun's fingers trembled, and she subconsciously took a step back. Her expression was extremely complex, a mixture of fear and resentment. Resentful? Then work for me from now on, and I'll spare your life and give you a chance to take revenge on Yamamoto Kazuo, Chang Yu said calmly as he washed himself. Chu Chun stood still, her ghostly aura fluctuating violently. Having been a ghost for so long, she had always been the one holding the lives and deaths of others in her hands. When had she ever encountered someone like Chang Yu? She felt an extreme aversion to the feeling of having her life and death controlled by others, as it reminded her of the fear she felt before her death. But she had to admit that Chang Yu was right. With her current strength, she had no chance against Yamamoto Kazuo, and it was very likely that tomorrow would be the day her soul was scattered. Today's female Taoist priest easily injured her, and the high monks of Rikuno were even more famous in Japan. Even during her lifetime, Hatsuhara greatly admired those high monks. She didn't think that, given her circumstances, she could possibly escape the clutches of the high priest and the exorcist priestess. The only one who can save her life now, and give her a chance for revenge, is probably this unfathomable man before her. No, he's a zombie? After a long while, she took a deep breath, picked up the towel again, and silently continued to rub Chang Yu's back. This time, however, her movements were much gentler, as if she were silently compromising. Sensing her change, Chang Yu's lips curled slightly, and he closed his eyes to enjoy the service of this charming female ghost. He did have some plans for early spring, but there was no rush. He could wait until later to discuss them, since even if Ma Xiaoling and the others wanted to take action again, they would have to wait until evening. There's plenty of time, I should enjoy the wonderful things that most people can only dream of. While enjoying the experience, Chang Yu cursed inwardly, damn dragon blood, it's corrupting even an upright zombie like me. In the steamy bathroom, the figures of the two were faintly visible in the hazy light, as if a silent transaction had been made at that moment. That night, a sinister aura churned in Chang Yu's room, and a unique atmosphere filled the entire space. However, upon closer inspection, it becomes clear that the entire room's walls are enveloped in a layer of transparent light film, completely concealing any loud noises or unusual smells within. As time passed, the morning sunlight slowly moved, shining through the bedroom window onto two figures still busy at work. Chu Chun let out a scream and stopped moving, instinctively raising her hands to shield herself, her delicate body still trembling slightly. Chang Yu chuckled. Don't be afraid, look at this sunlight, it hasn't hurt you. Chu Chun finally realized what was happening, lowered her hands, and scanned herself with her eyes. Even as a female ghost, Chu Chun couldn't help but feel a little shy in her current posture. However, this was not the time to focus on that. To her surprise, the sunlight shining on her ghostly body did not cause her any harm whatsoever. This left her somewhat stunned. Ever since she was bitten to death by Yamamoto Kazuo 30 years ago and became a female ghost, Haru had almost never appeared during the day. Even the first rays of the morning sun, which she usually loved, made her feel intensely burned when they shone on her, as if her body was about to melt. However, at this moment, the sunlight was shining completely on her, and she did not feel any pain at all. Instead, a long-lost warmth enveloped her. She instinctively got up, and after a click of a cork being pulled out of the bottle, Chu Chun was already at the windowsill. The sunlight became even stronger, enveloping her, yet she still felt a warm sensation, as if she were a living, breathing human being enjoying a sunbath. Chang Yu shook her head helplessly, pulled the blanket over herself, and looked at the early spring bathed in sunlight with a hint of appreciation. At this moment, she was breathtakingly beautiful. Her jade-like skin seemed to glow with a shimmering white light under the sunlight, making it impossible to tell that she was a female ghost who had been dead for decades. The essence of the purple gold zombie king had extraordinary effects. After a night of mutual benefit, Chu Chun's ghostly body, which had been injured by Ma Xiaoling, had completely recovered. Not only that, her body also became more solid, and her strength improved significantly. Just then, Chu Chun excitedly ran to Chang Yu, tears still streaming down her face, but before they could fall to the ground, they vanished as ghostly energy. Chu Chun gripped Chang Yu's hand tightly, her voice trembling slightly as she asked, "Master, how did you do that? I haven't felt the warmth of the sun for almost 30 years. Chang Yu smiled slightly, and a protective barrier appeared in the room. I've set up a barrier in this room. It can block sunlight from harming your ghostly body, and also, Chang Yu paused here, a mischievous smile playing on his lips, you've refined my essence, greatly increasing your strength. You've reached the point where you can manifest in broad daylight. From now on, you can come out and move around anytime except at noon. Suddenly, two ghostly auras rose from Chu Chun's face, as if Chang Yu's words had made the little ghost girl feel shy. Seeing Chang Yu's unbridled gaze roaming over her, she suddenly realized her current state. With a startled cry, Hatsuhara's ghostly aura surged forth. A moment later, the aura dissipated, and Hatsuhara was once again wearing her plain white kimono. She looked at Chang Yu with a slightly shy expression, her eyes sparkling with charm and gratitude. Seeing this early spring scene, a thought flashed through Chang Yu's mind, to look pretty, wear mourning clothes. Our ancestors were right. Bathed in the early spring sunlight, her white kimono shed all traces of the eerie aura that once belonged to a ghost. The plain white kimono gave her an air of widowhood, which made Chang Yu's mouth water. Pulling through early spring, we continued the work we hadn't finished. Chu Chun only had time to exclaim in surprise before the clothes that had just materialized vanished once more. After a long while, the morning exercise finally ended. Chang Yu embraced the slightly chilly ghostly body of early spring, enjoying a moment of relaxation. Suddenly, a slightly coquettish voice, like that after a spring storm, rang out, Master, you said last night that the high monk from Rikoya would also be coming. Should I hide first, or what should I do? Chang Yu chuckled, your current strength is no less than, and certainly no less than, those monks, but I hope you can put on a show with them today. Acting. Chu Chun looked at Chang Yu with a hint of confusion. Yes, I will cast a spell on you later to conceal your presence and protect you. Tonight, you will go out and fight them, and then pretend to be defeated and captured by that female celestial master. Afterwards, I will tell her your story and persuade her to entrust you to a high-ranking monk in Rikoya for a ritual to help you pass on to the afterlife. At that time, I will cast some illusion spells on you. You will pretend to be being exorcised, but actually hide and help me find some things in Rikuno. Chu Chun nodded, then asked, somewhat puzzled, since in the end we're all going to perform a ritual for the monk Ridakano, why didn't they just have me captured by him from the start? Chang Yu coughed lightly, I'm not very clear about the methods of those powerful monks in Rikoya. If you fall into their hands, and they don't care about martial ethics and try to kill you directly, wouldn't that expose us? Seeing Chang Yu's somewhat unnatural expression, her womanly intuition immediately caught on, and she said sourly, I think it's Master who's taken a liking to that female Taoist priest. Chu Chun, who had been forced to submit by coercion and inducement, did not have a good impression of Chang Yu. However, after the storm, having gained such great benefits and now having the opportunity for revenge, his feelings towards Chang Yu suddenly became complicated. Furthermore, the two had just finished their morning exercise, and Chang Yu was already thinking about other women, which made Chu Chun feel somewhat wronged. However, knowing her own identity, she quickly composed herself and asked again, what did Master order me to infiltrate Ridakano to find? Chang Yu looked a little embarrassed. It wasn't that he cared too much about Chu Chun, but the two of them had just been all lovey-dovey. Chang Yu wasn't a particularly heartless man, so he quickly followed up on Chu Chun's question. The mission to Rikuno is definitely one you'll enjoy. Chang Yu smiled. What do you like? Chu Chun asked, her expression puzzled. Chang Yu nodded. There's a forbidden area in Rikoya called the Earth Core Mound, the place where generations of powerful monks of Rikoya have passed away. As far as I know, Yamamoto Kazuo left a vial of his heart's essence within the Earth's core tomb as a contingency plan for his resurrection. If you can retrieve it beforehand, dealing with Yamamoto Kazuo later will be much easier. Really? Chu Chun excitedly stood up, knelt down in front of Chang Yu, and stared intently at Chang Yu. Chang Yu smiled slightly. At a time like this, would I lie to you? Of course it's true. However, within the Earth's core tomb, there are still several previous generation powerful monks from Rikunoho. They may have been transformed into third-generation zombies by Yamamoto Kazuo. Your journey will undoubtedly be extremely dangerous. You should consider this carefully. No need to think about it anymore. I'll go. As long as I can get revenge on Yamamoto Kazuo, I'm willing to die. Haru's expression was firm, and her tone was resolute. Chang Yu smiled and grasped Chu Chun's small hand. You're mine now. I won't allow it. You can't die so easily. I will use some special techniques to ensure you can safely extract Yamamoto Kazuo's essence blood, which will also help to resolve some of the resentment in your heart. Overwhelmed with emotion, Chu Chun threw herself into Chang Yu's arms. Thank you, Master, for planning this for me. Chang Yu stroked Chu Chun's hair, comforting her. It's all right, just a minor problem. Then the two stood up, and Chang Yu squeezed out a drop of his own essence blood, which he gave to Chu Chun to refine in order to improve her cultivation. As the purple gold zombie king, Chang Yu's essence blood could not revive the Chu Chun ghost body, but it contained pure yin energy and supreme yang bloodline, which he obtained after refining the essence blood of the divine dragon, both of which were highly nourishing for ghosts. In addition, Chang Yu could use this drop of blood essence to place some magical techniques on Chu Chun to ensure her safety. Chang Yu gestured for Chu Chun to swallow the essence blood, then flipped his hand seals, using his magic to draw upon the essence blood within Chu Chun's body, leaving behind a series of magical seals. Among them are those that conceal their presence, those that can become invisible, those that use illusions, and those that enhance speed, ensuring safety in early spring in all aspects. After finishing her work, it was already close to evening, and Chang Yu began to give Chu Chun her final instructions. Be careful when you enter the Earth's core tomb. I suspect that the remnant soul of the ancient demon god Rahu might also be hiding there. If you sense anything amiss, you must immediately activate my essence blood and then escape. If you accidentally fall into Luoho's hands, you might truly be annihilated. Who is this demon god Rahu? Is he really that powerful? Chu Chun asked, puzzled. He was a powerful being from ancient times. Because he was too evil, he was destroyed by the 5 heroes of that time. He may very well be resurrected in the present day. His strength is unfathomable, so you must be careful, Chang Yu warned. Chu Chen nodded solemnly. She didn't quite understand, but seeing how serious Chang Yu's tone was, she simply agreed. Seeing how much Chang Yu cared about her safety, Chu Chen felt a warmth in her heart, and she didn't even ask about the 5 brave warriors that she had wanted to ask earlier. Seeing Chu Chen nod, Chang Yu breathed a slight sigh of relief and continued, with Yamamoto Kazuo's blood essence, there's a high chance that Rahu's weapon from back then is also stored there. If Rahu isn't here, please help me bring it out. Chang Yu recalled that in the TV series, Luoho's demonic weapon was incredibly powerful and extremely sharp, wounds inflicted by it were difficult to heal. He touched the black bracelet with a hint of gold on his wrist. During his years of cultivation, Chang Yu had also had his subordinates collect meteorite iron for him from various places. Then, combining the secret Taoist techniques of binding corpses, binding immortals, and binding dragons, with a golden dagger made of dragon scales as the main component and a large amount of meteorite iron as a supplement, the method is as follows. Refined with the Samadhi fire, it eventually became the incredibly powerful bracelet on his wrist that could extend or shorten at will. Chang Yu personally verified this using his zombie form. Even for him, it would take some time to break free from the bracelet's restraints. He had a gut feeling that this bracelet would definitely come in very handy in the future. With this magical artifact, Chang Yu also became interested in other weapons. If he remembered correctly, Luoho's weapon was a dagger, and he really wanted to get his hands on it to see what was so special about it. Hearing Chang Yu's words, Chu Chun nodded solemnly, Master, rest assured, I will definitely bring out Yamamoto Kazuo's blood essence and Rahu's weapon together. Chang Yu waved his hand, no need to be so serious. Like I said, safety first. I've prepared some things for you to carry with you, they could save your life in a pinch. As he spoke, Chang Yu handed a small sachet to Chu Chun. This was made using the secret techniques of the Taoist Fang Hu, square pot. It contains a small space with some talismans I've drawn over the years, along with instructions on their uses and effects. You should study them carefully later. Space. Chu Chun took the sachet in a daze. As soon as she touched it, she felt the space inside. The space was not very large, less than 1 cubic meter, but it was still astonishing enough. In early spring, I felt that these 2 short days had been more exciting than the past few decades. I couldn't believe that such amazing things still existed in this world. Chang Yu had a hint of pride in his eyes. This sachet was one of his proudest creations. Chang Yu, who frequently read novels in his previous life, had an extreme longing for spatial rings and the like, and unexpectedly obtained the Fang Hu secret technique. He was overjoyed and immediately devoted himself to the research. The so-called square pot is a small space within which a pot's spout is carved out. We are now in the Dharma ending age. Although zombies are not restricted by spiritual energy, the grotto heavens themselves are subject to its constraints. After repeated attempts, Chang Yu finally managed to replace spiritual power with the power of stars, but the maximum he could create was only a space of 10 cubic meters. Moreover, the requirements for materials are very high. Normally, it should be made from the hide of a demon beast. Chang Yu searched all the major sects but only found a small piece of the remaining demon beast hide. It was soaked in essence and blood for a long time before its spiritual essence was restored, and finally, 10 small sachets were made. Except for the 10 cubic meter space in his hand, the others were only 1 cubic meter. But that was enough. He no longer needed to carry large bags when carrying the essence blood beads. When the sachets were completed, he had already sent one to each of the 4 women, mingling, and kept the rest on his person. Now that Chu Chun is about to embark on a mission, Chang Yu sent one out, not only to protect Chu Chun, but also to utilize the array engraved on the sachet. Concealing the essence of Yamamoto Kazuo and the aura of Rahu's demonic soldiers, they took the 2 items without anyone noticing. After Chang Yu finished explaining the function of the sachet to Chu Chun was amazed and looked at Chang Yu with stars in her eyes. He no longer harbored any resentment towards Chang Yu's previous coercion and inducement. Her tone carried a hint of teasing. Master, I'll be going on a mission in early spring, and I won't see you for a long time. Could you give me some more of your essence? Upon hearing this, Chang Yu was no longer going to tolerate Chu Chun. Seeing that it was still early before midnight, he shouted, Hey, female ghost, this Taoist priest is here to take you away. Then she pounced on him, and after a long while, Chu Chun reluctantly left Chang Yu's room. Soon, the sound of synchronized chanting filled the air outside. Chang Yu chuckled, those monks are quite perceptive. Shortly after, there was a knock on Chang Yu's door. He went to open it, and Zhenzhen and Ma Xiaoling reappeared at the doorway. Chang Yu greeted them with a smile. Good evening, Miss Zhenzhen, Miss Ma. Ma Xiaoling said urgently, Mr. Chang, I need to go to work. I'll have to trouble you to take care of Zhenzhen again. Please don't come after me this time. With that, Ma Xiaoling pushed Wang Zhenzhen, threw a yellow talisman at Chang Yu, and then turned and left quickly. Wang Zhenzhen lost her balance and was immediately pulled into Chang Yu's arms. A gentle male voice sounded, "Miss Zhenzhen, are you alright?" Wang Zhenzhen got up from Chang Yu's arms, feeling embarrassed. "Mr. Chang, I'm fine. Thank you for your help again." Chang Yu waved his hand. "It's nothing. It's my honor to take care of such a beautiful lady as Miss Zhenzhen. But we've known each other for so long, and it feels too formal to keep calling you Mr. and Ms from now on. How about I call you Zhenzhen, and you call me Brother Yu?" Actually, the two hadn't known each other for very long, only 2 or 3 days. But Chang Yu felt it was time to take their relationship to the next level, so naturally, it all started with how they addressed each other. Wang Zhenzhen smiled sweetly. "Okay, then I'll call you Brother Yu from now on." "Okay, then I'll just call you Zhenzhen." "Zhenzhen, do you still want to go see Miss Ma at work tonight?" Chang Yu asked with a smile. Wang Zhenzhen was somewhat tempted, but her expression showed some difficulty. "That wouldn't be good. Xiaoling told us not to go." "It's alright, Miss Ma left this talisman just now, it should be fine to just take a look," Chang Yu said, shaking the yellow talisman in his hand. Upon seeing this, Wang Zhenzhen placed her hand on the amulet on her chest, which was also given to her by Ma Xiaoling for self-defense, and she had more than one. This immediately made her feel safe and secure, so she looked up at Chang Yu and said, "Then let's go take a look." Chang Yu nodded, then closed the door, turned around and squatted down in front of Wang Zhenzhen. Wang Zhenzhen blushed, knowing that Chang Yu thought she was too slow. Thinking of the scene last night, she felt shy for a moment and then directly leaned on Chang Yu's back. Chang Yu smiled, picked up Wang Zhenzhen, and chased after Ma Xiaoling in the direction she had left. He secretly wondered, now that I've won over Chu Chan, she shouldn't end up like in the TV dramas, possessing Ma Xiaoling and causing Kuang Tianyu to take her first kiss. Thinking it over, Chang Yu silently quickened his pace. This was the real reason he had come out. Otherwise, knowing it was all a show, Chang Yu wouldn't have been in the mood to watch it. He'd rather have spent some time alone with Wang Zhenzhen in his room. His main concern was that the plot's momentum was irreversible, and that another melodramatic event would occur, ultimately resulting in Kuang Tianyu reaping the rewards, leaving Ma Xiaoling with lingering resentment. If it really happened, Chang Yu felt it would be better for him to bravely sacrifice himself. Chang Yu carried Wang Zhenzhen on his back and followed Ma Xiaoling's steps, and soon they arrived at the hotel lobby. In the hotel lobby, several monks were forming a defensive formation, surrounding Chu Chun in the center. Ma Xiaoling stood to the side, holding a demon-subduing staff, glaring resentfully at the leading monk. On the other side, Kuang Tianyu, wearing a trench coat and sunglasses, also came out. Looking at his attire, Chang Yu couldn't help but think to herself, what's wrong with him? Wearing sunglasses in the middle of the night. At that moment, Ma Xiaoling's voice, tinged with anger, rang out, "You stinking monk, how dare you steal my business?" The head monk, Master Peacock, clasped his hands together and said, "Amitba, you are attached to appearances. Subduing demons and monsters is our duty." Ma Xiaoling wanted to say something more, but Chu Chan, who was surrounded by several monks, suddenly spotted Chang Yu. Her eyes lit up and a mischievous smile appeared on her lips. While Master Peacock was talking to Ma Xiaoling, she suddenly struck, sending a monk flying with a single palm strike, thus breaking Recoy's formation. "Oh no!" Master Peacock exclaimed suddenly, realizing something was wrong, but it was too late. The surprise attack in early spring took place near Ma Xiaoling's location, and Ma Xiaoling, preoccupied with her argument with Master Peacock, was somewhat less vigilant. Almost instantly, Chu Chun possessed Ma Xiaoling, who froze on the spot. The current Chu Chun was not like the one in the original story, who was just a little ghost with 30 years of resentment. Ma Xiaoling could still struggle a little. After Chang Yu's careful nurturing overnight, Chu Chun's strength increased greatly, and she could now manifest in broad daylight. She also possessed some of the techniques left behind by Chang Yu. Caught off guard, Ma Xiaoling was completely powerless to resist as Chu Chun took control of her body. "Be careful!" Kuang Tianyu exclaimed in alarm. However, Chu Chun moved with incredible speed, controlling Ma Xiaoling's body, and leaped directly in front of Chang Yu, pulling Chang Yu towards her. Chang Yu hadn't even had time to put Wang Zhenzhen down yet. If she hadn't reacted quickly, Wang Zhenzhen would probably have been thrown to the ground. Chu Chun, controlling Ma Xiaoling's body and holding Chang Yu, scolded Master Kong Ke. "Big monk, get out of here right now, or I'll kill them." As Chu Chun spoke, she conjured a sharp blade with her ghostly aura and brandished it at the necks of Chang Yu and Wang Zhenzhen. Terrified, Wang Zhenzhen tightly closed her eyes and clung to Chang Yu's shoulders with both arms. Chang Yu suddenly felt a startling touch on her back. A hint of helplessness flashed in her eyes as she glanced at Chu Chun with a slightly puzzled look, wondering what trick Chu Chun was up to. The peacock master opposite him clasped his hands together. "Amitba, benefactor, lay down your butcher's knife and turn back before it's too late. If you kill another woman, you might not even have a chance to be reincarnated." Chu Chun let out a cold laugh. "Great monk, why do I need you to teach me? If you don't back down, I'll just drain him dry right in front of you, and you'll bear half the sin. Let's see how you go to see your Buddha then." Amitba. Master Peacock clasped his hands together, chanting the sutra without any sign of retreating. Just then, Ma Xiaoling's consciousness finally retaliated. Her face contorted, and she cried out, "BD, get out of my body." In an instant, Chu Chun's giggles rang out again, clearly indicating that she had regained control of her body. Hee. This female celestial master has quite a strong will. I can sense that you value this woman being carried on someone's back quite a bit. How about I put on a good show for you? You scoundrel, don't do anything reckless. Ma Xiaoling's voice rang out again. Hee. How could it be considered reckless? I bet you've never tasted a man's flavor before. Today, I'll show you what it's like. Chu Chun responded with a coquettish laugh. You BD, what do you want to do? Ma Xiaoling asked in terror. You'll soon find out what I'm planning. Chu Chun pulled Chang Yu close and kissed him on the lips. In a flash, she and Chang Yu disappeared from everyone's sight. Chase. Master Peacock's expression changed drastically, and he immediately led his disciples in pursuit. Kuang Tianyu, standing to the side, frowned slightly. For some reason, when Chu Chun had controlled Ma Xiaoling to kiss Chang Yu, he felt a sense of unease. Shaking his head, Kuang Tianyu hurriedly followed.